So, the mythical genius Fang Chen finally melted our Ice Prince's heart? Melted? He's a complete barbarian, zero boundaries. It's a sacred boat he steed. You know how he gave it to me? He yanked my collar open, like stuffing a letter into a hail box.
Oh, so you were expecting a gentle palm touch and lingering eye contact? He got so close. I thought my disguise was revealed. Couldn't even breathe. And then the idiot asks if I'm into men.
Well, next time you meet him on the continent, I'll embroider a sign on your chest. Handle with care. Actually a princess.
Why don't you just turn me into sea?
In that moment, she began to seriously question everything about the last 18 years of her life. Fang Chen gave her a strange look. Senior sister Yu, your luck seems pretty trash. Yu Qiyuan flushed, acting awkward. It's my first time playing this. I'm a little rusty, so don't laugh at me, junior brother Fang. She couldn't exactly admit that back at the Pavilion of Sea and Sky, she was the undisputed queen of luck who never lost. Fang Chen looked like he finally understood. No wonder. I was thinking, who on earth is unlucky enough to lose 8 rounds in a row? All right, from here on, we do things my way. With that, he headed toward the fork in the road up ahead. Yu Qiyuan gritted her teeth. You're the loser. Your whole family are losers. Shortly after, they followed the path to its very end. All that was there was a collapsed pavilion. Glazed tiles lay shattered across the ground, and stone pillars had crumbled into pieces. Nothing lasts forever against the ravages of time, not even a soul formation ruin. You just had to come here, and all we found was a pile of junk. Yu Qiyuan had finally found an opening to talk, and she wouldn't stop running her mouth. If we'd taken the path I wanted, we'd have found rare treasures at the very least. Maybe even world-ending artifacts, legendary gear, or a nascent soul break. Through opportunity, Fang Chen completely tuned her out. He looked deep in thought. This was one of the 3 spots the North Sea demon tribe had missed. Was it really just a derelict pavilion? Shaking his head, he turned to leave in disappointment. But then, something felt off. There were no mountains, cliffs, lakes, or rivers here. Why build a pavilion? There had to be something worth looking at. After a moment's thought, he stepped inside the pavilion. Suddenly, his vision shifted. Before him lay a stunning autumn landscape. The mountains were ablaze with crimson leaves, their colors bleeding into the forest. A breeze swept across the lake, making the water shimmer. Golden koi occasionally leapt from the surface. It was breathtakingly beautiful. Glancing down, he saw a dusty stone table. On it sat a pot of fine wine and a small dish of mysterious beans. He expected it to be an illusion, but when he reached for the wine pot, his hand met solid weight. Unfortunately, it was bone dry. The beans, however, were translucent like jade, radiating a spiritual energy far more potent than the clam meat he'd found before. A single bean likely contained more energy than the entire 1,000-year clam. If someone in the golden core realm ate one, the raw energy would probably make them explode on the spot. He tried, picking up a bean, and again, it was real. Without hesitation, he swept the beans and the dish into his heaven, Thunderstone. He didn't leave the empty wine pot behind either. He noticed a meditation mat resting on a nearby stone stool. It glowed with a rhythmic light, clearly a high-grade item. He stashed that away as well. Junior brother Fang, through the haze, he heard a faint voice calling his name. His mind snapped back to attention. The scenery vanished, leaving only the ruined pavilion once more. Yu Qiyuan looked terrified. What's wrong with you? You looked like you were possessed. You just stood there in the pavilion, staring into space. I kept shouting, but you didn't hear a thing. Fang Chen was slightly taken aback. Entering the pavilion must have triggered a pocket dimension that pulled his consciousness in, much like when he entered the heaven, Thunderstone. Just thinking, Fang Chen said, regaining his composure and playing it cool. Yu Qiyuan eyed him suspiciously. I was screaming at the top of my lungs, and you didn't even flinch. What could possibly be that interesting? Enough, Fang Chen cut her off. Stop wasting time. Let's move to the next path. His heart was racing. That North Sea kid hadn't lied. The circled spots really did have the goods. He immediately chose the second path marked with a circle. Yu Qiyuan followed reluctantly, muttering under her breath, "You should let me lead. At this rate, we won't even find a blade of grass on your route." If I were in charge, we'd be tripping over treasures, ancient scriptures, and god, tier techniques. Fang Chen continued to ignore her. They hurried along and quickly reached the end of the path. Finally, a proper hall came into view. Next to the hall lay a rotted sign. On it, he could just make out 3 words, the armory. You dummy, you actually found the divine armory. Yuki-Yuen pressed her hands to her mouth, letting out a squeal of delight. She was so thrilled that the word dummy had slipped out before she could catch herself. Fang Chen frowned. Why are you calling me a dummy? Yuki-Yuen laughed, slapping his shoulder. Hey, some people are just born with dummy luck. I mean, you wandered around aimlessly and ended up right in the heart of the armory. If that's not dummy luck, I don't know what is. Her eyes darted around with a sudden flash of cunning. Wait here for a second. I'll go inside first to make sure there aren't any traps. Once I've cleared the way, I'll call you in. Got it. Fang Chen glanced at the fallen plaque on the ground, noting a massive crack left by a heavy, blunt weapon. He looked into the shadows of the hall, a cold sense of dread creeping up his spine. What's with that look? You think I'm going to hog all the loot? I'm just looking out for your safety, so don't get any ideas. Yuki-Yuen spoke quickly when she saw Fang Chen hesitate. He blinked, snapping out of his thoughts. He flashed a smile. Of course not. I'll stay right here and wait for your signal. Yuki-Yuen smirked to herself. Haha, this dummy is so easy to play. Senior brother, why, you won't believe it. I followed this idiot and stumbled right into a massive treasure trove. In any ancient ruin, the divine armory was the ultimate prize, the absolute heart of the complex. And the best part, this dummy won't even try to fight me for it, hee. Just stay put and wait for me, she added aloud. Without another word, she vanished into the pitch-black hall. Fang Chen immediately retreated to a safe distance, his hand tightening around a protective night pearl hidden in his sleeve. He began a silent countdown. If he reached 10 and everything was still quiet, then he'd make his move. 1, 2, 3, 4. He barely hit 4 when a thunderous boom erupted. Yuki-Yuen's body came flying out of the darkness like she'd been shot from a cannon. She slammed hard into the stone floor, a spray of blood erupting from her mouth. Ignoring the blood on her lips, she stared back at the armory in pure terror. A massive, 18-armed stone statue slowly stomped toward the threshold of the hall. It was the guardian that had just swatted her aside like a fly. Yuki-Yuen looked down at her chest. Her whisper, thin, 6-colored robe flickered with a dying light. That was too close. Thank the gods for this robe. If it couldn't tank a Nascent Soul level strike, I'd be a corpse right now. But she wasn't ready to give up, not after seeing what was waiting inside. She glanced at Fang Chen, who was still hovering in the distance, and her eyes shimmered with a new plan. Junior brother, Fang, I'll draw the statue's attention. You rush to the very back of the vault and grab the sword casket. Fang Chen was so honest and naive after all. Wait, was she really not worried? He'd just run off with it. Fang Chen was genuinely stunned. Was she actually inviting the fox to guard the henhouse? He was so used to the disciples of the Outer Realm sects trying to backstab him that Yuki-Yuen's sheer stupidity actually caught him off guard. Did you hear me? Yuki-Yuen barked. Fang Chen nodded frantically. On it, I'm going, senior sister Yu. How could he possibly say no to an offer like that? Yuki-Yuen frowned, muttering under her breath, what a total pushover. She gritted her teeth and lunged back into the hall, unleashing a terrifying surge of raw physical power. With a single punch, she demonstrated strength that rivaled a true Nascent Soul cultivator's physique. The impact forced the statue back, clearing the entrance. Now, go, she screamed. She rained a flurry of blows on the stone guardian, buying Fang Chen every second she could. With a blur of speed, Fang Chen seized the opening and vanished into the hall. Inside, the air reeked of decay. Rows of rotting shelves were lined with the rusted, crumbling remains of once legendary weapons. Some of the divine artifacts had already dissolved into piles of metallic sludge. Fang Chen had seen this enough times to not be surprised. Unless an item was a high-grade spirit tool, it could rarely survive 1,000 years of elemental erosion. Then he spotted the sword casket Yuki-Yuen had mentioned, propped against the far wall. It was the only thing in the entire hall that hadn't rotted away. It was impossible to miss. Fang Chen darted over, but held back from making a hasty move. Something felt completely off. Why wasn't the sword case placed on the display racks? Why was it leaning against the wall all by itself? After a moment's thought, he kept his distance and threw a concentrated punch, using the shockwave to knock the case to the floor. Swish! A terrifying glint of cold light suddenly blasted out from the wall behind the case. It grazed right past Fang Chen, carrying a horrific destructive power that made his heart skip a beat. Boom, a split second later, the lingering beam of light slammed into the grand hall behind him, instantly collapsing the far wall. The sheer residual force alone made the hairs on the back of Fang Chen's neck stand on end. That strike could have instantly killed a nascent soul realm expert. He fixed his gaze on the source. Embedded deep within the wall was a palm-sized hidden crossbow, pre-loaded with 3 more finger-length bolts ready to fire. Aside from looking a bit archaic, the weapon was completely untouched by the ravages of time. A spiritual artifact-grade wrist crossbow, Fang Chen's heart leaped with joy. He immediately bounded forward and carefully pried the weapon from the stone. With 3 bolts remaining, a perfectly timed sneak attack at close range could potentially assassinate a nascent soul realm cultivator. He had just exhausted his talisman arrows. This hidden crossbow couldn't have come at a better time. Without hesitation, he stored it away inside the heavenly lightning stone. Only then did Fang Chen turn his attention back to the sword case. Drawing his purple blade, he kept his distance and flicked the case open with the tip of his sword. He had expected to find a peerless spiritual blade inside. Instead, just like the divine weapons scattered outside, the contents had rusted into unrecognizably decayed scrap. "Are you done yet?" Yu Qiuan's strange shouts echoed from the distance. Fang Chen hurriedly snapped the case shut, tucked it under his arm, and bolted out of the armory. Seeing Fang Chen emerge, Yu Qiuan finally disengaged and sprinted out of the hall. Her hair was a wild, tangled mess. Her robes were stained with blood, and she was gasping for air. Judging by her state, she had definitely taken a few brutal punches. "Senior Sister Yu, are you all right?" Ignoring her own injuries, Yu Qiuan eagerly snatched the sword case from him. She flipped it open with eyes full of anticipation, only for her face to instantly freeze. She snapped indignantly, "I nearly died for this." In a fit of anger, she hurled the case and its contents onto the ground. The decayed sword shattered into dust upon impact, but surprisingly, the case itself remained completely unscathed. "Ha!" Fang Chen thought, genuinely surprised. Could this sword case actually be a spiritual artifact itself? Connecting this to the fact that the original owner had rigged such a vicious, lethal trap specifically to protect it. His pulse quickened with excitement, but he kept his expression perfectly blank, ensuring Yu Qiuan wouldn't catch on to the case's true value. He even gave the case a disdainful kick. Punting it right into the tall grass, he muttered, "I almost got killed by a hidden trap for a pile of rusty scrap metal." Fang Chen put on a masterclass display of deep frustration. Having heard the massive explosion from the trap earlier, Yu Qiuan's anger softened into a look of genuine guilt. "I made you risk your neck for nothing. Next time we find something good, you get first pick." She patted Fang Chen on the shoulder, trying to console him. Fang Chen felt a wave of relief. Even though this girl constantly called him an idiot, she wasn't a bad person at heart. "All right, deal." Considering she had inadvertently helped him score a hidden crossbow and a mysterious sword case if they found anything worthwhile at the 3rd treasure location. He wouldn't mind sharing a piece of the pie with her. "All right, let's head to the next spot." Yu Qiuan grumbled in frustration. 2 places down, and I've got absolutely nothing to show for it. Talk about a total bust. "Senior Sister Yu, you go on ahead. I need to take a leak," Fang Chen suddenly said. That surprise strike from a nascent soul realm expert practically scared the crap out of me. Yu Qiuan blinked, caught off guard. Her gaze dropped toward his crotch, her face twisting in utter disgust. Did this guy seriously just wet himself from fear? Seeing Fang Chen reach for his belt, she shrieked and whipped her head around, bolting away. "Hey, hey, hey. I'm still right here, you creep." Fang Chen smirked. He watched her sprint around the bend, waiting until she was completely out of sight. Only then did he drop the act, rushing over to snatch the sword box hidden in the tall grass. Finally, it was his. At this point, he had more than made up for his investment. The treasure was well worth that single flame mark. Anything else he scrounged up now was pure profit. Roar, out of nowhere, a deafening beastly howl ripped through the entire secret realm. The sound was guttural and bone-rattling, like a mortal suddenly staring down a hungry tiger. Fang Chen staggered. His blood surged wildly in his veins, panic flashing across his face. What the hell was that? Are there actually living things left inside these ruins? Startled, Yu Qiuan peeked her head back around the corner and frantically waved at him. "Dummy. Get over here, something's very wrong with this place. I think there's a monster on the loose." Fang Chen hurried over to her, his tone dead serious. We need to regroup with Senior Key, in right now. Even though they hadn't checked the last circled location on the map, keeping their heads attached to their necks took priority. Yu Qiyuan hesitated. We finally made it in here. Are we really just going to bail empty-handed? That roar sounded miles away. Let's search a little longer. If things get dicey, we can always run to my master then. Fang Chen mulled it over. The ruins weren't that massive. If they actually ran into a threat they couldn't handle, his shadow in the clouds technique should be fast enough to get them back to Master Key in time. He made the call. All right, stick close to me. Given Fang Chen's absurd dumb luck in sniffing out that armory, Yu Qiyuan didn't complain this time. Soon enough, they reached the end of an inconspicuous dirt path. Before them opened up a sprawling, fenced-in nursery. An herb garden. Yu Qiyuan gasped, utterly stunned. She grabbed Fang Chen's shoulders and shook him wildly. Dummy. You really are a lucky idiot to actually stumble upon a place like this. We're going to be rich. Fang Chen cast his gaze forward. The massive nursery was completely barren. Not a single trace of life remained. It looked utterly stripped of anything valuable. But Yu Qiyuan was practically vibrating with excitement. Don't let the dead dirt fool you. There might be heavenly treasures growing deep underground. Who knows how many eons these ruins have been sealed off. The age of these herbs, I can't even fathom how potent they must be. Let's split up. Keep your eyes peeled on the soil. If you spot so much as a single green sprout, dig it up. With that, she eagerly dashed off in one direction to start her hunt. Fang Chen rubbed his chin, finding hidden loot that was literally his specialty. Whipping out his heaven scrying mirror, he initiated a scan. No matter how vast the garden was, the mirror swept the entire area in an instant. It was a complete dead zone. Not a single blade of. Wait, Fang Chen's eyes suddenly narrowed. Tucked away in the furthest corner of the garden was a patch of pitch-black, scorched earth. It looked as if it had been baked by an incredibly intense fire. Scattered all around it were massive, charred claw marks. Don't tell me, is this from the demonic beast that just roared? A wave of unease washed over him, but then his pupils constricted. Sprouting right out of that ashen corner were a few glowing, azure, blue saplings that flickered like living flames. 1,000-year heavenly treasures. It clicked instantly. These precious spirit plants were exactly what that beast was guarding. Why hesitate? The monster wasn't home. Time to rob it blind. Using his movement technique, he silently glided over to the spot. The moment he arrived, an intoxicating, overwhelmingly rich aroma hit his senses. It was more potent than the entire herb garden back at the Azure Cloud sect combined. He had never seen these herbs before in his life. They were undeniably rare, world-shaking treasures. He instantly whipped out his jade trowel and started digging. Within seconds, he unearthed a bizarre fruit with roots, shaped eerily like an infant. The mouth-watering fragrance wafting off it made Fang Chen want to take a massive bite right then and there. But he held back. Consuming a mystery medicinal herb without knowing its properties was a surefire way to get himself killed. Fighting the urge to take a bite, he kept digging. Before long, he unearthed 9 baby-shaped spirit fruits, perfectly intact down to their leaves. Only the final plant remained. It seemed to be a late bloomer, barely pushing a single sprout above the dirt. Its medicinal potency was likely garbage compared to the other 9. Digging it up felt like a waste, but leaving it behind meant losing it forever. It was practically useless, yet too good to ignore. Fang Chen frowned, weighing his options. Whatever, I'll let Yuan take the win on this one, he muttered. Without her getting my hands on that hidden sleeve, crossbow and sword box would have been a massive headache. With his mind made up, he activated the heavens, scrying mirror to locate her. He found Yuan staring intently at a shriveled, moldy chunk of a blue fruit. It was a piece of the mysterious fruit from this very location, likely table scraps left behind by that vicious beast. Realizing it was something extraordinary, she looked as thrilled as if she'd struck gold. Fang Chen smiled faintly. He dug up the single sprouting bud, dashed over to a spot near her, and planted it in the dirt, faking it to look like it had naturally grown right there. "Senior Sister Yu, come quick," he shouted from a distance. Hearing his voice, Yuan hurriedly shoved the fruit chunk into her robes and sprinted over. "What is it, junior brother Fang?" Fang Chen practically bounced with excitement, pointing at the dirt. "Senior sister, look what I found." Yuan locked eyes on the sprout, and her expression wildly shifted. She dropped to her knees to dig it up, realizing immediately that it shared the same origin as her scavenged scraps. Thick envy washed over her face. "Junior brother Fang, you've stumbled on the ultimate treasure." Even from her shriveled scrap, she could sense its overwhelming power. Its value easily rivaled a 4th-tier medicinal pill. But right here was an entirely intact plant. The value was absolutely unimaginable. To think she had scavenged for dried-up scraps, while this idiot just tripped over a flawless, whole plant. The sheer unfairness of it made her sick to her stomach. "What do you mean I? It's we. We found this together, so we're splitting it 50-50, Fang Chen said with a warm smile. "What? Yuan couldn't believe her ears. Junior brother Fang, you're splitting it with me." Fang Chen gave an earnest nod. "Of course, senior sister, you protected me this whole time. If we score some loot, it's only right we share the wealth." Suddenly, the stolen scrap hidden in her sleeve felt like a red, hot branding iron searing right into her chest. She had found a pathetic scrap and immediately hoarded it like a goblin, yet Fang Chen found a complete plant and didn't hesitate to go halves with her. What made the guilt sting even worse was the real reason her master had paired them up. It wasn't to protect him, it was to spy on him and see if he scored any top-tier loot. The realization made her want to crawl into a hole and die of shame. Swing, Fang Chen casually sliced the fruit right down the middle with his sword. He packed the halves into 2 jade boxes and shoved one directly into her arms. "Senior sister Yu, why are you spacing out? We got the goods, so let's quit while we're ahead and regroup with Senior Qian." Staring at Fang Chen's innocent knave face, Yuan was crushed by a mountain of guilt and profoundly moved by his sheer, untainted kindness. Tears welled in her eyes. Biting her lower lip, she declared, "Junior brother Fang, from today onward, you are my actual brother. If anyone tries to mess with you, they'll have to go through me first." How could anyone have the heart to bully someone as pure and kind as Fang Chen? They'd be worse than animals. She grabbed his hand tightly. "Come on, let's go see my master. I'm going to beg him to take you back to the Horizon Pavilion with us." Fang Chen secretly chuckled to himself. If he remembered correctly, not too long ago, this very girl was plotting how she'd scam him dry and still have him thanking her for the privilege. By the time the two of them made it back to the main road, Venerable Qian and his 2 companions were already sweeping the area for them. Seeing them return in one piece, Venerable Qian let out a heavy sigh of relief. His tone turned deadly serious. "Thank the heavens you didn't run into whatever made that roar. Just hearing it made my skin crawl. That beast is absolutely terrifying." His expression quickly shifted to one of eager anticipation. "Yuaner, did you stumble across anything on your sweep?" Yuan hesitated for a heartbeat, but decided to come clean, handing over her half of the fruit. Venerable Qian's face instantly paled. He snatched the fruit from her hands and gasped, "A demon infant fruit. This is a heaven, defying divine treasure, capable of pushing a demonic emperor to the next rank. It went extinct 1,000 years ago." "Yuaner, I can't believe you actually found something this godly." Utter disbelief was plastered across his face. Hearing that it was a catalyst for a demonic emperor's advancement, Venerable Evil Eye's face twisted with blatant, ugly jealousy. The 3 of them had scoured their entire route and found absolutely nothing. Suddenly, his eyes narrowed. Wait, why is there only half? Where is the rest of it? Venerable Qian snapped back to reality and hurriedly added, "He's right. This fruit only works if consumed whole. Yuaner, hurry up and take out the other half. If those demonic emperors caught wind of this thing's existence, they would pay any price to get their claws on it." Yuan hesitated again before admitting, "Master, junior brother Fang was the one who found it. He split it with me." "What? Fang Chen found it?" Venerable Qian looked completely shocked, a calculating glint flashing in his eyes. "Yuaner, did you guys find anything else?" The real target of that question was obviously Fang Chen, not her. Yuan shook her head. "We hit 3 different spots. This demon infant fruit was the only thing we walked away with." "Is that so?" Venerable Qian gave a slow nod. He knew his disciple well. She absolutely wouldn't lie to him. Venerable Evil Eye, however, glared at Fang Chen with pure, unfiltered skepticism and scoffed. "This kid is a slippery snake. Don't let him fool you. Make him hand over his storage ring, dump everything out, and check it piece by piece. I don't buy his honest act for a second." Having crossed paths with Fang Chen twice before, he had learned the hard way just how well this brat hid his true colors. Hearing this, Yukijia flared up. Her pretty face turned icy as she snapped, "Lord Evil Eye, even if you have a grudge against junior brother Fang, there's no need to slander him like this. He's such an honest person. Doesn't your conscience hurt to drag his name through the mud?" "Master, I swear upon the 1,000-year honor of the World's End Pavilion, junior brother Fang absolutely did not take a single thing." Lord Seventones had been a little suspicious himself, but seeing his female disciples stake their sex honor on it, his doubts completely vanished. He shot a sidelong glare at Lord Evil Eye and said coldly, "Stop stirring up trouble." Lord Evil Eye looked like he was about to cough up blood from pure frustration. No, Fang Chen, an honest person, are you kidding me? The guy who ruthlessly schemed against me and left me in this miserable state, was that some other Fang Chen? Senior Seven Tones, do not trust this kid. Back then just as he was about to expose Fang Chen's dirty laundry to the group, a low, guttural roar suddenly echoed from the direction of the herb garden. A monstrous beast. Lord Seven Tones' eyes flickered, visibly considering backing out of this soul formation realm ruin. Whatever that beast was, it was clearly not something to mess with. Fang Chen was already plotting his escape. If that monster started chasing them, it would definitely be gunning for him first. But upon hearing that roar, his heart suddenly skipped a beat. He pulled out a piece of amber. Sealed inside was a dried drop of soul formation blood, a treasure he had obtained back in the giant sect's holy land. Right now, that dried soul formation blood was actually reacting. His expression immediately turned grave. Dried soul formation blood would only react to other soul formation blood. The problem was, the color change was growing more intense by the second, meaning whatever had triggered it was closing in fast. Could that thing actually be a soul formation realm entity? Fang Chen was completely torn. If he stayed, it was deadly. If he left, aside from what was right in front of him, he had no idea where he'd ever find a second drop of soul formation essence blood. If he ran away now, he could kiss the idea of ever filling the fate-altering jade butterfly goodbye. To his slight relief, after a brief moment of weighing the odds, Lord Seven Tones made his call. He scoffed. It's rare enough to stumble upon a soul formation ruin. Are we really going to tuck our tails and run before we've even explored a couple of paths? You vile beast, you think I'm afraid of you. He clenched his fist, and a palm-sized pair of golden scissors materialized in his grasp. As he poured his nascent soul realm power into it, the scissors rapidly expanded against the wind. In the blink of an eye, they transformed into a massive 10-foot-long weapon towering over them. Both blades were etched with scales and eyes, their edges lined with vicious, jagged teeth. At first glance, it looked exactly like a ferocious, demonic flood dragon. Seeing this, Lord Evil Eye's pupils shrank. He instinctively backed away from Lord Seven Tones and gasped. One of the world's end pavilion's 3 great divine treasures, the golden flood dragon scissors. A look of profound dread washed over his face. Seeing her master pull out this heavy hitter, Yunxia finally relaxed. She waved at Fang Chen. Junior brother Fang, come over here by my master. My master specifically borrowed the mid-grade magical artifact, the golden flood dragon scissors, from the pavilion just in case. With this weapon, unless that monster has reached the 4th aperture nascent soul realm, it won't survive a single snip. In other words, with these scissors in hand, Lord Seven Tones could actually throw down with a 3rd aperture nascent soul expert. Fang Chen couldn't hide his surprise. The golden flood dragon scissors before him gave off a staggeringly brutal aura. It didn't feel like facing a magical artifact at all, but rather a living, breathing demonic dragon, ready to lunge and tear someone to shreds at any moment. But with someone offering free protection, why would he hesitate? He immediately stepped over to Yunxia's side and said, "Thank you, senior sister Yu." Yunxia smiled. "I told you, you're my very own junior brother now. I won't let anyone bully you." Fang Chen felt a wave of genuine gratitude. Not every disciple from the outer realm divine sex was unbearable. Some, like Yunxia, were pure-hearted, kind, and knew how to repay a favor. The amber blood essence in his pocket flashed violently. The monster had arrived. A mass of dark clouds charged straight for them, radiating a terrifying aura and echoing with savage roars. Master Seven Notes saw the threat and didn't hold back. With a flick of his wrist, the golden dragon scissors snapped open and lunged at the cloud. A roar erupted from within the cloud as 2 blue beams shot out, grinding the golden dragon scissors to a halt. Master Seven Notes' expression hardened. Impressive, it actually blocked my golden shears. Fang Chen's heart sank. I thought nothing below a 4 aperture nascent soul realm could withstand a single strike from the golden dragon scissors. Was this beast really on par with a hell wasteland beast? Master Seven Notes still had a trick up his sleeve. He scoffed. Let's see how you handle this. He spat a mouthful of precious nascent soul essence blood onto his palm. Hand signs blurred as the blood mist condensed into a seal, slamming into the golden dragon scissors. The spiritual pressure of the scissors doubled instantly. They sheared through the blue beams and snapped the dark cloud in 2 with a sharp crack. A pained howl rang out. A tuft of orange fur drifted from the severed cloud and the mist dissipated, revealing the beast's true form. It was a chubby little tiger cub, barely a few months old. Its round face still had a babyish look, and a small, pointed gourd hung from its neck like a nursing bottle. Fang Chen was speechless. This was the monster. It certainly was fierce, in a viciously cute kind of way. Fang Chen's lip twitched as the little tiger frantically checked between its hind legs. Master Seven Note's aim had been a bit too precise. One more inch and the little guy would have lost its tigerhood forever. Its legs wobbled, and it glared at the group with a mix of shame and rage. When it spotted Fang Chen, its nose twitched. Recognizing him, it pointed a paw at him and unleashed a relentless, high-pitched roar. The sound nearly shattered everyone's eardrums. They gave Fang Chen strange looks. It sounded like the little tiger wasn't just cursing him out. It was cursing his entire family tree. Master Seven Note's face twitched. Young friend Fang, what did you do to this thing? Did you raid its home or something? Fang Chen rubbed his nose. I just dug up the spiritual plants it was guarding. Is that really worth a cross country chase? He sheepishly pulled out half of a monster nascent fruit. This is probably the culprit. Master Seven Notes realized the truth. That explains it. I was wondering where you found a divine fruit that's been extinct for 1,000 years. So this beast was the guardian. His eyes flickered with a sudden thought. Kid, carrying that will make you a target. It's dangerous. Why don't you sell it to me instead? Fang Chen was more than happy to get rid of it. Half a fruit was useless to him anyway. He tossed it to the master. Senior, just give me whatever you think is fair. Master Seven Notes beamed, liking Fang Chen more by the second. This kid was remarkably easy to deal with. He was about to toss some junk over to settle the deal when Yunxia interjected. Master, be generous. Junior brother, Fang, has been so good to me. If you try to lowball a guy like him, people will talk. She knew exactly how her master operated and went straight for the guilt trip. Master Seven Notes glared at her. He spends 5 minutes with this kid, and already she's stabbing me in the back. Forced to reconsider, he sighed and reluctantly pulled out a palm-sized golden vessel. This is a golden cloud spirit boat, a specialty of my sect. It can cross 10,000 miles in a day, matching the speed of a Nascent Soul expert. You'll need high-grade spirit stones to power it, but you can have this spare one. Master Evil Eye looked on with envy. Those boats were incredibly rare. He didn't even have a way to buy one. Seeing this kid charm the master's disciple into scoring such a treasure made his blood boil. The little tiger kept roaring at Fang Chen, getting even angrier when it was ignored. It bit down on its gourd and chugged a few mouthfuls of liquid. Suddenly, its aura exploded, surging to a whole new level. 2 thick blue beams erupted from its eyes, blasting the golden dragon scissors away. Master Seven Notes paled. Those scissors are borrowed. If they're damaged, I couldn't afford to pay them back even if I sold my soul. He rushed to catch the artifact, but the residual force sent a shockwave through him, making his blood churn. He was knocked back into a side path, his face full of horror. Run, the brats reached the 4. Aperture Nascent Soul level. He grabbed his 2 disciples and bolted. Master Evil Eye didn't need to be told twice. He scrambled to follow. Fang Chen gasped. That meant the cub was now as strong as a hell wasteland beast. He immediately activated his cloud shadow technique and sprinted toward the exit. With a crack of thunder, Fang Chen vanished. A moment later, he reappeared in the square. He almost dove through the fire gate, but he hesitated. He pulled out a used dust, clearing talisman, and slapped it on his chest, vanishing from sight. A second later, the tiger slammed into the square. Finding no trace of the lightning aura near the gate, it assumed Fang Chen had escaped. It pawed the ground in a fury, screaming insults at the top of its lungs. Little did it know, Fang Chen was hiding just a few feet away, staring intently at the gourd around its neck. The dried soul formation essence blood in his pocket was pulsing with frantic energy. The tiger definitely had what he was looking for. He connected the dots. The tiger's power jumped massively after drinking from that gourd. The gap between stages in the Nascent Soul realm was huge. Only soul formation blood could explain such a boost. After venting its rage, the tiger turned back in frustration. Fang Chen shadowed it silently, his eyes locked on the baby bottle, licking his lips in anticipation. The tiger ran deep into the main path. As time passed, its aura plummeted visibly, from 4 apertures to 3, then 2, until it fell out of the Nascent Soul realm entirely, dropping back to the Golden Core realm. Its strength really did come from the gourd. By the time it hit the 6th level of the Golden Core realm, it had reached the end of the road. It was pitch black. A wall of distorted space stood before them, the same barrier that had stopped the North Sea Demon tribe's search. But the tiger shot 2 blue beams at the wall, revealing a small blue door. There was a hidden pocket dimension. Fang Chen held his breath. As the little tiger scurried inside and the blue door began to seal, he slipped through the narrowing gap. Only then did he realize the space was a massive hall. It was a vision of imperial grandeur, with walls etched in dragons and phoenixes and stone pillars spiraling with celestial dragon motifs. At the far end sat a towering dragon throne, the exact layout of a human emperor's golden throne room. Beside the throne rested a crystal casket. Its lid was cast aside, looking as if some ancient being had just woken up from an eon's long slumber. In the center of the hall, a square pit dropped into the floor, filled with churning blue magma. Fang Chen's pupils constricted. Submerged in the magma was a furnace, bound by a web of heavy chains. Blue lava bubbled from its vents, releasing plumes of azure flame. This furnace was the source, the origin of the blue fire, capable of vaporizing even Zhengjin stone. Even more staggering were the chains. To survive 1,000 years in that blue magma without melting, they had to be at least spirit artifact grade. If the restraints were that powerful, what rank was the furnace itself? The thought was mind-blowing. The magma was nearly at the brim, clearly destined to overflow and drown the entire chamber within a few years. Meanwhile, the little tiger acted like it was right at home. It wandered around bored for a moment before flopping into a pile of hay in the corner, noticing a ball of yarn nearby. It batted the yarn around for a bit until the novelty wore off. With a wide yawn and a long stretch, the cub curled onto its side and drifted into a deep sleep. Before long, soft snores filled the room. This was the moment Fang Chen had been waiting for. He crept toward the cub, which was curled up like a fat orange tabby. He licked his dry lips. With his heart hammering against his ribs, he reached out and grasped the small gourd. It was crafted from a material he didn't recognize, and its unexpected weight sent his pulse racing even faster. This wasn't just a drop or two. The gourd was filled with soul formation blood. His hands trembled slightly as he untied the cord. As he finally cradled the gourd in his palms, a wave of pure adrenaline surged through him. Nascent soul spirits were rare enough, but soul formation blood was the stuff of legends. He'd never actually expected to find any. And yet, here he was, holding an entire gourd of the stuff. It felt like a fever dream. He still needed to be sure. He pulled out the amber shard containing the dried sample of soul formation blood and pressed it against the gourd. A violent, crimson radiance erupted from the blood within. There was no doubt this was the real deal. Fang Chen couldn't help but grin. He'd finally done it. The biggest obstacle in his path had been cleared. Now he only needed to capture one more nascent soul spirit to activate the fate-altering jade butterfly. But just as the thought crossed his mind, a ripple vibrated through the air. He looked down. The little tiger was staring right at him, jolted awake by the intense glow of the amber. It blinked in confusion at the empty air in front of it. Then it realized something was missing from its neck. The cub scrambled to its feet and let out a fierce, high-pitched roar. Without its nascent soul strength, the roar was pathetic, high-pitched and annoyingly adorable. Fang Chen chuckled. He began to back away, deciding to spare the creature's life. This little guy had essentially handed him a divine opportunity. Killing it now felt a bit too cold-blooded, even for him. But just as he turned to leave, his dustless talisman finally burned out. It dissolved into gray ash, revealing his figure to the cub. The tiger froze, then recognized him instantly. It began hopping madly in a fit of pure rage. First, he'd stolen its demon infant fruit, and now he'd snatched its bottle, the sheer audacity. It let out a furious squeak and lunged at him like a tiny apex predator. But its cultivation had plummeted to the early stages of the golden core realm. Fang Chen reached out and snagged it by the scruff of the neck, dangling it in midair. "Hey there, little guy, were you just talking trash to me?" Since the cat was out of the bag, Fang Chen didn't see the point in being polite. Recalling how the cub had snarled insults at him earlier, he raised a hand and gave its backside a firm swat. Too young for that kind of attitude. Still want to keep talking back? The cub barked another defiant insult. It still wanted to fight. Smack, smack, still got something to say. It squealed another curse. Smack, smack, smack. The cub's bottom was soon red and sore, and its defiant growls turned into pitiful whimpers. Fang Chen let out a triumphant laugh. He patted its small head. "Listen up, Squirt. I'm giving you a pass. Try not to be such a brat in the future, okay?" With that, he tossed it back into the hay and headed for the exit in high spirits. He was just about to push the door open when it creaked open on its own. Master Seven Tones, Master Evil Eye, Yunxia, and Kllin were all standing there at the entrance. Fang Chen jumped back, startled. He quickly regained his composure. Senior Seven Tones, Senior Sister Yu, how did you guys find this place? It didn't make sense. He'd followed the cub through a hidden rift in the spatial walls. How did these four know where to look? Even stranger, none of them spoke. Their faces were masks of pure terror. Yunxia was deathly pale, her eyes darting frantically as she tried to signal him. A cold sense of dread settled in Fang Chen's gut. He took a closer look. Master Seven Tones' robes were stained with blood, and Evil Eye was covered in filth, looking like he'd been beaten and dragged through the mud. His heart skipped a beat. He suddenly remembered those massive footprints back in the herb garden. There was no way those belonged to a tiny tiger cub. And come to think of it, the cub had been sucking on a baby bottle. Someone was obviously taking care of it. Did that mean there was an even more terrifying monster lurking in these ruins? Just then, every hair on his body stood up. Someone was standing right behind Master Kllin, radiating a bone-chilling aura. A single drop of cold sweat slid down his forehead. Whoosh, the tiger cub darted past his feet and leaped straight into the stranger's arms, wailing its lungs out like it had suffered the ultimate injustice. Master Kllin and the others slowly turned to stare at Fang Chen. Their shocked expressions screamed, "What the hell did you do to that baby tiger?" Fang Chen's face darkened. He wanted to curse out loud. I didn't even do anything. I just gave it a few smacks on the butt. How was I supposed to know it would cry like a baby? The one holding the cub was a woman who looked to be in her early 30s, dressed in an elegant yellow gown with her hair styled in a sweeping bun. She wasn't particularly tall, but perfectly proportioned. Right now, her striking face was an absolute blizzard of rage, and her piercing eyes were locked dead onto Fang Chen. Her voice was practically dripping with venom. "You've got a lot of nerve. Breaking into my home, and then bullying my son. Get inside, all of you." With a single, sharp command, an overwhelming shockwave of air blasted the four of them straight into the great hall. The woman in yellow stepped over the threshold, still cradling the sobbing cub. With a flick of her sleeve, the heavy doors slammed shut behind them with a deafening bang. Fang Chen's heart hammered against his ribs. Even a second, aperture Nascent Soul realm expert like Master Kllin couldn't put up an ounce of resistance. Just what kind of terrifying cultivation realm was this woman in? They scrambled to their feet, looking like they were staring down the executioner's block. Nobody dared to breathe. The woman gently stroked the cub in her arms, her voice softening instantly. There, no more crying. Tell mommy what happened." The cub immediately aimed a vicious paw at Fang Chen, pointed to its own backside, and unleashed a torrent of angry, chittering growls. The woman finally noticed her son's bright red backside. Her death glare snapped back to Fang Chen. Just that single look made Fang Chen feel like his bones were being crushed to dust. Pure terror gripped him. He blurted out, "Big sis, let me explain." He dropped something. "I was just trying to return it, but he thought I was a bad guy and bit me. I had to spank him to get him off." "If I actually meant him harm, he wouldn't be here crying right now." "Big sis?" Master Kllin stared at Fang Chen in utter disbelief, looking at him like he had grown a second head. Seriously, how was he buttering her up so smoothly? Was this kid actually the honest, naive guy he pretended to be? This puny human wanted to return something. Return what? The woman frowned. Suddenly, she noticed a chunk of fur missing from the cub's chin. She gasped, her fury reigniting. "Who did this?" The cub pointed an accusatory paw straight at Fang Chen. "Oh, come on," Fang Chen protested. "Why are you lying? Look at my cultivation base. You were at the 4th aperture Nascent Soul realm back there. How could I possibly cut your fur?" That only made the cub madder. It jabbed its paw at Fang Chen and kept yowling, completely insistent it was him. The woman could tell her son was just holding a grudge and trying to frame Fang Chen. The cut was obviously made by a high-level magical artifact. A measly golden core realm cultivator like him couldn't possibly leave a scratch on a Nascent Soul expert. She gave the cub's rump a light smack and scolded, "Stop lying." The cub yelped, thick tears instantly pooling in its eyes. Fang Chen couldn't hide his smug grin. "Instant karma, little guy. Thought you could frame me." But his eyes quickly darted around. He whipped out the gourd and pivoted back to his defense. "Anyway, big sis, this is what I was trying to return. Your son dropped it on the road. I found it and chased after him the whole way just to give it back. Better to hand it over voluntarily now than have that little snitch expose him later." Naturally, he had already skimmed 10 drops for himself. It was a small enough amount that the woman probably wouldn't notice. The woman's eyes went wide. She snatched the gourd, gave it a quick weigh in her hand, and sighed in relief when it didn't seem terribly light. She immediately started scolding the cub. How could you drop something this important? This is all we have left. Rower, the cub was furious. It wildly pointed at Fang Chen, then dramatically sliced a paw across its own throat, trying to expose the real thief. The woman frowned. You're saying he stole it. Yu Qiyuan wasn't having any of that. She shot the cub a dirty look. Stepping forward carefully, she bowed to the woman. Senior, my junior brother Fang is a kind and honest soul. Whenever he finds treasure, he never keeps it to himself. He always shares. It makes perfect sense that he would pick up your son's lost item and run all this way to return it. Perhaps you should ask your son if he's the one spinning tales. Is that so? The woman looked Fang Chen up and down, a flicker of surprise in her eyes. Is there really anyone this honest left in the world who wouldn't want to keep such a treasure for themselves? Actually going out of his way to share it, that wasn't just naive, that was plain stupid. Which meant his story about finding the gourd and returning it checked out. Given that the little tiger had already lied and framed Fang Chen once, it looked like the cub was just making things up again. She gave the cub another light swat on the rear and scolded. Who taught you to be so bad? You're full of lies. Whimper, the little tiger wailed in absolute grievance. He really wasn't lying this time. Noticing Fang Chen secretly smirking and gloating, the cub furiously wiped its tears and bared its fangs. This bastard, even Mom is falling for his act. But what really made the cub's blood boil was Fang Chen playing the absolute saint. With a helpless sigh, Fang Chen said, Sister, don't hit him. It's actually not a bad thing that he's wary of strangers. There are too many bad people out there. It pays to be cautious. As for being misunderstood, I'm used to it. The little tiger practically exploded with rage. You're the biggest bad guy of them all. Mom, please don't let this villain fool you. But the woman in yellow was already looking at Fang Chen in a whole new light. Wronged by her son, yet he didn't get angry and even defended the cub. What a foolishly pure human boy. The icy glare in her eyes completely melted away. Since you brought the gourd back, just wait over there for now. While she clearly intended to let Fang Chen off the hook, the frost returned the moment her gaze shifted to Yu Qiyuan and the other three. As for you lot, you trespassed into my master's forbidden grounds. Don't even dream of leaving alive. Master Seven Tones and his group turned pale. They couldn't run, and fighting back would only get them killed faster. Pure terror gripped them. The woman coldly pointed at the magma pool in the center of the grand hall. I'll give you a quick way out. Jump in. Do whatever it takes to suppress that furnace. If I have to force you, you'll be begging for a death that won't come. Everyone stared at the churning pool of blue magma, their faces draining of color. The blue flames radiating from it were hot enough to instantly incinerate them into ash, let alone the actual furnace sitting right in the middle. As they stood there ashen-faced, the woman showed zero mercy. Her gaze swept over them before locking onto Yu Qiyuan. You're the weakest. We start with you. Yu Qiyuan's beautiful face went stark white. Her body trembled violently, legs giving out as she shot a helpless, pleading look at her master, Master Seven Tones. Master Seven Tones couldn't even save himself, let alone protect his disciple. He simply turned his head away, pretending not to see. Tears of sheer panic welled up in her eyes. She glanced at her senior brother, Wai Kairan, but he was even more terrified to speak up. Despair washed over Yu Qiyuan. She looked back at the woman in yellow, begging silently, but was met with absolute indifference. Since you won't go willingly, the woman said coldly, I'll give you a push. With a casual wave of her hand, a violent gust of wind swept Yu Qiyuan up and hurled her toward the fiery pool. She gave a miserable smile and squeezed her eyes shut in despair. Bitterness consumed her. I worked so hard to get here, just one step away from the Nascent Soul realm, only to fall in this place. Burned alive of all the horrific ways to die. Just as she braced for the agonizing pain, a strong arm suddenly wrapped around her waist, yanking her back from the very edge of the pool. Her eyes snapped open. It was Fang Chen. Junior brother Fang, are you crazy? Saving someone right in front of that tigress was open rebellion. She was going to throw him in right alongside her. Just as expected, the woman's eyes turned lethal. Do you want to join her? She demanded. Her previously softened impression of Fang Chen shattered, replaced by a glacial fury. Steadying Yu Qiyuan, Fang Chen hurriedly said, Sister, hold on. I can help you suppress this furnace. A girl as wonderful as Yu Qiyuan. How could Fang Chen bear to watch her die? Looks like he had no choice but to help this tigress chill out her fire pool. The woman sneered, looking utterly unconvinced. Do I look like a fool to you, a puny human like you, suppressing my master's runaway furnace? Even soul formation realm experts wouldn't dare make such a boast. She was starting to doubt his whole story about returning the gourd. Even Yu Qiuan knew her own master was powerless against this furnace. How could Fang Chen possibly handle it? Junior brother Fang, don't play the hero for my sake. You could have walked away from this. Yu Qiuan was deeply moved, a glimmering light welling up in her eyes. When she faced death, her master abandoned her, and her senior brother cowered, yet Fang Chen, a virtual stranger, had stepped up to save her. The thought made her feel like dying wouldn't be so lonely after all. At least, in her final moments, someone actually cared. Gritting her teeth, she lunged forward, throwing herself toward the magma pool. But a finger-length ice crystal sword was faster than her. It was the listening snow sword from the northern profound sword Venerable. The frosty energy it contained was potent enough to instantly freeze the master of the first-class pavilion. The moment the blade plunged downward, the ice dragon engraved on its surface sensed the danger and instantly sprang to life. Realizing Fang Chen had just hurled it into a pit of blazing fire, the ice dragon let out 2 furious roars at him. Needless to say, Fang Chen was getting chewed out again. The ice dragon sensed the infernal heat, instantly unleashing a torrent of icy breath. The entire fire pool froze solid in an instant. Yu Qiuan, who had launched herself, slammed butt first onto the ice block. A yelp escaped her lips, as her backside felt like it had shattered into 1,000 pieces, the pain so intense it left her numb. Fang Chen stifled a laugh as he rushed over and quickly pulled her back, but it wasn't over yet. Sure enough, the blue flames below rapidly dissolved the ice. The ice dragon, however, unleashed its icy breath once more to freeze it again. After 4 or 5 repetitions of this backhand, forth, the scorching lava pool cooled at a visibly rapid rate. Oh my gods, it's actually working. The woman in yellow, overcome with excitement, practically tossed the little tiger she was holding aside. She clutched her hands to her chest, her eyes sparkling with vibrant joy, a look of profound surprise and delight on her face. A pang of heartache rippled through Fang Chen. Once this ice sword was revealed, there was no taking it back. Master Kllin and Master Zhaitong had already laid eyes on this sword. If Fang Chen dared to keep it on him, they would openly seize it once they left this place. Who wouldn't be tempted by a relic of the Baishuan sword, Venerable? Of course, even with the Frostfall sword in his possession, Fang Chen couldn't wield it yet. It was as good as scrap metal, so using it here to save their lives was a justifiable trade-off. He chuckled softly. See, sister, I told you I had a way. The woman in yellow was astonished that a mere human like Fang Chen possessed such a terrifying spirit sword. But then gratitude inevitably welled up within her. What's your name, Fang Chen? A faint smile finally graced the typically stern face of the woman in yellow. I am the spirit beast of this ruin's master. My master always called me Biluo. Fang Chen quickly replied, Sister Biluo. Biluo gazed at the gradually dying fire pool, a look of profound relief spreading across her face as she spoke. Before my master left, he sealed my husband and me within an ageless, ever-sleeping crystal coffin. Not long ago, the demonic beasts of the North Sea accidentally activated a formation, causing us to awaken unexpectedly. And with us, this furnace also awakened, continuously spewing forth lava. In another half a month, the lava it spews would have submerged this entire ruin, and my newborn child and I would have been doomed. Fang Chen recalled that the little tiger had stopped its pursuit at the Gate of Flames. A guess formed in his mind, and he probed, Sister Biluo, why don't you leave? With your strength, you could easily claim a mountain as your domain. Who would dare provoke you then? Biluo cast a wary glance at Master Kllin, but offered no reply. Clearly, Fang Chen's guess was on the mark. Fang Chen, you have truly saved my daughter and me. With this sword suppressing it, this furnace will no longer pose a threat. It's a pity this furnace is locked here. I can't remove it. Otherwise, I would let you take it with you. It would be a gift to you, and it would permanently eliminate this danger. Hearing these words, Master Kllin and the others felt their hearts pound. This furnace was undoubtedly the core of the ruin, most likely the life-bound magical artifact of that soul formation realm expert, its grade unknown. And this entity actually intended to give it to Fang Chen. Unfortunately, the chains on the furnace were no ordinary restraints. Even the mother tiger was powerless against them. Otherwise, if she had managed to give it to Fang Chen once they left, they could simply force Fang Chen to hand it over. Fang Chen's lips twitched. Even if it were truly given to him, he wouldn't dare accept it. That wasn't a treasure, it was a death warrant. The 2 Nascent Soul realm experts behind him were not to be underestimated. He already had difficulty dealing with Master Zhaitong, let alone with Master Kllin as well. Sister Biluo, you're too generous. I dare not ask for more. I only ask that you release senior sister Yu and grant us both a path to survival. He would only save Yu Qiuan. He wouldn't care about the fate of the others. Biluo instead looked a little embarrassed and said, my aggression earlier was due to my concern that you would harm my child. Since my child is unharmed, I naturally won't do anything to you or your friend. With that, she took Yu Qiuan's hand and said, little sister, I apologize for earlier. Please accept this as a small token of compensation. A small blue seed immediately appeared in Yu Qiuan's palm, radiating a powerful life force. I see you're not far from the Nascent Soul realm. When you undergo tribulation in the future, swallow this blue seed. It will provide you with ample life force. Even if your tribulation fails, it can sustain your vital energy and prevent your spirit from extinguishing. The perils of tribulation were self-evident. Even the North Sea Crown Prince, with the demonic emperor personally overseeing him, still nearly perished. Even a grand sect like the Tianya Hage saw countless cultivators lose their lives to tribulation. No one dared guarantee survival through tribulation. The preciousness of the blue seed was thus immeasurable. Master Qian's eyes gleamed sharply. He and his disciples had accumulated considerable merit over the years, barely enough to exchange for a single tribulation opportunity from the sect. But he had never dared to make that exchange lightly. Because while he had several disciples at the perfected Golden Core realm, he had no certainty as to who among them stood the best chance of breaking through. Now, with Yu Qiuan possessing this blue seed ahead of the other disciples, she undoubtedly became his top priority candidate. The moment Wei Kairan heard this, he instantly realized its implications. He couldn't help but gaze at Yu Qiuan with envy. How is that fair? Just because she spent some time with Fang Chen, she gets such an immense windfall. The thought hit him. A pang of regret struck him. Originally, his master had assigned him to monitor Fang Chen, but he had pushed the task onto his junior sister, resulting in his junior sister receiving this benefit for free. Senior, I couldn't possibly accept this. It's too precious. Yu Qiuan, of course, understood the seed's profound significance. Her face was a mixture of flattered surprise. Biluo chuckled, just take it. I'm giving it to you. It's because you're Fang Chen's friend. Yu Qiuan then accepted it with boundless joy. Her gaze towards Fang Chen was filled with profound gratitude. Not only had he saved her life, but she had also gained such an immense opportunity thanks to him. Her greatest fortune in coming to this soul formation realm ruin was truly meeting Fang Chen. Biluo then turned her gaze to Fang Chen, her face alight with gratitude. Since you call me sister, then I certainly cannot treat you poorly. She first scrutinized Fang Chen and said, Golden Core Realm, 8th layer. Your cultivation is a bit on the weaker side. As she spoke, she gently opened her mouth. A tiger, striped demonic beast core slowly drifted out, circling above Fang Chen's head. Wisps of pure essence descended from the core, enveloping him. Fang Chen instantly felt a warmth spread through his entire body. His golden core within him began to spin rapidly, greedily absorbing the essence that had merged with his being. In seconds, a violent cyclone of spiritual energy erupted around him. With a low thud, his golden core swelled, and the crushing pressure of a level 9 golden core realm expert surged out from his body. Level 9 he broke through just like that. Wei Kairan stared, his jaw practically hitting the floor. Most cultivators spent decades grinding and bleeding to reach the peak of the Golden Core realm. Even with the backing of the Horizon Sea Pavilion, Wei had to earn every scrap of progress. Fang Chen, however, had just taken the ultimate shortcut. Yu Qiuan smiled, her eyes full of relief. Junior brother Fang is blessed. So many geniuses across the Taking province are stuck at level 8 for life, and here he is, breezing past them. Master Qian was equally shaken. Even in a place as vast as the Taking province, you never heard of a late-stage Nascent Soul expert sacrificing their own power to boost a junior. It depleted the expert's very life essence, and the payoff was limited to the Golden Core level. It was an objectively terrible trade. Not even the coldest old monsters would do something so charitable for their own flesh and blood. But this Demon Empress was so determined to repay her debt that she was willing to drain her own soul. Fang Chen had hit the jackpot. Seeing his breakthrough, Biluo withdrew her now dimmed demon core. I can't push you any further, she said. Any more and your foundation will become unstable. It would do more harm than good. Feeling a surge of power unlike anything he'd ever known, Fang Chen's heart raced. He bowed deeply. Thank you, Sister Bai. Biluo nodded. The final stage of perfection is up to you. Remember, the more you refine your foundation now, the better your chances of surviving the tribulation, and the greater your rewards will be afterward. My master refined her realm to such an extreme that when she finally ascended, she manifested a dual aperture nascent soul, something never before seen in history. A dual aperture Nascent Soul that sounded insanely overpowered. Most people were lucky to survive the breakthrough at all, yet the master of this ruin had shattered all records. There had to be a secret technique to it, otherwise, all those old monsters who had been stuck at the peak of level 9 for decades would have achieved it. It wasn't just about time, it was about the method. I'll remember that, Fang Chen said with a firm nod. Billio pressed 2 blue seeds into his hand. Use these wisely, and do not give them to anyone else. Understood? I understand, Fang Chen nodded, but a seed of doubt sprouted in his mind. You only needed 1 seed for the tribulation. Why give him 2, and why the warning not to share? Was there some hidden secret within the extra seed? He pocketed them without showing any emotion. Understood. Thank you again, sister. Bye. Billio looked at him with genuine gratitude. I won't keep you and the girl any longer. If my husband returns, he won't let you leave. He isn't nearly as reasonable as I am. Fang Chen's pulse quickened. There was another tiger. Suddenly, he remembered the North Sea Demon Emperor's warning about a terrifying beast that had escaped the Soul Formation ruin and slaughtered their experts. Could that beast be Billio's husband? He realized then that they weren't trapped in the ruin. They stayed because their power would plummet if they left. The male tiger had summoned the toxic swarms and terrorized the North Sea simply to keep people away from the ruin. He was protecting his family's peace. He didn't waste another second. He grabbed Yu Qiyuan's hand. Sister Yu, we need to move, now. If the mother was this dangerous, the father would be a nightmare. Yu Qiyuan looked back at Master Qiyin. But my master, Billio, cut her off coldly. They aren't going anywhere. She was letting Fang Chen and Yu Qiyuan go because Fang Chen had saved her family. But these other 3, they had trespassed and they would pay the price. Master Zayatong's face went pale. He'd hoped to ride Fang Chen's coattails out of there, but before he could speak, Billio's expression shifted to one of pure dread. Too late. My husband is back. The commotion from your arrival must have drawn him back here. She looked panicked. If he finds Fang Chen and Yu Qiyuan, he'll never let them live. She scanned the room frantically, then grabbed the 2 of them and shoved them behind the dragon throne. Don't make a sound. If he finds you, even I can't save you. The heavy doors of the hall slammed open. A massive, shirtless man, radiating a terrifying, murderous aura, stormed inside. He spotted Master Qiyin and the others, his expression turning feral. Filthy intruders, you dare crawl into my home, you're dead. With a single cold huff, a wave of crushing pressure forced the 3 masters to their knees. They were paralyzed with terror. This male tiger's strength was significantly greater than even Billio's. Huanquan, wait. Billio yelled, I've already dealt with them. Our cub is safe. So his name was Huanquan. He glared at the 3 captives with eyes like cold steel. I sent the toxic insects to warn you, yet you still forced your way in. He snarled. Fine. Since you wanted in so badly, you can stay here forever. He suddenly noticed the drop in temperature. He glanced at the fire pit and froze. Where did that sword come from? It's suppressing the master's furnace. Billio nervously smoothed her hair. It's a treasure we found on them. On them, Huanquan's gaze narrowed as he scanned the group. Master Qiyin and Wai Karen kept their mouths shut. They were doomed anyway. There was no point in dragging Yu Qiyuan down with them. But Master Zayatong was a different story. Why should he die while Fang Chen got to live? If he was going down, he was taking that brat with him. His lips twitched, ready to spill the secret, but then he caught Billio's icy glare. The sheer malice in her eyes made his blood run cold, and he choked back the words. Exposing Fang Chen might get the kid killed, but Billio would make sure Zayatong died first, and it wouldn't be quick. Seeing their silence, Huanquan turned back to the fire pit, a grin spreading across his face. Ha ha ha, fate is on our side. Billio, with this, we can live in this ruin in peace. No one will ever disturb us again. Billio forced a smile, but her heart skipped a beat when she saw their cub. The little tiger was waddling up the platform, peeking behind the dragon throne and yapping as if to tell his father there were people hiding there. Before the cub could blow their cover, Fang Chen gave its round little head a sharp flick, sending the ball of fur tumbling back down the stairs. The sudden thud immediately caught Huanquan's attention. What's wrong, little tiger? Billio startled. She quickly picked up the little tiger, clamping its big mouth shut before it could expose Fang Chen. She even patted its bottom. You're being naughty again. That's Master's dragon throne. I told you not to play with it, didn't I? Now you've fallen off again. MMPH, MMPH, MMPH. The little tiger whimpered, struggling to speak, its face pitched with pitiful indignation. Huanquan sighed, giving the little tiger's head a helpless rub. Little tiger, don't make your mother worry so much. The little tiger wanted to wail, but no sound came out. Mom isn't worrying about me, it thought. She's worrying about that big bad guy. Bilio quickly urged Huanquan, I don't know how many intruders there were, or if any are still hiding in the relic. For our family's safety, you must go find them now. At her words, Huanquan's eyes turned frosty with menace. He snorted, watch little tiger. With that, he stormed out of the main hall. Biluo's anxious heart finally settled. Her expression hardened as she gave the little tiger's bottom a fierce pinch. You ungrateful brat, Fang Chen showed us kindness, and you want to get him into trouble. You're just as ill-tempered as your father. She then spoke to the dragon throne. Fang Chen, my husband is gone. Leave quickly, and for the love of the heavens, do not let him find you. Fang Chen immediately pulled Yu Poyuan out and thanked Biluo again. Thank you, Sister Bai, for protecting us. Huanquan is no pushover. If you hadn't risked everything to cover for us, I would have been doomed. He then rubbed the little tiger's round head again, grinning. Little guy, got another scolding, did you? The little tiger was furious, thrashing in Biluo's arms, desperate to escape and take a bite out of Fang Chen. Fang Chen chuckled, Sister Bai, I'll take my leave now. He cast a reluctant glance at the listening snow sword in the pool. For now, it was impossible to retrieve it. Biluo urged, still thinking about that sword. Don't worry, once the furnace cools completely, I'll find a way to get it back to you. Fang Chen's eyes lit up, then we're off. He quickly moved to the main hall's entrance, and Biluo helped him open it. Use invisibility if you can, and get out of here as fast as possible. Her words abruptly cut off. At the hall's entrance, Huanquan stood with his arms crossed, his gaze fixed coldly upon them. I thought as much, he said. There was a strange aura of blood, so it was you too. Biluo's heart lurched, her expression contorted in alarm. Huanquan, listen to me. This young Master Fang holds no ill will towards us. He's the one who used that sword to seal the furnace. Please, spare his life. Huanquan's eyes gleamed with savagery. Spare him, HMPH, what foolish sentimentality. If they dared to enter this relic, then they deserve to die. No one is an exception. His words had barely left his lips when he struck out at Fang Chen. The crushing power of a peak demonic emperor instantly suffocated Fang Chen, leaving him utterly defenseless, like a mortal caught in a landslide. Biluo gritted her teeth, once again dropping the little tiger as she intercepted the strike. Run, I'll hold him off. Are you insane? Huanquan roared, enraged. You're helping outsiders. Fang Chen was stunned. Biluo was actually defying her own husband for him. Filled with gratitude, he didn't hesitate. He grabbed Yu Poyuan and fled for their lives. Seeing this, Reverend Kllin and the other two wouldn't miss their chance to escape. They frantically burst out of the main hall. Fang Chen didn't care about anything else. He continuously activated his cloud shadow technique, blinking to the flame gate in just a few breaths, and slipped through without a second thought. Only then did he finally breathe a sigh of relief. Not long after, Reverend Kllin, Reverend Zaitong, and Wai Karen also stumbled out, looking utterly disheveled. From within the relic, bursts of indignant roars echoed the male tiger's furious protest. He was probably arguing with Biluo at this very moment. Fang Chen's face showed worry. Biluo won't get hurt, will she? He wondered. Fortunately, they were husband and wife. It shouldn't escalate too badly. Fang Chen, it's good that you're safe. The North Sea demonic emperor, who had been guarding outside, expressed his relief. That vicious creature plaguing my North Sea slipped inside while I wasn't paying attention. It's a good thing you're all right. Fang Chen's mouth twitched. The dangers within that relic were far beyond any mere vicious beast the North Sea demonic emperor might face. That was a family of 3 too late, stage Nascent Soul realm tiger demons, plus one ferociously adorable little tiger guarding that relic. The North Sea demonic clan truly had good fortune. Last time, the 2 tiger demons only woke up when they were already leaving. Otherwise, every single person who entered would have perished. This time they'd gotten nothing and nearly lost their lives. Reverend Zaitong's expression was as dark as storm clouds. The hard, one flame mark, obtained through deceit, had almost cost them their lives. In contrast, not only had Fang Chen's cultivation skyrocketed, but he'd also obtained 2 blue seeds. At this thought, his expression turned sour. Fang Chen, he demanded, do you really think it's fair for you to keep both seeds? Hand one over. In truth, what he coveted more was Fang Chen's spatial storage artifact. The boy had managed to produce a top-grade spirit sword, meaning his collection must be vast, far beyond what anyone expected. Furthermore, he still didn't believe that Fang Chen had only obtained half a demonic infant fruit within the relic. Fang Chen's eyes turned cold. In front of those 2 tigers, you cowered like a terrified pup, not daring to make a single peep. Now that you're out, suddenly you're full of bluster. Yu Poyuan also bristled. Is Master Evil Eye completely shameless? He's actually demanding Fang Chen's earned loot in broad daylight. She turned to Master Seven Tones. Master, if junior brother Fang hadn't suppressed the fire pool and earned the tigress's favor to hold off her mate, we'd all be dead in there. Instead of being grateful, Senior Evil Eye is threatening him. You aren't just going to stand by and watch this, are you? Master Seven Tones hadn't intended to meddle in their feud. But then again, while Fang Chen hadn't lifted a finger for him or why kllin, the kid had gone above and beyond for his female disciple. He'd saved her life and even helped her secure that priceless blue seed. Standing by and doing nothing would be a terrible look. Evil Eye, aren't your disciples entering the ancient road to heaven? You'd better head back and prepare them. That path is a veritable death trap. Catching the clear dismissal in his tone, Master Evil Eye fixed Fang Chen with a deep, calculating stare. He forced a smile and bowed to Master Seven Tones. Thank you for your protection this time, Senior. I'll be sure to pay a visit to express my gratitude in the future. Until then, I bid you farewell. With that, he surged up from the boundless sea, dissolving into a blurred afterimage as he sped away. Only then did Master Seven Tones pull out a healing medicinal pill and swallow it. A bitter expression crossed his face. Evil Eye only walked away empty-handed, but me. Not only did I gain nothing, I lost our sex magical artifact, the golden flood dragon scissors, to that tigress. I don't even know how I'm going to explain this to the elders. And that furnace, what an absolute waste. I actually recognized it. It's a supreme grade artifact from the 100 Spirits ranking. Such a shame that ruin is sealed forever. His voice dripped with pure agony. Fang Chen was genuinely shocked. A supreme grade artifact. No wonder even sword, venerable Baixuan's listening snow sword, couldn't suppress it instantly. Who knew that furnace had such a legendary origin? The North Sea Demonic Emperor forced a wry smile. It was painstakingly obvious that Seven Tones' little pity party was aimed entirely at him. As the host, he could hardly let these esteemed guests from the Heaven's Horizon Pavilion travel all this way only to leave with nothing. Without missing a beat, he pulled out a generous stash of resources. Senior Seven Tones, these are some treasures my clan unearthed a while back. Just a small token of my appreciation for your two talented disciples. I hope you won't find them lacking. Master Seven Tones' sour expression finally softened. Kllin, what are you waiting for? Thank the Demonic Emperor. The two disciples beamed, graciously accepting the gifts and bowing their thanks repeatedly. You're too kind, Demonic Emperor, Master Seven Tones said, offering a polite salute. We've troubled you enough on this journey. It's time we took our leave. He summoned his golden cloud spirit boat and motioned for his disciples to board. Kllin lingered, a look of deep reluctance washing over her face. She bit her lower lip. Master, could you accept junior brother Fang as your disciple? Let's take him back to the Heaven's Horizon Pavilion with us. Fang Chen's heart did a nervous flip. He had zero interest in apprenticing under Seven Tones. This guy wasn't an honorable man like the Pavilion Master of Heavenly Secrets. Sure, he wasn't pure evil, but he was far from a saint. From trying to spy on Fang Chen, to abandoning his own disciple in mortal peril, to shamelessly shaking down the North Sea Demonic Emperor for free loot. Everything pointed to him being a slick, opportunistic snake. If Fang Chen joined his sect, it'd only be a matter of time before Seven Tones started eyeing his spatial storage ring, exactly like Master Evil Eye. Master Seven Tones' eyes lit up. He was visibly tempted, but the grim reminder of the lost golden flood dragon scissors crashed down on him. With a looming sect tribunal hanging over his head, he was far too stressed to even entertain the thought of taking on a new student. We'll cross that bridge if he ever makes his way to the Taking Grand State. Right now, I need to rush back to the pavilion and deal with this unmitigated disaster. Kllин's face fell. She gave Fang Chen one last, wistful look. Junior brother Fang, when you make it to the Taking Grand State, you have to find me. I'll make sure no one messes with you. Fang Chen offered a polite salute with a warm grin. Thanks, senior sister. Stay safe. Kllin waved enthusiastically. You too, I'll be waiting for you in Taking. As the golden cloud spirit boat rocketed into the sky, their figures swiftly vanished beyond the horizon. Fang Chen let out a quiet sigh of relief. Thank the heavens that Master Seven Tones hadn't agreed. Otherwise, he would have had to mentally scramble for an excuse to reject him without sparking a blood feud. Young Master Fang, allow me to offer you some cultivation resources as well. The North Sea Demonic Emperor pulled out an exquisite cache of cultivation supplies. Every single item was perfectly tailored for someone in the late stages of the Golden Core realm. These were noticeably higher quality than the handouts he'd given the other two. The Heaven's Horizon Pavilion is the North Sea's primary backer. If he asks for resources, I can just humor him with standard fare. But you, my young friend, saved my son's life. How could I possibly skimp out on you, take it all? Fang Chen had already hauled in a king's ransom on this trip. He shook his head. Demonic Emperor, the North Sea has suffered devastating losses thanks to that monstrosity. You should keep these for your own people. But the Demonic Emperor simply shoved the resources into his arms, leaving no room for argument. Kid, do you really think I'd let a hero walk away from my territory empty-handed? Grateful, Fang Chen accepted the gesture. After a moment of thought, he summoned the pristine 9 Dragons bronze chariot and a vial of the water source essence. My luck held out. I never ran into any threats I couldn't handle, so I'm returning the chariot to you. Seeing his prized chariot without a single scratch and the water source essence untouched, the North Sea Demonic Emperor beamed. He had been quietly sweating bullets, terrified that Fang Chen would lose the chariot inside the treacherous ruins. If that had happened, the North Sea's supreme magical artifact would have been permanently entombed in that forsaken place. Weighing his options, Fang Chen made a decision. He pulled out the pill refining formula for the Winter Cicada Extinction Pill. The Eastern, Southern, and Western Seas already had copies of this formula. Even if he held it back, it was only a matter of time before the other 3 factions shared it with the North. There was zero point in keeping it a secret anymore. Demonic Emperor of the North, Fang Chen began, do you know exactly why the emperors of the Eastern, Southern, and Western Seas all swore an oath of brotherhood with me? The Demonic Emperor chuckled, openly admitting his confusion. Honestly, I've racked my brain over it and came up blank. I can't quite read the Western Emperor, but Emperor Lost Pearl and Emperor Old Dream, they absolutely wouldn't take on a sworn brother for fun. Their positions are incredibly precarious, and they are fiercely guarded. Most men can't even breathe in their direction without getting swatted down. Making a human kid their sworn sibling is completely out of character. Fang Chen smirked and pressed the parchment containing the Winter Cicada Extinction Pill formula into the Emperor's palm. This is why. The Demonic Emperor stared at it, utterly bewildered. A split second later, his pupils blew wide in absolute shock. The Winter Cicada Extinction Pill, the formula. Consider it a gift to the North Sea, Fang Chen said casually. With this, all 4 of your oceanic factions can finally break free from Mount Sanking's chokehold. The Demonic Emperor's mind reeled. Suddenly, everything clicked. No wonder the 3 other emperors had bent over backward to forge a sworn brotherhood with this human. This single piece of parchment was enough to permanently alter the destiny of the entire demonic race. Swearing a blood oath of brotherhood was quite literally the highest honor they could bestow to show their undying gratitude. Trembling with an adrenaline rush of pure excitement, he gripped Fang Chen's shoulders. Young friend Fang, no, brother Fang. From this day forward, you are the sworn brother of the North Sea Demonic Emperor. More than that, I am officially crowning you an honorary king of the North Sea. Wherever you go in this world, you have the absolute right to flaunt the title of the North Sea King. Fang Chen rubbed his nose. Well then, that made another Sea King title to add to his collection. But he certainly wasn't going to reject having another demonic emperor acting as his personal heavyweight backup. He respectfully cupped his fists. Little brother Fang Chen pays his respects to, wait, what exactly is my new big brother's Dao name? Fang Chen found it strange. Now that he thought about it, no one ever addressed the Northern Sea Demon Emperor by his actual Dao title. Could it be another highly embarrassing nickname he was trying to hide? The Northern Sea Demon Emperor immediately looked awkward. He cleared his throat. Ahem. Well, since you're sworn brothers with the Western Sea Demon Emperor, you've probably heard his Dao title. I suppose I'm not the only one losing face here. My Dao title is the Weeping Demon Emperor. PFFT Fang Chen nearly choked on a laugh. The guy really was a crybaby. When his son had been in danger, he had bawled even harder than the Empress. The Weeping Demon Emperor was actually a perfect fit. But his amusement quickly faded into dread. He was already at the 9th level of the Golden Core realm, just a step away from breaking through to the Nascent Soul realm. When the time came, would he end up with an equally humiliating Dao title? At that thought, he cleared his throat and put on a serious face. I'll just call you Brother Bay from now on. It was best to hold his tongue now. Karma was real, and if he ended up with a terrible Dao title, he hoped his brothers would show him the same mercy. Deeply moved, the Northern Sea Demon Emperor gripped his arm tightly. Brother Fang. He glanced at the 9 Dragons bronze plate, still resting in Fang Chen's hand, and gritted his teeth in resolve. That pill recipe is priceless. I can't just take it for free. Keep the 9 Dragons bronze plate for now, use it as long as you need, and just return it to us whenever you're done with it. Fang Chen was overjoyed. This item was an ultimate life, saving divine treasure. On top of that, it contained the combat power of a Demon Emperor, level dragon soul, exactly what he needed right now. Thank you, Brother Bay. The Northern Sea Demon Emperor gave a slight nod, casting one last regretful glance at the door of flames behind them. It's a pity we'll never be able to enter this place again. The Golden Flood, Dragon Scissors from the World's End Pavilion, and that Soul Formation, Expert's Fiery Furnace, they'll be buried in there forever. All right, let's head back to the Northern Sea. Fang Chen gave a small nod. He still needed to see the Crown Prince of the Northern Sea. He had gained a massive haul this time, all thanks to the map the prince provided. A proper thank you was definitely in order. And while he was at it, he needed to ask for that tattered bamboo slip. The Demon Emperor summoned a surging current of water, sweeping Fang Chen up as they shot forward. As the Demon Emperor cleared the path ahead, Fang Chen quietly hung back, secretly taking inventory of his epic loot. The first items he pulled out were the 2 blue seeds. He had a sneaking suspicion that Beluo giving him exactly 2, and specifically warning him not to give them away, held a deeper meaning. He held them up to his eyes, comparing them closely. Sure enough, one of them felt completely different, pulsing with a faint, almost imperceptible spatial fluctuation. A spatial storage artifact. Fang Chen's heart pounded against his ribs. He swept it with his divine sense and, to his shock, discovered an entire pocket dimension hidden inside. It was tiny, only about the size of a small piglet, but resting inside were 2 objects. The first was a palm-sized, gleaming golden pair of scissors, the Golden Flood, Dragon Scissors. Fang Chen almost screamed in pure excitement. Beluo had actually taken the confiscated divine treasure from the World's End Pavilion and secretly slipped it to him. A complex wave of emotion washed over him. He had only helped suppress the furnace because his own life was on the line, yet she was moving mountains to repay him. The cultivation world was cutthroat and sinister, but occasionally, these unexpected flashes of genuine kindness made it all feel a little warmer. Thank you, Fang Chen whispered, his gaze softening. He then turned his attention to the second item, a mysterious pitch-black pill-like object. What is this? The moment his divine sense brushed against it, the black sphere reacted. In a flash, it transformed into a streak of dark light, tracing his consciousness straight into his body. Startled, Fang Chen immediately checked his internal condition. He watched the dark light travel all the way down to his dungeon, where it obediently settled right next to his golden core. Looking closely, the black object resembled a golden core that had just broken into the first level. Only this one was pitch black. Fang Chen's eyes widened as the realization hit him. A second golden core. Could this be the secret behind how Beluo's master managed to forge a 2-apertured Nascent Soul? Once a cultivator pushed their first golden core to its absolute peak, they could cultivate this second core to the pinnacle of the 9th level. With 2 perfected golden cores breaking through simultaneously, they could shatter the standard limits and manifest a 2-apertured Nascent Soul. His pulse hammered wildly against his throat. This wasn't just some small black core, this was a literal seed of ultimate potential. If he maxed out his golden core at the 9th level, before he managed to gather all the pieces of the fate-changing Jade Butterfly, he could just pivot to cultivating this black core. The higher he pushed its rank, the more massive his power spike would be upon breakthrough. Of course, if he managed to collect the pieces quickly, he could skip the wait and break straight into the Nascent Soul realm without needing to fully refine the black core. Either way, its presence was a massive cheat code with 0 drawbacks. Sister Beluo even entrusted her master's greatest secret to me. A profound sense of gratitude swelled in Fang Chen's chest. The only downside was that his listening snow sword and that fiery furnace were still trapped inside. Without a flame mark, even a soul formation expert wouldn't dare trespass into those ruins. With a sigh, he stored the blue seed away and pulled out a small black box. It was the one he had unearthed from beneath the plaza tiles, the same box that had utterly refused to open, no matter how much strength he used. Now, channeling the full explosive power of his physique, he clamped down on the lid and twisted with everything he had. Click! To his shock, the lid popped off effortlessly the moment he applied pressure. Fang Chen nearly face-planted from the sudden lack of resistance. It was that easy. He stared at it, completely dumbfounded. Back in the ruins, the lid had been practically welded shut, had the box been under some kind of suppression inside the domain. He peered inside, and his pupils contracted sharply. Resting at the bottom of the box was a single, flickering blue flame. "It's a flame mark, the key to the soul formation ruins," he gasped. "Doesn't this mean I can sneak right back in? I can actually snatch that top-tier furnace and get my listening snow sword back?" He never would have guessed that such a game changing item was hidden inside this unassuming box. The adrenaline spiked through his veins. As soon as that overgrown fire tiger leaves the house, I'm sneaking right back in. Fang Chen let out a sly chuckle and tossed the black box into his heavenly lightning stone. Next on the list were the demon infant fruits, 9 of them in total. Judging by their aura, they had to be at least 1,000 years old. It was just a shame they were strictly for the demon race. The demon emperors of the 4 seas instantly came to mind, but Fang Chen pushed the thought aside. He wasn't handing these over just yet. The sheer greed on Master Qian's face had told him exactly how priceless these fruits were. Until he had the power to protect himself, it was best to keep this treasure an absolute secret. Next up was that mysterious little bean that looked like a cheap bar snack. Once he returned to the heavenly secret pavilion, he'd find an opportunity to have the pavilion master appraise it. Finally, there was the sword box and the 10 drops of soul formation essence blood. However, whipping those out to study right under the North Sea Demon Emperor's nose was a terrible idea. All in all, the loot from this expedition dwarfed all his previous hauls combined. These soul formation ruins had absolutely been worth the trip. Half a day later, back at the North Sea Royal Palace, the Demon Emperor had gone off to prepare a grand banquet. Fang Chen, meanwhile, headed straight for the entrance of the treasure vault. From a distance, he spotted the slender North Sea Prince holding an umbrella, standing silently in the courtyard, waiting for his return. Holding an umbrella while at the bottom of the sea, it was a truly bizarre sight. Seeing Fang Chen approach, a faint smile graced the prince's lips. He stepped forward and asked, "A fruitful trip?" Grateful, Fang Chen produced a bod, high seed that pulsed with a faint, golden Buddhist light. "I owe this all to that map you drew for me. Just a small token of my appreciation. Take it." The North Sea Prince's eyes lit up with mild shock. "A bod, high seed. Keep this out of sight from the White Horse Temple. They've been desperately hunting for the bodhi tree for countless years. If they find out you have a seed, they'll know you've likely seen the tree. They won't stop hounding you for its location." Fang Chen rolled his eyes. "Then why don't you hurry up and put it away?" The prince gently shook his head. "It's too precious. I can't accept it." Hearing this, Fang Chen immediately glanced around. Back on the mainland, hardly anyone would recognize the seed, but the sea demons were a different story. Shoving it back and forth in plain sight was just asking for trouble. Without missing a beat, he yanked open the North Sea Prince's collar and casually dropped the bod, high seed, right down his shirt. "You're too fussy." "Why, what do you think you're doing?" The prince hastily clutched his collar, glaring fiercely at Fang Chen. His rosy lips were pressed tightly together, flushed with a mix of indignation and embarrassment. Seeing him react like a frightened maiden made Fang Chen genuinely uncomfortable. "No need to overreact, man. We're both dudes, unless you're into guys." Humiliated and annoyed, the North Sea Prince gripped the handle of his umbrella tightly. He wanted nothing more than to storm off, but he was too invested in hearing the story of the subterranean world. "Don't ever do that again," he huffed in displeasure. Fang Chen got full body goosebumps watching the prince act so incredibly feminine. This North Sea Prince might actually swing that way, he thought, weirded out. He took a few steps back to maintain a safe distance. "Let's go talk in the pavilion." Moving to a nearby pavilion, the two sipped on spirit tea and began to chat. "You said this female ghost was a master of illusions, could manipulate people's hearts, and possessed that mysterious yin marrow tiger amulet. She definitely wasn't your average foul spirit. If you ask me, she sounds like the remnant soul of some fallen powerhouse." Fang Chen's heart skipped a beat, a casual remark, but it instantly reminded him of Venerable Six Paths. The Venerable had also been a remnant soul. Could this Huaxin be a similar kind of existence? He'd just have to test it out next time with the soul, suppressing Buddhist beads. If she was truly a soul entity, she would be absolutely terrified of them. As for those spirit tablets hidden in the mountain, that is undeniably strange. If they were meant to honor the dead, why hide them away? Were they afraid someone would find them? Who were they hiding from? And why would there be spirit tablets in the first place? How did the ancient texts from that cave, along with the key, end up scattered in the outside world? Did one of the tablet keepers escape with the key? If so, where is he now? This barrage of questions highlighted several details Fang Chen had overlooked. The North Sea Prince's sharp observations made him realize just how suspicious the whole setup was. Those mountain spirit tablets definitely scream conspiracy, Fang Chen agreed. Where is the person who brought the key out? Do they still have living descendants? Was he human, or did he belong to the same race as that horned alien corpse? The two went back and forth, eagerly bouncing theories and speculations off each other. Not too far away, the Demon Emperor and Empress were strolling together toward the pavilion. Should we really not invite Yunxia? I'm hosting this banquet for my little brother Fang, and I'd like her to be there to show our respect. The Empress shook her head with a sigh. Let it go. She definitely won't want to come. If we force her, and she just sits there acting like a mute, wouldn't that just kill young Master Fang's mood? The Demon Emperor realized she had a point. His daughter couldn't even be bothered to speak a single word to him, her own father. The last time they had an actual conversation was over 6 months ago. If they forced her to attend, and she gave Fang Chen the silent treatment whenever he asked a question, it would just make things incredibly awkward for him. He let out a long sigh. In all the 4 seas and the mainland combined, I'm afraid there isn't a single soul who can hold a conversation with her. We'd better just. Suddenly, he noticed the Empress had stopped dead in her tracks, staring at the pavilion ahead as if she'd just seen a ghost. He followed her gaze, and his ancient face froze in utter disbelief. His notoriously antisocial daughter was currently talking Fang Chen's ear off, excitedly debating something with animated expressions and a radiant, beaming smile. The two chatted for quite some time. Fang Chen gained a lot of insight and found himself thoroughly enjoying the conversation. Just as he wanted to keep going, a servant sent by the Demon Emperor arrived to usher him to the banquet, forcing them to say their goodbyes. Let's continue this next time, Fang Chen said. Jai Yunxia gently shook her head, letting out a soft sigh. I doubt we'll get another chance. I'm planning to leave the Azure Sea and travel the outside world. She had dressed as a man precisely to prepare for this journey. Hoping to avoid the unnecessary trouble her stunning face and figure would inevitably attract. Who would have thought that before she even set foot outside the North Sea Royal Palace, Fang Chen would end up taking total advantage of her disguise? She couldn't help but wonder if her carefully laid plans would truly pay off. Are you leaving to journey across the lands? Fang Chen couldn't help but feel a pang of regret. Where do you intend to go? Jai Yunxia's goal was clear. I'll head to the continent first. I want to meet the famed Fang Chen, the one who spoke of the world of great harmony. She paused, her enchanting gaze settling on Fang Chen. However, having seen you, I'm starting to think I might not need to meet him after all. Your insights and vision are likely his equal. Fang Chen offered a radiant smile. Indeed, there's no need. Because you already have. Jai Yunxia's eyes widened. I have. Connecting the dots and remembering Fang Chen's surname, she gasped, covering her lips. You're Fang Chen. The one and only. Fang Chen chuckled. Jai Yunxia was caught between amusement and annoyance. She rushed over, playfully striking his arm and stomping her foot. You scoundrel, you deliberately played a trick on me. To think she had stood in the treasure vault face to face with him and asked if he knew Fang Chen, the thought alone made her cheeks flush. Fang Chen, on the other hand, flinched. He found this guy's delicate demeanor almost overwhelming, more feminine than any woman he'd ever met. Fortunately, Jai Yunxia didn't press further. She studied Fang Chen closely, a satisfied smile gracing her lips. Truly, you live up to the reputation. You are every bit as profound as I'd imagined, the very person I yearned to meet. My wish is fulfilled. I won't journey to the continent after all. Instead, I'll visit the great state of Taking. With that, she produced the tattered bamboo slip. This is for you, she offered. I hope our paths cross again someday. Fang Chen gratefully accepted it. Many thanks, brother, he said. Oh, and I still don't know which prince you are. How should I address you? Prince Jai Yunxia chuckled softly, covering her mouth, but offered no explanation. Just call me by the surname of the North Sea Royal Clan, Fang Chen said, a hint of embarrassment in his voice. All right, brother Jai. Both of them instantly felt something was amiss. Why did it sound so odd? Jai Yunxia pursed her lips and gave a slight stomp of her foot. Brother Fang, she lectured, allow me to offer a word of advice. Even with other men in the future, be mindful of your words and actions. Don't be so handsy. Farewell. Watching her slightly irritated form depart, Fang Chen simply stared, dumbfounded. I didn't even mention your mother, and you're lecturing me. The nerve. Scratching his head, he followed the young palace maid to the banquet. Everyone seemed joyful, but the Demon Emperor and Empress appeared particularly delighted. Over drinks, they peppered Fang Chen with questions. The Empress, for instance, inquired about his home, how many cave dwellings he possessed, and the number of his siblings. Fang Chen was accustomed to such inquiries. The Sea Demon clan, it seemed, had a peculiar fondness for prying into others' personal lives. Yet, it was the Demon Emperor's question that continued to baffle Fang Chen long after he'd left Kang. The following day, what exactly did he mean by elevating their brotherly relationship? Fang Chen muttered to himself, soaring through the air on his flying sword. Shaking his head, he dismissed the thought and sped towards the continent. He hadn't returned to the continent in ages. What state would he find it in? Had Yunxia and Heimei managed to break through to the Demon Emperor realm? Had the mighty experts of the great state of Taking successfully handled the matter of the sky, reaching Black Pillar? And how fared the cultivation of those within the Pavilion of Heavenly Secrets? He pondered as he traveled, and by the time his thoughts cleared, the continent's coastline was already visible in the distance. A wave of relief washed over him, but just as suddenly, a chilling premonition flared in his mind, followed by a powerful sense of unease that settled heavy in his chest. Without a trace of outward change, he subtly clutched a protective luminous pearl. He stealthily scanned his surroundings, but neither the sky nor the sea revealed anything amiss. A mere illusion. Fang Chen mused for a moment, but maintained his vigilance. He discreetly retrieved the dual pupil crystal from around his neck, pressed it to his eyes, and swept his gaze across the area once more. This time, his pupils contracted sharply. Far behind him, a figure hovering in the void was secretly shadowing his every move. The individual was cloaked in invisibility, rendering them undetectable to the naked eye. If not for the palpable killing intent that couldn't be fully suppressed, Fang Chen might never have realized he was being tailed. As he focused, clearly discerning the figure, Fang Chen's expression darkened. Evil eye, reverend. Well, isn't this utterly unsurprising? When it comes to petty schemes and shadowy ambushes, the three sages of Taikang are truly unmatched. Good thing I have my innate dual pupils, or I wouldn't have known you were this close. Fang Chen betrayed no outward sign of alarm, feigning ignorance as he continued his journey, all while secretly monitoring the reverend's movements. Simultaneously, he ensured the spirit artifact sleeve arrows on his wrist were ready. Sleeve arrows were a form of hidden weapon, ideal for surprise attacks, but easily countered in open combat if anticipated. Whether they could wound him hinged entirely on catching him off guard. With a sharp whistle, the flying sword skimmed over the waves, gliding steadily toward the mainland until it finally hit the shore. Tailing him from a distance, the evil eye master suddenly surged forward, picking up speed. He'd held back in the North Sea, fearing a hidden demon emperor might be protecting the boy. But seeing Fang Chen step onto the shore alone, his last shred of hesitation vanished. Fang Chen's heart hammered against his ribs. He could feel the danger closing in, but he forced a mask of calm onto his face, silently tracking the distance between them. The moment the stalker got close enough, Fang Chen would strike, a lethal surprise to catch him off guard. Boom, without warning, a massive, ghastly hand woven from dark energy swept across the area, radiating a suffocating chill. A violent surge of demonic power erupted right after. Two powerhouses, both at the Nascent Soul realm, were locked in a brutal clash. That demonic energy, Fang Chen recognized it instantly. The Sky Demon Emperor. What kind of mess did he get into this time to have someone hunting him down? Fang Chen's gaze shifted, his mystical double, pupils narrowing as he cast a glance back at the evil eye master. The stalker had felt the Nascent Soul shockwaves too. He'd come to a dead halt out over the water. After a split second of thought, Fang Chen pivoted. He gunned his flying sword straight toward the epicenter of the battle. Seeing him bolt, the evil eye master gritted his teeth and gave chase. He was convinced Fang Chen had walked away from the Soul Formation ruins with a fortune. Even if he didn't have the blue seed, that golden cloud spirit boat alone was a priceless treasure. Fang Chen cleared a mountain ridge and finally laid eyes on the two combatants. One was definitely the Sky Demon Emperor, and he looked like he was in over his head. The other was a mysterious figure shrouded in dark energy. He was backed by an army of over 100 undead corpses, every single one of them at the peak of the Golden Core realm. Between the relentless swarm and the mystery man's lethal strikes, the Sky Demon Emperor was being driven into a corner. I already told you, I don't have your student's gear. I've never even heard of some mountain river cauldron. The mountain river cauldron, a strange look crossed Fang Chen's face. Ouch, sorry about that, Emperor. I'm the one who actually took it. Then his eyes caught a figure standing just behind the Emperor. A woman, her expression as calm and unreadable as still water. She was draped in robes as white as fresh snow, her long black hair tied with two flowing green ribbons. Her beauty was breathtaking, the kind that could topple kingdoms. But she was cold, distant, like an immortal goddess who had no place in the mortal world. Even with the devastating nascent soul energy whipping her skirts around, she remained composed, looking more like an observer than a participant in the chaos. Fang Chen's pupils shrank. His breath hitched in his throat. Consort Yunxia. It had been so long, she looked thinner than before, but her ethereal beauty hadn't faded an inch. Seeing her so unexpectedly, Fang Chen's heart skipped a beat. A surge of uncontrollable emotion rushed through him. "Save your lies!" the Nascent Soul expert snarled from within the mist. "You were the last one seen hunting my disciple before he vanished. If you didn't take the mountain river cauldron, who did?" With that, the mystery man's identity was obvious. It was Master Thousand Corpses, the mentor of Wang Yunxia. The Sky Demon Emperor's face darkened. "I'll say it one last time. I don't have it. That disciple of yours is as slippery as that brat Fang Chen. I never even caught him." Back then, Wang Yunxia had bolted with the earth, Kai Dragon Pearl. The Emperor had chased him, but the kid was clever. He'd tossed the pearl as a distraction and vanished into the depths of the ocean. The Emperor had come up empty-handed. "Then why is he still missing?" Master Thousand Corpses demanded. "Why did you destroy the Feng Shui pearl and seal the Fox Demon Emperor's tomb forever?" "Did you trap my disciple inside just to hide the evidence?" The Sky Demon Emperor was fuming. Who was the bastard that actually stole the cauldron? Master Thousand Corpses couldn't find his man, so he was pinning the blame on the Emperor with these flimsy, pathetic excuses. It felt like he was just looking for a reason to pick a fight. "What do you really want? Just spit it out," the Emperor spat. Master Thousand Corpses' eyes gleamed. "I've heard you have a consort named Yunxia. Hand her over to me, and I'll consider the matter of the cauldron settled." When the heavy hitters of the Great Kang province had gathered to investigate the Black Pillar, the Emperor had brought Yunxia along. Her stunning looks and her status as a fox demon had caught the eye of a very powerful individual. This big shot didn't want to get his hands dirty, so he'd sent Master Thousand Corpses to do the negotiating, or rather, the buying. The price, a rank, 5 medicinal pill capable of boosting a Nascent Soul expert's cultivation by an entire level. Master Thousand Corpses was drooling over the offer. His plan was simple: beat the Emperor into submission, drag the girl away, and keep that rank. 5 elixir for himself. What he hadn't expected was the Emperor's raw power. The man was on the verge of breaking through to the second Aperture Demon Emperor rank, and he wasn't about to be pushed around. "I knew you were after my woman, not a chance in hell," the Emperor roared. Consort Yunxia was his line in the sand. "Touch her, and you were a dead man." Master Thousand Corpses' expression soured. "We do this the hard way, then." With that, the two exploded into combat once again. Fang Chen's eyes turned cold. They were actually coming for Consort Yunxia. With a quick thought, he activated his 1000 illusion crown. His appearance warped into that of the Evil Eye Master before he launched a ruthless strike. He aimed his heavy crossbow at the preoccupied Master Thousand Corpses and let fly a high-powered bolt. Crack, blindsided by the attack, Master Thousand Corpses scrambled to pull a wall of undead corpses in front of him to intercept the bolt. The Sky Demon Emperor was stunned for a second, but he didn't waste the opening. He unleashed his innate divine ability, catching Master Thousand Corpses in a pincer attack that sent the necromancer tumbling through the air. Dozens of the undead corpses were decimated, tearing a chunk out of the ghastly horde. "Who dares?" Master Thousand Corpses roared in fury. Fang Chen stood atop the mountain peak, glaring down at the carnage. "I am Master Evil Eye. I have zero tolerance for your shameless trickery. Die." He then summoned his North Sea divine treasure, the 9 Dragons bronze chariot. After he fed it a conch full of pure water essence, the massive carriage instantly swelled to epic proportions. Fang Chen vaulted into the driver's seat and barked a single command: Dragon Soul. Roar, an ethereal, transparent dragon phantom, spanning thousands of feet, burst forth, radiating an overwhelming, dominating energy. It materialized right above the bronze chariot. As the carriage plunged from the sky, the colossal dragon phantom ruthlessly bombed Master Thousand Corpses. The Skyplate Demon Emperor's eyes lit up with wild joy. He cupped his hands. "Many thanks, Brother Evil Eye." Seizing the opening created by the dragon, the Emperor launched a devastating barrage of attacks against Master Thousand Corpses. Master Thousand Corpses was powerful, but not a match for a 2-on-1 fight. The dragon phantom quickly crushed his defenses, leaving him coughing up mouthfuls of dark blood. Thrilled by the shifting tide, the Demon Emperor surged forward, ready to go in for the kill. But Fang Chen abruptly recalled his dragon phantom. "Consider this a lesson. I'll spare your life out of respect for our shared roots among the sects of the Taking Province." If Master Thousand Corpses actually died here, all his loot would go straight to the Demon Emperor, leaving Fang Chen with nothing but a wasted stash of precious water essence. Besides, he had bigger fish to fry. "Demon Emperor, I've done my part. The rest is on you. I'll get Consort Yunxia off the battlefield for you." The Demon Emperor was visibly disappointed, but understood. They were all from the Taking Province, moving in the same circles. The fact that this stranger had stepped in to help at all was a rare stroke of luck. The only catch was that this mysterious savior wanted to take Consort Yunxia away. But considering she was Master Thousand Corpse's primary target, keeping her in the war zone was too risky. Having a good Samaritan escort her to safety wasn't a bad idea. He just needed to end this fight fast. He could always track them down later. Then I leave her in your capable hands, Brother Evil Eye. Wasting no time, Fang Chen steered the bronze chariot right next to Consort Yunxia. He reached a hand out from the cabin. Consort Yunxia, if you would. Consort Yunxia gave him a cool, detached glance and gently shook her head. She had zero intention of boarding. She just stood there, motionless and aloof, radiating the untouchable grace of an immortal goddess. That is, until a deeply familiar, unforgettable voice echoed directly into her mind. So cold. Are you really going to ignore your own husband? A jolt of electricity surged through Consort Yunxia's body. She flinched, her stunning eyes flying open in utter disbelief as she stared at the outstretched hand. Fang Chen, she probed back telepathically. A warm, mental chuckle resonated back. Are you getting in, or what? A rush of wild elation swept over her. She couldn't believe she'd actually bumped into Fang Chen here. But her joy was mixed with shock. Fang Chen had some serious nerve, openly swooping in to steal her away right under the Demon Emperor's nose. Throwing caution to the wind, she grabbed his hand and let him pull her into the 9 dragons' bronze chariot. The ethereal green dragons cleared the path, and the majestic bronze carriage rocketed into the sky, tearing away from the battlefield. Catching the chariot's departure from the corner of his eye, the Demon Emperor let out a breath of relief. Then his gaze snapped back to the wounded Master Thousand Corpses, his eyes turning murderously sharp. The vile master, meanwhile, was burning with anxiety, desperate to break away and chase after the carriage. Where do you think you're going? The Demon Emperor sneered, blocking his path. Don't worry, I'm going to make absolutely sure you don't interrupt them. Bro just turned the Yunxia realm into his personal grand theft auto lobby. Pulling up in a 9 dragons chariot, wearing his hater's face, and heisting the Demon Emperor's wife right under his nose while the guy says thank you. Absolute cinema. While these nascent soul boomers sweat basic loot, Fang Chen is spanking demon cubs, finessing a mythical twin golden core, and playing 5D Taoist chess. The disrespect is astronomical. His enemies are officially cooked. So answer me this: when the Sky Demon Emperor inevitably realizes he just outsourced his own cucking to a masked scammer, does he crash out and declare holy war on taking? Or will Fang Chen's pure menace energy gaslight him into a sworn brotherhood? The Demon Emperor sneered, barring his way. Don't worry, I won't let you interfere with them. Venerable Thousand Corpse was absolutely furious. If Consort Yunxia wasn't retrieved, that grade 5 elixir would be nothing but a mirage. Get out of my way. He immediately clashed with the Azure Firmament Demon Emperor. Equally furious was Venerable Evil Eye, who had quietly trailed them. He cursed venomously, you damned bastard. You seduced the Demon Emperor's woman, but used my identity to do it. I'm not done with you. He had witnessed everything Fang Chen had done, and a profound hatred welled within him. Fang Chen had impersonated him to assault Venerable Thousand Corpse. Once they returned to the great province of Taking, Venerable Thousand Corpse would undoubtedly seek revenge. What drove him to even greater fury was this: Fang Chen had also used his identity to lure away Consort Yunxia. If Fang Chen did anything to Consort Yunxia, wouldn't he be taking the fall for it too? Fang Chen had simultaneously made him 2 powerful enemies. I will obliterate you. Raging Venerable Evil Eye gave chase. Across the sky, the spacious bronze palanquin was lined with thick beast fur and adorned with the North Sea's most opulent decorations. The carriage was filled with a rich fragrance, but it paled compared to the alluring scent radiating from Consort Yunxia. Once Fang Chen was sure they were far enough, Consort Yunxia quickly spun around to face the Venerable Evil Eye behind her. Her eyes held a glimmer of doubt. Beyond the unfamiliar appearance that left her bewildered, Fang Chen's display of power moments ago was equally unbelievable. He had actually managed to unleash an attack capable of striking a nascent soul cultivator. First there was the powerful crossbow bolt, then the mysterious and regal 9 dragon bronze palanquin before her. 9 dragons clearing the path, a divine emperor's procession. This was undoubtedly a divine treasure used for travel by a truly paramount figure. Why then was Fang Chen in command of it? As Fang Chen deactivated the 1000 Illusions coronet, the familiar face and form clearly registered in Consort Yunxia's eyes. Her luminous eyes trembled. She could no longer contain herself. Her soft, slender body launched itself into Fang Chen's arms. She cried out, her voice trembling, "Fang Lang, it's really you." Her hands wrapped tightly around Fang Chen's waist, her head buried in his chest, softly nuzzling him. "I must not be dreaming, right? To think I'd actually find you here, Fang Lang." Fang Chen gently encircled her slender, soft waist. He kissed her forehead and whispered softly, "I never expected to run into you right after returning from Shanghai." Consort Yunxia lifted her head. The moment their eyes met, the sparks of longing ignited into a raging inferno, consuming them both. They kissed, a silent understanding passing between them, unable to break apart for a long, blissful moment. After a significant pause, Fang Chen, with great effort, suppressed the burning desire in his eyes and pulled away. Consort Yunxia froze, a slight shock passing through her. The haze in her eyes receded, and a hint of fear surfaced. "Are you rejecting me?" They were on the verge of intimacy, yet Fang Chen had pulled back. Fang Chen shook his head, cupping her exquisite face. He said, "No, I don't want you to carry any guilt." Unlike their last encounter, when both had been in a state of heightened arousal, now they were completely lucid. Consort Yunxia, being so inwardly traditional, would never permit herself to betray her vows while still a married woman. Even if she had given in to Fang Chen, it would have been forcing herself. So Fang Chen was thinking of me all along. Consort Yunxia's eyes welled up slightly. She hadn't placed her trust in the wrong man. She threw herself back into Fang Chen's arms, her heart overflowing with gratitude. "Fang Lang is too good to me. He considers everything for my sake." A profound sense of guilt indeed weighed on her heart. To be intimate with another man while fully lucid, behind the Demon Emperor's back, violated her principles. Yet, if Fang Chen desired it, she still would have yielded to him. Her own feelings wouldn't matter as long as he was happy. What she hadn't expected, however, was that Fang Chen was so understanding and had cared for her feelings. It was clear now, Fang Chen truly had a place for her in his heart. "Don't be ridiculous. You're my woman. If I'm not looking out for you, who is? Once you break through to the Demon Emperor realm and officially sever ties with the Sky Demon Emperor, you can stay by my side with a clear conscience. Until then, I won't pressure you." Fang Chen traced his fingers along her flawless cheek. Yunxia was visibly moved, her heart swelling with emotion. A pang of guilt hit her. She knew he wanted her, yet she was the one holding back. As she realized how much he truly cherished her, she simply couldn't bring herself to refuse him any longer. Then she remembered her upcoming tribulation, a trial she likely wouldn't survive. This could very well be the last time they ever saw each other. She bit her lip, her resolve hardening. She took Fang Chen's hand, her gaze shimmering with raw affection. "Let the world call me a bad woman then. As long as my Fang Lang is happy, nothing else matters." Moments later, the 9 dragon bronze carriage began to sway gently amidst the sea of clouds. A few birds trailed alongside, out of curiosity, their chirps echoing in the thin air. In that moment, the world felt perfectly still, a rare harmony between heaven and earth. An hour later, Yunxia lay exhausted in Fang Chen's arms. Seeing the look of pure satisfaction on his face made her truly happy. She curled against his chest like a kitten. "My love, what brings you all the way out here?" Fang Chen stroked her cheek softly. "It's a long story," he murmured. He began to recount his journey since returning to the human realms. He didn't hold back either, telling her everything about his encounters with the Pearl and Old Dream Demon Emperors. Yunxia's emotions mirrored his tale, tense one moment, laughing the next, then softening with a touch of melancholy. "You faced so much danger while we were apart," she sighed, "and met so many interesting people." Fang Chen glanced at her. "You're not jealous about the Old Dream Demon Emperor?" Yunxia gave his shoulder a playful nip, but quickly softened it into a tender kiss, fearing she'd actually hurt him. A look of sympathy crossed her face. "Actually, I understand her. She carries so much weight on her shoulders. It kept her from following her heart, leaving her with nothing but a life of what-ifs. It's tragic. Compared to her, I'm the lucky one. Why would I be jealous?" She held him tighter then, as if afraid he might vanish if she let go. Fang Chen felt a wave of relief. Yunxia was always so incredibly understanding. "But why are you here?" he asked. "Heimei told me you were in deep cultivation." A shadow of worry flickered across Yunxia's face. The North Sea Prince's attempt to reach the Demon Emperor realm rattled him. She explained. "Now he keeps me on a short leash, terrified that I'll break through myself and leave him for good." Fang Chen's brow furrowed. If that was the case, she'd never get the chance to advance. He wanted to whisk her away to the heavenly secret pavilion right then and there, but he knew the Silver Fox tribe would pay the price for her disappearance. "Don't worry," she whispered. "Heimei and I have a plan. We'll both attempt our breakthroughs at the same time. The Emperor can't be in two places at once. He'll either have to watch me and let Heimei succeed, or go after Heimei and give me my window. If even one of us succeeds, we can save little Lingshu from being forced to marry the Sky Demon Emperor." Fang Chen's jaw tightened. This was messy. The Sky Demon Emperor would never allow anyone to threaten his throne. He'd do everything in his power to crush them. After a moment of silence, his eyes turned cold with resolve. "I won't let him stand in your way." Panic flared in Yunxia's eyes. "Fang Lang, no. Don't throw yourself into danger for me. I'm not worth the risk." He gave her a playful pinch. "Stop that. If I won't risk everything for the woman who has my heart, then who is worth it? Besides, I have a plan. I'll get the emperors of the four seas to act as your protectors." Her eyes lit up for a heartbeat, then quickly dimmed. She shook her head. "It's too late. Lingshu is set to marry the emperor in 5 days. We have to make our move by then. There's no way you can reach the four seas in time." 5 days. Fang Chen's heart hammered against his ribs. 5 days wasn't even enough time for a round trip to the other 3 seas. At best, he could head back to the North Sea, but he couldn't afford to leave her side now. The beast lurking in the Soul Formation ruins could emerge at any second. With the North Sea Demon Emperor missing, the region was a death trap. The other emperors were completely useless. His only hope was the Pavilion Master of Heavenly Secrets, but could he sway him? Fang Chen wasn't so sure. "Forget it. If backup doesn't show, I'll hold off the Sky Demon Emperor myself. I just need you two to survive the heavenly tribulation." After witnessing the North Sea Prince's ordeal, Fang Chen knew how terrifying the heavens could be. He couldn't guarantee the girls would survive the trial. Honestly, they'd be lucky to even make it out alive. "Fang, don't push yourself too hard," Consort Yunxia started to say. But before she could finish, Fang Chen bolted upright. Dragon Soul, he roared, reacting on pure instinct. He felt a surge of pure malice. The evil Eye Master had found them. A roar shattered the silence as a 1,000-foot-long dragon soul materialized. Just as it appeared, a devastating beam of light slammed down, only to be intercepted by the dragon's massive frame. The spirit soared into the clouds, engaging an invisible foe in a high-altitude duel. "Fang, is someone trying to kill you?" Yunxia asked, her voice trembling. Fang Chen threw on his clothes in a blur. "Stay in the carriage. Don't come out." He donned his duel, pupil crystal, locking onto the cloaked figure of the evil Eye Master. His eyes narrowed with a cold, lethal light. "You just won't stay dead, will you? Here's a gift for you." He leveled his arm and fired a shot directly at the hidden target. The arrow shimmered with frost as it tore through space, homing in with deadly precision. The evil Eye Master panicked. "You can see me. That's my eye, Og." The arrow ripped through his flesh, spraying arcs of blood across the sky. Seizing the opening, the dragon's soul slammed into him, sending him tumbling through the air as he spat out a thick mist of blood. The evil Eye Master thought he was a ghost, a silent predator in the shadows. He never imagined Fang Chen had seen through him from the very beginning. "You little brat," he snarled, his rage boiling over, but his bravado vanished in an instant. Fang Chen leveled his hidden crossbow again, while the dragon's soul bore down with a deafening roar. The master could only howl in frustrated fury. "You bastard, this isn't over. I'll hunt you down." Suddenly, he triggered that bizarre blood escape technique again, vanishing into thin air in a heartbeat. It was a move even the West Sea Demon Emperor couldn't counter. There was no way the 9 dragon bronze carriage could keep up. What a waste! If he'd pinned him down and harvested his nascent soul, the fate-changing jade butterfly would finally be complete. It was only 1 soul away. The master was mangled, left in a state no better than the late Master Blue Crane, but with that slippery blood escape, there was just no way to box him in. Still, after a hit like that, he wouldn't be causing trouble anytime soon. By the time he worked up the nerve to come back, Fang Chen would, with any luck, be in the nascent soul realm himself. Inside the carriage, Consort Yunxia was fully dressed, her warmth replaced by her usual icy, ethereal poise. She looked like a distant goddess again, a far cry from the passionate woman she'd been moments ago. "He's gone," Fang Chen said softly, cutting her off before she could ask. He pulled her into his arms, savoring every fleeting second they had left together. As they neared the Demon Emperor's palace, the Sky Demon Emperor finally caught up, breathless and struggling to keep pace. Seeing the evil eye master escorting Yunxia back safely, the emperor's suspicions evaporated. He'd been worried the man was another predator looking to claim his consort for himself. "Fellow Taoist evil eye," the Sky Demon Emperor called out, signaling the carriage to halt. Inside, Yunxia lingered on Fang Chen's lap. She gave him one final, longing kiss before slipping out of the carriage. The moment she saw the emperor, the joy of her reunion with Fang Chen withered. Her face turned to stone as she began the walk toward the palace. Relieved to see her unharmed, the emperor offered a grateful smile and a polite bow. "My thanks, Taoist evil eye, for protecting my consort. Please join me in the palace. I must properly." Fang Chen activated his 1000 illusion crown, perfectly mimicking the master's raspy voice. "Don't mention it. I was just passing by. I have business at the sky-touching pillar. I won't overstay my welcome." The emperor didn't suspect a thing. Every Nascent Soul powerhouse from across the borders was here for that pillar anyway. He simply bowed and stepped aside. As he watched the carriage fade into the distance, he murmured to himself, "That evil eye fellow, he's actually a decent guy." Back at the North Sea coast, the real evil eye master was deathly pale. He scrambled toward the shoreline, desperate to launch his spirit boat and flee back to the Three Purity Mountains. A cold, ghostly chill crept up behind him. Sensing the danger, the master spun around, only to find the battered and bloodthirsty Master 1000, corpses staring him down. "Evil eye, you actually thought you could backstab me and just walk away?" 1000, corpses hissed. The evil eye master's heart nearly stopped. "Wait, I can explain," he stammered. "It wasn't me. It was a human named Fang Chen." Master 1000, corpses didn't care for excuses. With a wave of his hand, a legion of spectral knights rose from the shadows. The truth was irrelevant. It wasn't every day you stumbled upon a crippled Nascent Soul expert. This was a once-in-a-lifetime feast, and he wasn't about to let it go. Near the sky-touching pillar, the Pavilion master of heavenly secrets wore a polite mask, fielding questions from a group of visiting powerhouses. These were elites from the Great Taking Province's divine sects, monsters with power beyond comprehension. One man stood out, Master White Feather of the Myriad Tribulations Palace, a titan in the 5, Aperture Nascent Soul realm. He was the only reason the Pavilion Master had even been allowed to study the palace's secret techniques. "It's a lucky thing this pillar is stuck on your backwater continent," White Feather remarked. "If this nightmare appeared in taking, it would be quite the headache." The Pavilion Master forced a smile, but his blood ran cold. To these divine sects, his home was nothing more than a disposable buffer zone. They didn't care if his world was crushed under the heels of ancient giants, so long as the Great Taking Province remained untouched. "Don't beat yourself up. Just pick a few of your favorite disciples and bring them to my Myriad Tribulation Sanctuary for shelter. As for everyone else on the continent, you can't save them, and neither can I. It's just their bad luck." Master White Feather patted his shoulder dismissively before walking over to the massive black pillar. He bowed respectfully to a young girl wearing a strange, crisp uniform, 2-7, star swords strapped to her back. "Commander Bai, if you've finished your investigation, you're more than welcome to hitch a ride back to taking on our sanctuary's vessel." There weren't many people Master White Feather felt the need to suck up to, but this girl was one of them. She belonged to the Celestial Oversight, a government organization founded a millennium ago by the great sages themselves. Bai Xin stared at the pillar that pierced the heavens, lost in thought. "Go on ahead," she said. "I'm waiting for someone named Fang Chen to return." Fang Chen, Master White Feather's brow arched. He glanced at the Pavilion Master of Heavenly Secrets. "He's not back yet." The Pavilion Master checked the jade token at his waist. No, if he had returned, the Pavilion would have sent word immediately. He looked at the young commander with a touch of awe. Why was a mysterious high-ranking official from the Celestial Oversight looking for Fang Chen? Master Whitefeather was just as curious. What was so special about this kid that someone as busy as Bai Xin would wait for him personally? Still, he didn't have time to waste hanging around for some lowly disciple. "In that case, Commander Bai, the Myriad Tribulation Sanctuary will take its leave. Farewell." The rest of the Nascent Soul experts followed suit, offering their goodbyes before departing. Once everyone had gone, the Pavilion Master asked nervously, "Commander Bai, if I may ask, what business do you have with my disciple, Fang Chen?" Bai Xin turned around, revealing a striking face. She wasn't a world-class beauty, but she had a captivating, flawless look. Her eyes were her most arresting feature, sharp, elegant phoenix eyes that held the clarity of still water, as if she could look right through a person's soul. Meeting her gaze sent a shiver down the Pavilion Master's spine. He felt completely exposed, like his every secret was laid bare. Her voice was flat and professional, devoid of any emotion. My role in the Celestial Oversight is to hunt down demons and purge evil. If I'm looking for someone, it's rarely good news. The Pavilion Master's heart sank. The Celestial Oversight had many branches, mostly tracking ancient gods, but they also maintained order in the Taking region. They didn't hesitate to eliminate the truly wicked. How did Fang Chen end up on her radar? Commander Bai, surely there's been a mistake. Fang Chen is a man of integrity. Whether he's righteous or wicked, I'll know the moment I see him, Bai Xin replied. Unease gnawed at the Pavilion Master. He could only pray that Fang Chen stayed away, hiding out until this woman left the continent. Pavilion Master, you're here too. A sword's whistle pierced the air as Fang Chen streaked across the sky on his violet blade. Seeing the Pavilion Master after so long, a sense of warmth washed over him. The Pavilion Master stared at Fang Chen as he landed, his eyes wide with shock. You've been MIA for a month. You couldn't have stayed gone for a few more days. You show up and walk right into Bai Xin's lap. Are you trying to get killed? Bai Xin looked at the sore, driding youth and then back at the Pavilion Master's frantic expression. A faint light flickered in her crystal, clear eyes. Fang Chen, I am Bai Xin of the Celestial Oversight. I have questions for you. The Pavilion Master was stunned. Her intuition was terrifying. She'd pinned his identity down from the tiniest clue. How did she know his name? Fang Chen frowned, slightly confused. And what if I don't feel like answering? The Pavilion Master took a serious tone. Fang Chen, the Celestial Oversight was commissioned by the great sages. Even the sects from beyond our realm wouldn't dare cross them. One sentence was enough to convey their untouchable status. Fang Chen's brow furrowed. Fine, ask away. Bai Xin got straight to the point. Do you know Master Six Paths? So that's what this was about. Fang Chen thought for a moment and nodded. Yeah. What's your connection? Fang Chen didn't hesitate. He tried to possess my body, but I took him down. He managed to escape a while back. It wasn't hard to guess. Master Six Paths must have left a trail after returning to Taking. That bastard, did he start slaughtering innocents again? He'd promised he was done with the villain act. Bai Xin searched his eyes, reading his honesty. She gave a small nod. You're telling the truth. No wonder he left your name at every crime scene. Fang Chen was stunned. He left my name. Over the last 2 months, Master Six Paths has hit several key locations across Taking. Bai Xin explained. At every site, he leaves behind 4 words, Fang Chen was here. Are you kidding me? Fang Chen was ready to lose it. That piece of trash, if he wants to commit crimes, fine, but why drag my name into it? Was here my ass. I should have finished him off when I had the chance. The Pavilion Master watched Fang Chen's face twitch, looking baffled. This was the first time he'd seen the kid completely lose his cool. Commander Bai, if they were working together, why would he leave Fang Chen's name? It sounds like a personal vendetta. He's clearly trying to frame him. I'm inclined to agree, Bai Xin replied. The truth was as they expected. Lord Six Paths was a man who held a vicious grudge. Since Fang Chen had foiled his possession attempt and beaten him into submission, the man was bound to be out for blood. But wasn't this level of sheer hatred a bit overkill? Fang Chen, did you do anything else to him? Feigning righteous fury, Fang Chen pulled out the ancient mirror of reflection. I also robbed him of this magical artifact. A sharp gasp echoed in the room. The Pavilion Master's eyes nearly bugged out of his head. A magical artifact? No wonder the man wants you dead. Bai Xin nodded, the last traces of suspicion finally vanishing from her eyes. That explains it. It seems you and Lord Six Paths are now mortal enemies. Make no mistake, he will come back for his revenge. After a moment's thought, Bai Xin produced a token. The front was engraved with 3 bold, imposing characters, Imperial Observatory. On the back was a single name Bai Xin. This is my deputy token. Consider yourself officially hired as my assistant to aid in the investigation against Lord Six Paths. Don't worry, you won't be doing the heavy lifting. When he inevitably tracks you down, just use this token to send me a distress signal. The Pavilion Master practically vibrated with excitement. Take it quickly. This grants you the official status of a temporary Imperial Guard. With this in hand, even the mighty sects of the Taking province will have to treat you with respect. Fang Chen let out a casual "oh" and pocketed the token. Bai Xin sized him up once more. Lord Six Paths is recovering his strength at a terrifying pace. If you two cross paths now, you're 9. Level Golden Core Realm cultivation won't last a single exchange. Do you possess any defensive, magical artifacts, or lethal secret techniques to protect yourself? Is she about to hand over more free loot? Fang Chen rapidly shook his head. None at all. Our Heaven's secret pavilion is dead broke, and I'm practically a newbie. I don't have a single life, saving trump card to my name. A vein visibly throbbed on the pavilion master's forehead. I'd appreciate it if you retracted that first sentence. By Zin's crystal, clear eyes locked onto Fang Chen. Out of everything you just said, only the first half was true. This woman is a walking lie detector. Fang Chen felt a sudden chill down his spine. He quickly backpedaled. All right, fine. I have a few defensive magical artifacts, but severely lack any lethal countermeasures. Better, Abai Zin replied. That was the truth. Reaching over her shoulder, she drew the 7 star sword strapped to her back. She breathed a wisp of pure Kai over the blade, and instantly the 7 embedded gemstones flared to life one by one. I'm lending you this blade. It holds enough power to strike down your foes exactly 7 times. Use it wisely. Fang Chen accepted the Azure 7's star sword with a look of pure wonder. It felt exactly like walking down the street and having a solid gold brick randomly shoved into his hands. Very well. Bai Zin offered a crisp salute, then stepped straight into the sky, soaring away without a second of wasted movement. The pavilion master watched her leave before clapping Fang Chen on the shoulder. Talk about a blessing in disguise, to think you'd actually managed to forge a connection with Commander Bai. Do you have any idea how many people would kill to get in her good graces? They couldn't buy an audience with her if they tried. Fang Chen had a gut feeling that this Bai Zin was incredibly formidable. The pavilion master's gaze grew profound. She's far more than just a simple commander. Regardless, earning her favor is an absolute stroke of luck for you. The only downside is that you've managed to offend a demonic path titan as ruthless as Lord Six Paths. That is going to be a massive headache. Fang Chen remained silent, gripping the heavy hilt of the 7 star sword. A sudden rush of warmth spread through his chest. Thanks, old man, he murmured inwardly. You're out there turning the entire Taking province upside down, yet you still went out of your way to score me some free perks. Stay safe. If Lord Six Paths truly wanted him dead, it would have been effortless. He was one of the very few people who knew Fang Chen practiced the Void Stream lightning technique. To ruin Fang Chen, all the old man had to do was leak that information. Experts from the Taking province would swarm him like locusts, desperate to claim his head for the bounty of a Lingxian pill, a treasure that could guarantee a breakthrough to the Nascent Soul realm. Scribbling Fang Chen was here at his crime scenes wasn't a frame-up, it was a deliberate ploy to draw the Imperial Observatory's protective gaze. Securing Fang Chen, this massive advantage had been the old man's true intention all along. And his brilliant scheme had worked flawlessly. Commander Bai Zin had shown up, and delivered him the status of an Imperial Guard, and even tossed in an unimaginably powerful 7 star sword. Had Fang Chen gotten his hands on this sword just a bit earlier, Lord Evil Eye wouldn't have lived to see another day. I just hope you're still kicking by the time I make it to the Taking continent. You crazy old fool, Fang Chen thought with a smirk. Seeing Fang Chen fall silent, the pavilion master mistook his contemplation for fear. Don't sweat it, he reassured him. The Imperial Observatory is packed with absolute monsters. Taking down Lord Six Paths is only a matter of time. Come on, let's head back to the pavilion. With a wave of his hand, he summoned a drifting cloud to carry them both back to the Heaven's secret pavilion. Since he had a designated driver, Fang Chen took the opportunity to pull out the bamboo slip gifted to him by the Crown Prince of the North Sea. The slip was severely weathered, barely the size of his palm. Etched into its worn surface were about 100 characters written in the language of hell. Accompanying the text was a direct translation written in the demonic tongue. Though the quantity was small, Fang Chen studied them as if they were priceless treasures. In less than an hour, 100 hellish characters were etched into his mind. Unfortunately, they were the simplest of the hellish script, utterly insufficient for deciphering the inscriptions on the bronze artifact. Fang Chen sighed inwardly, a headache beginning to throb. I've traveled across the continent and the 4 seas, but where in the world can I learn this hellish script? The underworld, 9th layer. A new hidden space. Hua Xin pointed at a hellish character on the small blackboard and asked, what does this character mean? A tome written in demonic script lay before the little kllin. Hearing the question, the little kllin flipped through the pages with its tiny paws, then pressed one down on the character for pet. Hua Xin chuckled, stroking its head. What a clever spirit beast. Repeat the inscriptions I just taught you. The little kllin raised its tiny paws and earnestly pointed out each character in the tome. I am the heart pet of the spirit kingdom. Hua Xin smiled, a cunning glint in her eyes like a fox that had snatched a plump hen. She dotingly rubbed its fluffy head. So smart, you'll soon learn our hellish script and adapt to our hellish culture. Then you'll truly be my spirit beast. Just then, the tome fell to the ground, and a hidden piece of paper slipped out from its pages. Seeing this, the little kllin immediately pounced on it, covering it with its plump, round rear. "What's that?" Hua Xin asked. The little kllin shook its head, implying it was nothing. Hua Xin placed her hands on her hips, puffing out her cheeks. "If you don't let me see, I'll get angry." Reluctantly, the little kllin shifted its rear, pressing a tiny paw onto one corner of the paper. Hua Xin looked over. On it, 3 spots, east, west, and north, each depicted a squiggly pattern. "Let me see what you've drawn." At the very top was a bone. "Bone Snow, Bone Ghost King." The little kllin nodded. To the west, a tangled mess of hair, the 1,000 strands demonic enchantress. To the east, a spiderweb, the human-faced ghost spider. Hua Xin recognized them, her eyes widening in understanding. "I get it. You're drawing the 9th layer's hidden spaces for your master, helping him earn merit for expanding the territory. These 3 are the only remaining undeveloped hidden spaces. That's over 10,000 merit points. You little rascal, still thinking of that guy, huh?" Hua Xin pouted sourly. She'd been so good to the little kllin all month, going out of her way to make it happy, yet it was still pining for that scoundrel Fang Chen. How infuriating. At that moment, she noticed the little killin's paw was tightly pressing down on the very bottom of the paper, refusing to let go. A flicker of suspicion crossed her mind. She thought about the 9th layer. Only she and those 3 formidable shadowy creatures were considered its most powerful rulers. Her eyes lit up. "The one at the very bottom is me, isn't it? Let me see how you've drawn me." She tidied her exquisite hair, then gazed into a mirror, comparing her reflection to the elegant Yunxia consort's appearance she'd glimpsed from Fang Chen's memories, her face full of anticipation. After a month together, surely she was a gentle, beautiful, and understanding older sister in the little killin's eyes. The little kllin hesitated before finally releasing its tiny paw. Hua Xin smiled as she looked. What appeared on the paper was a ferocious female, ghost with hair splayed like a lion's mane, a gaping maw, and hands bearing long, sharp claws. Her smile froze, then she thrashed about in a fit of rage. "Og, you ungrateful little ingrate! How dare you draw me like this?" she shrieked. The little kllin, sensing trouble, had already bolted. "Don't you dare run. You're driving me mad." Heaven's Mystery Pavilion. A white cloud drifted in from the distance. Fang Chen was surprised to find Heaven's Mystery Pavilion unusually lively, with disciples sparring in small groups. Among them, he even spotted the figures of Liu Ruxu and Chen Xiling. Everyone's really pushing their limits. He couldn't help but marvel. The heavenly secret pavilion master chuckled. "And whose fault do you think that is? That 8,000 merit point stunt you pulled really lit a fire under everyone, disciples, deacons, and vice pavilion masters alike. While you were gone, they've been sparring non-stop every single day. If a disciple even thinks about slacking off, the higher-ups are literally cracking the whip, using your name as the ultimate benchmark to lecture them." "Gee, thanks a lot," he muttered. Just how much passive aggro had he drawn over the past month without even being here? Suddenly, the pavilion master's brow furrowed. "We have company." He had just picked up on the faint signatures of 2 Nascent Soul realm auras. "I'll go handle our guests." Fang Chen was more than happy to escape. "Great, then I'll go check on Ruxu and Xiling," he said quickly. He was just about to hop on his sword and dive down when the pavilion master clamped a heavy hand onto his shoulder. "Since you're officially a disciple under Deacon Yunxiang now, you should probably show her a little respect." The pavilion master motioned with his chin. Following his gaze, Fang Chen finally noticed Deacon Yunxiang sitting beneath a sweeping willow tree, supervising giant Lin Yuan and his fellow senior disciples as they sparred. A flicker of guilt crossed Fang Chen's face. Technically, he had taken her on as his master, but he hadn't even sat down for a proper conversation with the woman yet. Since she and Liu Ruxu were both down in the plaza, it only made sense to pay his respects first. "Thanks for the heads up, pavilion master." Changing his trajectory, he glided down and touched down softly near Deacon Yunxiang. Yunxiang was laser, focused on her sparring disciples, her brow knitted in a frown of lingering frustration. At this rate, their expedition into the underground world is going to be a complete waste of time. If only they could master this coordinated strike technique, it wouldn't just give them a massive power spike, it would sink all 7 of their senses, letting them sniff out hidden spatial pockets. She sighed, looking down at the yellowed bamboo scroll resting in her lap. It was a formidable high-tier Earth-grade cultivation method, and the only copy the heavenly secret pavilion possessed. The catch, the prerequisites were brutal. It required at least 5 people to cultivate it simultaneously, making it an absolute nightmare to comprehend. She had been studying the damn thing for 6 months, and still couldn't wrap her head around it. How was she supposed to teach it to Jian Linyuan's squad? Should I just swallow my pride and ask the pavilion master for help? As she muttered to herself, a voice lined with a faint, breezy smile drifted to her ears. Master, why don't you let me take a crack at it? Yunyong's head snapped up. An impossibly handsome face greeted her, flashing a polite, disarming smile. Fang Chen, she gasped in surprise. But a split second later, she remembered herself, and her expression instantly hardened into a scowl. Who are you? Do I know you? You can't just go around calling people master. PFFD is my master, seriously pouting right now. Amused, Fang Chen pulled out a handful of the resources gifted to him by the North Sea Demon Emperor. Hey, I was just out hunting down some premium loot for my senior martial brothers and sisters. Cut me some slack, will you? Yunyong's eyes practically sparkled. With her experience. It took only one glance to recognize that these were incredibly rare oceanic treasures, more than enough to push Jian Linyuan and the others straight into their next breakthrough. But for the sake of her pride as a master, she swallowed her excitement, cleared her throat, and forced a look of composure. Ah, so it is Fang Chen. Well, just make sure you don't pull a vanishing act for an entire month next time. Fang Chen chuckled. He casually picked up the bamboo scroll resting in her lap and skimmed through it. It was a high-tier Earth-grade cultivation method, sure. But as a coordinated strike technique, it was child's play to comprehend compared to something like the 6 divisions of heavenly thunder. Without missing a beat, he grabbed a brush and began rapidly scribbling down his own insights in the margins. Here you go, master. Yunyong took the scroll back. Her eyes scanned the fresh ink, and she abruptly shot to her feet in sheer disbelief. The mental roadblocks she'd been bashing her head against for months had just been flawlessly untangled in a few lines of text. This is it. The coordinated strike technique is finally viable. Fang Chen, my dear disciple, you never cease to amaze me. Her sudden outburst drew the attention of Jian Linyuan and the rest of the sparring group. Seeing that Fang Chen was the cause, they immediately marched over, their expressions anything but friendly. Shang Shikyu crossed her arms tightly, emphasizing the heavy curve of her chest. She scoffed. Junior brother Fang, you vanish for an entire month without a word. Do you have zero respect for our master? You better apologize to her right now. Just to get Fang Chen under their master's wing, she had put up with so much grief. And then this bastard just up and vanished without a trace, leaving her to take all the heat by herself. Yunyong immediately stepped in to shut her down enough, she commanded softly. Is that how you speak to my most beloved disciple? Shang Shikyu's mind went blank for a moment. I was defending you, master. Why are you scolding me instead? Completely bewildered, she said. Master, didn't you say Fang Chen was out of line? You called him an unfilial wretch, said he had no respect for you, that you'd kick him out of the sect, and even said. She couldn't say another word, as Master Yunyong had already pulled out her disciplinary ruler. She lightly tapped it against her palm twice and said coolly, Shang Shikyu, are you certain I said any of that? Do you want me to activate the Grand Memory Restoration Technique to help you recall? Shang Shikyu shuddered. Oh, those were all my own words, Master. Master Yunyong HM fed, dare to spread rumors about me again, and I will expel an unfilial wretch like you from the sect. She then turned to Fang Chen, her face alight with warmth. Fang Chen, distribute the resources among them. Shang Shikyu's share, however, is excluded. Fang Chen gave a faint smile and divided the Kang high resources in his hand into 7 portions. Senior brothers and sisters, 1 portion each. Please don't despise them. Jian Linyuan and the others' faces lit up with pleasant surprise. With the subterranean realm about to open, acquiring such resources was truly a godsend. They finally understood why their master, who had been grumbling about Fang Chen for an entire month, had suddenly changed her tune. Who wouldn't adore a disciple capable of procuring such valuable resources all on his own? The 6 disciples each received an impressive share of resources in turn. Finally, only Shang Shikyu remained, pathetically sidling up. Junior brother Fang, I'm sorry, senior sister was a bit too loud just now. Fang Chen let out a hearty laugh and handed her the last portion of resources. Shang Shikyu instantly beamed. Wahahaha, I knew junior brother doted on me the most. It wasn't in vain that I recruited you into the sect when no one else would have you. Hearing this, Fang Chen's expression grew a little strange. The more he thought about his recruitment, the more something felt off. He probed tentatively. Senior Sister Shang, while I was away for the past month, did Vice, Master Yu or Vice, Master Gu, do anything to you? As soon as she heard, Shang Shikyu puffed up indignantly. Don't even get me started on those two old fogies. Cough, cough, I mean, lovable old masters. I was listening intently in Vice, Master Yu's class, when he suddenly declared I was putting him in a bad mood and politely asked me to leave. Vice, Master Gu, was even worse. During her lecture, she claimed I entered with my left foot first, called it disrespectful, and then kicked me out. What the hell? How did I possibly offend them? The corner of Fang Chen's mouth twitched. He instantly understood the gist of it. Master Yunyong, however, had a knowing smile playing on her lips. Clearly, she already knew the inside story. The thought that she had snatched Fang Chen, this highly sought after prize, right from under the noses of the four Vice Masters, filled her with immense satisfaction. All right, I'll teach you all a combined attack technique. Fang Chen, you come too. I'll need to assess your strength first, so I can properly position you among them. Assess me. Master Yunyong is only at the 9th level of the Golden Core Realm, isn't she? What if I accidentally make her lose face in public? She might not even be able to withstand my full power strike. Fang Chen rubbed his nose. Master, I have my own team. On this journey into the subterranean realm, I'm afraid I might not even encounter Senior Brother Jian and the others. So, perhaps we can skip the combined attack technique. Master Yunyong scoffed. I know you're impressive. The news of you single-handedly destroying the giant sect has already spread throughout the heavenly secret pavilion. I've been cultivating at the 9th level of the Golden Core Realm for many years. I'm hardly comparable to those elders from the giant sect. Assessing your strength will be more than enough. Don't worry about making me lose face. As disciples from the heavenly secret pavilion flocked to the 9 sects in search of hellish wild beasts, they inevitably encountered people from those sects. Thus, the news of Fang Chen obliterating the giant sect spread like wildfire. With his thoughts exposed, Fang Chen could only sigh helplessly. All right, then. Then, Master, please be careful. This disciple's strength has had a slight improvement recently. Master Yunyong smiled confidently. Bring it on, then. If I can't even keep my own disciple in check, then I'm not fit to be a master. Helpless, Fang Chen could only follow Master Yunyong to the center of the plaza, the grand hall of the Pavilion Master. So it's Senior Brother Yun Huo, Senior Sister kllin. It's been 20 years. The heavenly, secret Pavilion Master showed a surprised expression, a hint of joy mixing with a touch of bewilderment. Both of them were once members of the heavenly, secret Pavilion, fellow disciples under the previous Pavilion Master. Later, they left the heavenly secret pavilion, journeyed to the distant Taking Great State, and both joined the Fire Worship sect. This was their first reunion in 20 years. Venerable Yun Huo was relatively polite, rising to greet him with a smile. 20 years, and you've broken through to the Nascent Soul realm as well. In contrast, Immortal kllin, though over 40, still possessed a radiant charm, with traces of her former extraordinary grace faintly visible. She expressionlessly sized up the heavenly secret pavilion master. After all these years, you're still just a rudimentary nascent soul. The old pavilion master's judgment truly wasn't all that great, was it? Venerable Yun Huo's face instantly stiffened. Kllin, that's enough rudeness. Immortal kllin said expressionlessly, I'm merely stating the facts. What if back then, the old pavilion master had granted Brother Tianju the opportunity for a nascent soul breakthrough and simply left the two of us to fend for ourselves? What then? 20 years later, not only did we break through to the nascent soul realm, but we achieved a 2-aperture nascent soul. Yet, Brother Tianju, the one the old pavilion master valued most, is still only a 1-aperture nascent soul. Yan Tianju offered a calm smile, completely unbothered by her sarcasm. Both elder brother and elder sister have traveled thousands of miles from the Blaze Worship sect. I presume you're here for something important. Fairy kllin didn't waste any words. We want that bottle of true spirit snow. True spirit snow. Yan Tianju's faint smile remained as he flatly refused. That is prepared for disciples who earn merit through diligent effort. Apologies, but I cannot give it to you. Seeing Yan Tianju's dismissive attitude, Fairy kllin's expression turned cold. Yan Tianju. When the old pavilion master left us to fend for ourselves back then, we didn't take a single copper coin from the heavenly secret pavilion. Now we're merely taking back what's rightfully ours, yet you're putting up all these obstacles. Yan Tianju smiled faintly, his hands clasped behind his back. Elder sister kllin, it seems you've forgotten. Allow this junior brother to refresh your memory. The old Pavilion Master called the three of us and asked who was willing to inherit the position of Pavilion Master to carry on the aspirations of our predecessors, and to seek out the legendary ancient sages. You refused, elder brother Yunhuo also refused, only I accepted. I accepted the opportunity for a nascent soul breakthrough. In exchange, I've guarded this gradually declining heavenly secret pavilion ever since. And you too were completely unburdened, free to live as you wished. If you feel so wronged, why didn't you accept the position of Pavilion Master back then? Fairy kllin lightly bit her red lip, momentarily speechless. True, Lord Yun. Huo sighed softly, a look of shame on his face. Brother Tianju, you actually possess greater innate talent than us, and you desired to explore the outside world more than either of us. But because my junior sister and I both refused, and no one would take over the heavenly secret pavilion, you couldn't bear the old Pavilion Master's dying regrets. You only reluctantly forced yourself to accept this burden. If you had gone to the taking Grand Continent with your talent, you would most likely possess a 3 aperture or even 4 aperture nascent soul by now. A flicker of regret appeared in Yan Tianju's eyes, then he quickly regained his calm demeanor. Let the past remain in the past. I was genuinely happy when the two of you arrived. Guarding the heavenly secret pavilion alone is truly too lonely. Shaking his head, he gave a light flick of his sleeve. Everything within the heavenly secret pavilion's treasury belongs solely to its disciples. This is a rule passed down through generations. It has never changed, and it will not change today. Now, depart. Fairy kllin's face was filled with unwillingness, and she instinctively released the aura of her 2-aperture nascent soul. Yan Tianju gave her a faint glance. In the heavenly secret pavilion, do not attempt to cross me. You will die. As if recalling something, Fairy kllin's expression shifted, and she quickly retracted her aura. She looked anxiously towards true Lord Yunhuo. The latter, sighing helplessly, cupped his hands again and said, Brother Tianju, we've recently encountered some issues in our cultivation. We require that bottle of fire, attribute true spirit snow. Could we exchange something for it? Rest assured, we absolutely won't let the heavenly secret pavilion suffer any loss. Yan Tianju shook his head slightly. It can only be exchanged with merit points. Merit points? A troubled expression appeared on true Lord Yunhuo's face. He realized Yan Tianju was giving them an opportunity to explore the unknown space on the 10th level and earn merit points. But the 10th level was incredibly dangerous. The old Pavilion Master himself was grievously wounded there, which forced his dying entrustment of the pavilion. Yet thinking of the trouble he currently faced, he could only grit his teeth and say, I will go to the 10th level and explore. Junior sister kllin. Fairy kllin gritted her teeth, glaring resentfully at Yan Tianju. You truly are heartless, completely disregarding our past connections. I'll go to the 10th level and earn the true spirit snow with my own capabilities. Yan Tianju smiled. Then, elder brother and elder sister will have to wait one more day. It only opens tomorrow. Clap, clap. Suddenly, the plaza outside erupted into chaos, waves of cheers and thunderous applause echoing through the air. Master Yunhuo looked up, surprised. What's going on? Junior brother Tianju, what's all the commotion? Yan Tianju gave a soft chuckle. Probably just a heated spar. It sounds like the disciples are getting a real show. Scenes like this had become common lately. It reminded him of his own days as a disciple 20 years ago. That raw energy was truly nostalgic. A few rookies duking it out. What could possibly be so exciting about that? Fairy kllin let out a dismissive snort. I scouted your people before you returned. Aside from Yi Banxia, Lai Shenqiu, and Wang Chongling, who are barely at the peak of the 9th level of the Golden Core realm, there's nothing to see. On this backwater continent, sure, they're considered top-tier geniuses. But back in Taking Province, they're a dime a dozen. Master Yunhuo shot her a disapproving look. Kllin, that's uncalled for. Even in the great sects of Taking, those 3 would still be considered elite talents. The fact that junior brother Tianju raised 3 of them in such a resource-starved environment is an incredible feat. Yan Tianju just smiled, offering no rebuttal. They might not match the absolute best of Taking yet, he said calmly, but I have a few disciples whose potential far exceeds any elite I've seen there. Fang Chen's face came to mind, the way he had bowed deeply, vowing to carry on the legacy of their ancestors. Come on, let's go have a look. Seeing their fire, it reminds me a lot of how we used to be. Fairy kllin gave a scornful smirk and trailed behind them, her pace languid and bored. Behind Master Yunxia and the fairy, their own personal disciples followed in silence. They had brought a young prot along on this trip to witness the sky, piercing black pillar and broaden their horizons. As they stepped out of the main hall, they saw the disciples, who usually loitered in small groups, crammed into a massive, rowdy circle. They were packed in layers, their shouts reaching a fever pitch. In the center of the ring, Elder Yunxiang stood with a face flushed with embarrassment and frustration. Fang Chen, just attack, don't hold back on my account. She never imagined that a simple progress check on her student would turn into this inescapable nightmare. She'd asked Fang Chen to show her his current progress, and he had obliged, plain and simple. He was at the 9th level of the Golden Core Realm, exactly the same level as her. She had completely frozen. Only a month ago, when Fang Chen first joined the Pavilion of Mysteries, he was only at the 6th level of the Golden Core Realm. And now, 1 month later, the 9th level. Was this some kind of sick joke? Back when he was only at the 6th level, Fang Chen had single-handedly wiped out the giant sect, slaughtering several 9th level experts in the process. Now that he was actually at the 9th level himself, his power was off the charts. She realized with a sinking feeling that she probably wasn't even a match for him anymore. How was she supposed to evaluate a student who could potentially flatten her? To make matters worse, Fang Chen's explosive breakthrough had drawn the attention of every single disciple in the area. She was backed into a corner. Once they realized Elder Yunxiang was testing her disciple, the crowd started jeering and egging them on. They wanted to see a real fight, to see if the student had finally surpassed the master. There was no way out for her now. She had to bite the bullet and go through with the spar. If she won, she could still save face. But if she lost, she'd never be able to show her face as his master again. Fang Chen was beyond frustrated. He had told her repeatedly that this was a bad idea. And now look at the mess they were in. He sighed, casting a wary glance at the sea of faces surrounding them. Seniors, I just hit the 9th level of the Golden Core Realm. My cultivation isn't stable yet, and honestly, my skills are still lacking. I'd rather not embarrass myself. Show's over, everyone. Let's pack it up. But of course, Yu Yunzi was lurking right there in the crowd. Ever since Fang Chen was snatched right out from under him, he'd been too furious to sleep. When Fang Chen raked in 8,000 merit points, it fueled another sleepless night of pure rage. And you think that was the end of it? 2 days later, Fang Chen completed a mission tracking an infernal desolate beast, bagging a massive 10,000 merit points. Cue a third sleepless night. By now, his hatred for Shang Shikyu and manager Yunxiang was absolute. Seeing Fang Chen's strength skyrocket, to the point he might actually outclass his own master, meant manager Yunxiang was on the verge of a humiliating defeat. There was no way Yu Yunzi was letting this golden opportunity slip by. He instantly raised his voice for all to hear. Manager Yunxiang having trouble keeping your disciple in line. If it's too much for you, just admit defeat. I suppose I, your vice pavilion master, could reluctantly take Fang Chen off your hands. No one could just swallow an insult like that. Manager Yunxiang flushed with an explosive mix of shame and anger. Fang Chen, make your move. Left with no choice, Fang Chen resigned himself to sparring with his master. He couldn't go all out, but he couldn't play dumb too obviously either. He had to strike the perfect balance to let manager Yunxiang save face. Master, forgive my offense. Thunder, dragon, lightning, kick. He dusted off a flashy technique he'd practically forgotten he even knew. Powered by his 9th level Golden Core Realm cultivation, the attack wasn't overwhelmingly strong, but it certainly wasn't weak. Manager Yunxiang let out a subtle sigh of relief. If this was the extent of his power, she could handle it. Overturning Cloud Seal. Her hands blurred through a series of hand signs. Surging spiritual energy condensed into a massive, spectral rune that slammed down with crushing force. A deafening crash echoed as the two attacks collided and shattered into nothingness, resulting in a dead heat. Manager Yunxiang pressed the assault. Fang Chen kept up his theatrical defense, planning to trade a dozen or two blows before staging a convincing defeat. Over at the entrance of the Pavilion Master's Hall, Lord Yunxia watched the duel with a flicker of genuine surprise. Who is that kid? Hitting the 9th level of the Golden Core Realm at his age, he's barely a step behind Yi Banxia. The Tianji Pavilion master wore a knowing smile, failing to hide a glint of absolute pride. His name is Fang Chen. He's one of our newest disciples. When he first arrived, he was only at the 6th level of the Golden Core realm. Now look at him, 9th level. Honestly, even I'm slightly terrified by how fast he's growing. 3 entire levels in a single month. Fairy kllin blurted out, unable to mask her shock. Even in a resource-rich utopia like the Taking Great State, jumping 3 minor realms in 30 days was virtually unheard of. Is this who you meant earlier, one of the contenders who could actually go toe-to-toe with Taking's top-tier elites? The Pavilion master's smile widened. He is our absolute best shot. Fairy kllin wasn't having it, tossing a bucket of ice water on the hype. Don't get ahead of yourself. Taking is littered with so-called geniuses who blitz through their early cultivation, only to hit a brick wall at the 9th level of the Golden Core realm and never reach perfection. Pushing 3 levels in a month, I guarantee his foundation is completely hollow. Hearing this, a shadow of genuine concern crossed Lord Yunhuo's face. She has a point. With a cultivation speed that aggressive, solidifying a proper foundation is next to impossible. Forcing cultivation like that is an absolute recipe for disaster. Even if he somehow limps his way to peak perfection in the Golden Core realm, the heavenly tribulation will obliterate him. You worry too much, junior sister kllin. He was personally handpicked for enlightenment by Vajraphayan. Do you really think he'd stumble over something so trivial? What, Fairy kllin? And Lord Yunhuo's eyes widened in unison. Impossible. He made it onto Vajraphayan's enlightenment list. Fairy kllin's gaze flickered with absolute shock, laced with a bitter, undeniable sting of jealousy. Not even she possessed a disciple of that caliber. Yet here was Yun Tianju, stuck in this barren backwater continent, casually mentoring one. Why does his cultivation method look so painfully average to me? How did this catch Vajraphayan's eye? Have his standards hit rock bottom? The aloof female disciple, standing behind her, stepped forward, awaiting your orders, master. Fairy kllin locked her eyes on Fang Chen, a calculating smirk playing on her lips. Your fiancé was enlightened and inducted into the Buddhist sect by Vajraphayan, wasn't he? At that time he was also at the Golden Core, 9th level. A flicker of pain crossed Luo Yingxuang's eyes as she spoke in a somber tone. Fairy kllin said, perfect, you can test this Fang Chen and see how he compares to your former fiancé. Venerable Yun Huo's eyelid twitched. Junior sister, stop fooling around. Yingxuang is at the peak Golden Core 9th level, cultivating your prized Azure Flame True Fire cultivation method. How could Fang Chen possibly handle her? Pavilion Master Tianji's blunt rejection had already left Fairy kllin seething with anger. Seeing him gain such a formidable disciple only made her burn with jealousy. She was clearly looking for trouble and wouldn't listen to reason. Senior brother Yunhuo, you jest, Fairy kllin scoffed. Could someone chosen by the Dharma seal Vajra truly be so incompetent? Fairy kllin then looked at Pavilion Master Tianji. Junior brother Tianju, you don't mind if Yingxuang tests Fang Chen's strength, do you? Pavilion Master Tianji chuckled faintly. I don't like doing meaningless things, and I believe Fang Chen feels the same. How about this? You find Fang Chen's cultivation method to be quite ordinary, don't you? Then let your disciple fight Fang Chen. If she loses, you can gift Fang Chen the Azure Flame True Fire secret technique. Fairy kllин's eyes sharpened. The Azure Flame True Fire secret technique was an unparalleled fire attribute ultimate technique she'd risked her life serving the Blazefire cult to obtain. A high-grade Earth tier treasure. Why should she give it to Fang Chen? Seeing Fang Chen, who was still struggling rather pitifully against Steward Yunyang, she pondered for a moment and then secretly chuckled. What am I even worried about? That Yingxuang might actually lose? She calmed her gaze and said indifferently, if Fang Chen wins the Azure Flame True Fire with his own skill, I'll have nothing to say. Go on. Luo Yingxuang nodded and strode towards the arena. Pavilion Master Tianji watched with a faint smile, his nascent soul power subtly circulating, clearly poised to intervene at any moment. Venerable Yunhuo was startled, then immediately understood that Pavilion Master Tianji was protective of his disciple, Fang Chen, worried he might be injured by Luo Yingxuang. Fairy kllin said, Junior brother Tianju, put your mind at ease. Yingxuang is a sensible girl. She won't harm your precious disciple. She was secretly amused. She had seen protective masters, but never one so overprotective they treated their disciple as if they were made of fragile glass. Pavilion Master Tianji, however, replied, I'm not worried about Fang Chen. I'm worried your disciple will die here. Others might not know Fang Chen's true strength, but how could he not? If Fang Chen truly got serious, Luo Yingxuang would undoubtedly perish. Very kllin's expression stiffened. At that moment, Fang Chen was effortlessly sparring with Steward Yunyang, playing along. Under his careful control, he was gradually appearing to lose ground. In another 3 to 5 moves, he would naturally be defeated. He was determined not to let the audience witness the amusing, yet improper, sight of a disciple soundly defeating their master. Steward Yunyang also let out a subtle sigh of relief, secretly praising Fang Chen for his sensibility, and vowed to reward him handsomely after this was all over. However, just as the master and disciple were fully immersed in their charade, a tall, graceful figure moved swiftly through the crowd. She aggressively interrupted their spa, her palms ablaze with blue flames as she simultaneously struck out at both Fang Chen and Steward Yunyang. Steward Yunyang sensed the immense power of the flames and immediately retreated, his face etched with surprise and suspicion. Fang Chen also sensed the extraordinary nature of the flames and swiftly dodged, yet a stray spark still grazed his arm. Whoosh! His sleeve instantly charred into a long strip, and the skin beneath glowed an angry red. Who are you? Fang Chen frowned, sizing up the unfamiliar woman. Does Tianji Pavilion even have a senior sister like you? Luo Yingxuang looked at Fang Chen. Don't bother with my identity. Unleash your full strength, or don't blame me if you get hurt. With that, she attacked directly. Her palms, burning with blue flames, came together and then spread apart again, revealing a blue lotus flower that pulsed with a dangerous aura. Sensing her aggressive demeanor, Fang Chen's eyebrow arched. Could this person be a friend of Lai Shenqiu's? After all, his only conflicts within the Tianji Pavilion were with Lai Shenqiu and his limitless team. Realizing this, he naturally wouldn't hold back any longer. With a cold expression, he declared, "You should worry about yourself." Soul Thorn, a spiritual spike, instantly pierced Luo Yingxuang's mind. Her delicate brows furrowed slightly, clearly indicating the attack had caused her some pain. A soul's secret technique, Luo Yingxuang showed a hint of approval, a little stronger than I expected, but still not as good as my fiancé. Every prodigy who made it onto the Dharma Seal Vadra's list displayed traits far exceeding their peers. Fang Chen's current display of strength didn't meet that standard. This was just a meaningless spar. She shook her head slightly. The next moment, she seemed to sense something, and her gaze fixed. Behind Fang Chen, a majestic tin zhanged. All-divine statue had appeared, its 6 arms simultaneously smashing towards her. What is that? Luo Yingxuang's pupils constricted. She hurriedly hurled the blue flame lotus in her hand. The lotus suddenly bloomed, its petals scattering and drifting. Where they touched the divine statue's arms, they burned them away, unfading blade. Before Luo Yingxuang could even finish dealing with the divine statue, a colossal lightning sword, 800 zhang long, descended from the heavens. Slashing down with devastating force, Luo Yingxuang's pupils shrank to pinpricks, and she gasped in alarm. She frantically channeled the blue flames within her, condensing them into a treasured saber, and slashed fiercely towards the incoming lightning sword. But this time, the blue flames failed to work their magic. The lightning sword was only partially damaged before it smashed down unimpeded, instantly sending Luo Yingxuang's slender figure flying from the violent impact. As if that weren't enough, the lightning sword exploded, unleashing countless bolts of electrical power that surged towards Luo Yingxuang, threatening to incinerate her into cinders on the spot. In the nick of time, a gentle force materialized out of thin air, shielding Luo Yingxuang below. The lightning shockwave was completely absorbed by this mysterious power, preventing Luo Yingxuang from suffering severe injuries or even death. A hush fell over the entire arena. The Tianji Pavilion disciples, who had initially expected an entertaining show, now stared at each other in utter bewilderment. What was that final lightning sword? Could someone at the Golden Core 9th level truly withstand such a power? Luo Yingxuang, now safe, collapsed to the ground, her eyes wide as if she'd seen a ghost as she stared at Fang Chen. His strength far surpassed her fiancé. This man was undoubtedly the one Grandmaster Fein had personally marked for destiny. Fang Chen frowned, looking toward the source of the attack, and was surprised to find it was the Pavilion Master of Heavenly Secrets. Fang Chen, come over here. The Pavilion Master of Heavenly Secrets beckoned with a smile. Fang Chen glanced suspiciously at Luo Yingxuang, then swiftly stepped before the Pavilion Master. He also saw Immortal Kllin and Grandmaster Yunhua, both gazing at him with a hint of shock. These two must be the guests the Pavilion Master mentioned earlier, right? He immediately clasped his hands in greetings, seniors. The Pavilion Master of Heavenly Secrets smiled, looking at the two. Fellow disciples, I told you this young man has the greatest potential to contend with the elites of Grand Prefecture taking. Do you still believe I overstated his abilities? Grandmaster Yunxia swallowed hard, openly displaying his shock. Junior brother Tianju, is this truly a prodigy nurtured on this continent? Are you certain he isn't a top disciple from some major sect in Grand Prefecture taking? That last strike, few in the Nascent Soul realm and below could withstand it. Such power, many elite disciples from Grand Prefecture taking couldn't compare. The Pavilion Master of Heavenly Secrets laughed heartily. What elite disciple from a major sect would be here instead of their own sect? You have a point there. Grandmaster Yunxia praised continuously, then joked enviously, Tianju, let me have this disciple. I'll take him back to the Blazefire sect. With such a disciple, the sect would surely bestow rewards. I'll split them with you. How about it? The Pavilion Master of Heavenly Secrets' face glowed with pride, a sense of vindication swelling within him. What if he was stuck on this barren continent? He had still unearthed a top-tier disciple, one even his senior brother and sister disciples envied. He chuckled, then looked at Immortal kllin, who wore a stunned expression. Senior sister kllin, Grandmaster Feyin didn't misjudge him, did he? Immortal kllin finally snapped out of it, her face flushing then paling. It took her a long moment to force out a reply. He's not bad, but he still needs to work harder. The truly formidable elites of Grand Prefecture taking, some are already deviant Nascent Soul cultivators, and some have even successfully transcended their tribulations, joining our ranks. Seeing her stubborn demeanor, a wave of satisfaction washed over the Pavilion Master of Heavenly Secrets. Fang Chen had once again brought him immense honor. How could he not protect such a disciple? With that thought he smiled and said, Senior Sister kllin, since Fang Chen won, then the kllin true fire art you promised. Immortal kllin's face instantly froze, and her heart plummeted. She had almost forgotten she'd agreed to the bet. A bet she thought she absolutely couldn't lose. She had actually lost. She pressed her lips together, hesitating to speak. The kllin true fire art was something she'd risked her life for. Was she really going to just give it to a junior like this? Senior Sister kllin, if you can't honor the wager, it's fine. Your junior brother understands, the Pavilion Master of Heavenly Secrets said. Hearing this, Immortal kllin was instantly enraged. She could tolerate being looked down on by anyone else, but never by Yun Tianju. It was just a cultivation method. What was there to not be able to lose about it? From her spatial storage ring, she retrieved a fist-sized reddish, glowing stone, scorching hot like a brand. Countless characters were densely etched across its surface. Take this. The Pavilion Master smiled as he took it. With a brush of his palm, the stone's intense heat dissipated. Only then did he toss it to Fang Chen. It's yours. This is a supreme cultivation method of the Blazefire sect. Cultivate it well. Fang Chen instinctively accepted it. Only then did he realize the Pavilion Master had subtly secured another benefit for him. Thank you, Pavilion Master. Thank you, Senior kllin. Immortal kllin's heart bled. She stared intently at Fang Chen. Don't thank me too soon. You might not even be able to cultivate this method. Without my years of cultivation, experience, and guidance, you'll struggle to even get started. How about this? You return the cultivation method to me, and I'll give you some resources that will help you reach the 9th layer perfection of the Golden Core realm. For you, resources would be far more practical. Is it really that difficult? Fang Chen asked, curiously looking at the etched characters. Oh, it's a high-tier Earth-grade cultivation method. No problem then, I'll take this one. It's exactly what I need. Thinking of the mysterious fire cauldron in the Soul Formation realm ruins, a hint of longing appeared in Fang Chen's eyes. Only by cultivating the fire path would he gain the ability to retrieve that cauldron, otherwise a single touch would turn him to ash. Immortal kllin raised an elegant brow. That tone, are you saying you're confident you can comprehend it? Fang Chen thought for a moment, deciding to extinguish any thought she had of getting the cultivation method back. He took another look at the first layer's contents, then, with a quick gesture, snapped his fingers. A wisp of azure flame flickered into existence before his chest. The faint blue glow illuminated 3 frozen faces. Grandmaster Yunxia gasped, the azure flame reflected in his suddenly constricted pupils. Senior sister, you always said the kllin true fire art was difficult to cultivate. Were you perhaps lying to us all? Otherwise, how do you explain a junior glancing at the cultivation method and instantly grasping the fundamentals? The Pavilion Master of Heavenly Secrets also gaped. He knew Fang Chen was extraordinary, but he swore he had no idea Fang Chen's comprehension was this terrifying. This was a high-tier Earth-grade cultivation method, and he'd understood its core principles with a single glance. In Grand Prefecture taking, such a feat would be called a miracle. Immortal kllin covered her face with her hands, her eyes wide, wondering if she was seeing things. That wisp of flame represented mastery of the first layer. She had spent a full month pondering alone before successfully condensing a small flame. Yet this junior disciple had succeeded instantly. Tell me honestly, has anyone ever taught you the kllin true fire art? Immortal kllin's lips were pale as she clung to a final shred of hope. Clearly, she was starting to question her entire existence. Fang Chen shook his head. This is actually the first time I've ever seen a high-tier earth, raid fire, attribute cultivation method. Immortal kllin stumbled back, her face utterly pale. She was actually inferior to a junior disciple, one of Yun Tianju's disciples at that. Grandmaster Yunxia quickly steadied her. Senior sister, be careful. Immortal kllin pushed him away, stumbling as she walked off into the distance. Leave me alone, I need to compose myself. Watching her retreating figure, Fang Chen looked bewildered, murmuring, "What's wrong with Senior kllin? Did I upset her? But I was already holding back. I could have condensed a much bigger flame." In the distance, Immortal kllin heard him, staggered, and nearly collapsed to the ground. The Pavilion Master of Heavenly Secrets rubbed his nose. No, Immortal kllin is a Nascent Soul senior. She has a very broad mind. This didn't upset her, it simply critically hit her. At this moment, he secretly chuckled. His senior sister, proud as a peacock, had actually been driven to question her existence by Fang Chen. Hi ho ha. Fang Chen was speechless. She gives me something but still tries to haggle for it. This senior aunt is truly stingy. Thank you, Pavilion Master, for getting me this cultivation method. I'll go cultivate now. Wait a moment. The Pavilion Master of Heavenly Secrets took out a ball of snowy, white flame enveloped in Buddhist light from his robes. Fang Chen recognized it. It was the compensation Grandmaster Fain had left for the Pavilion Master after capturing the two-headed hellhound and destroying the teleportation array hall. It was said to have been obtained from the 10th floor and was called Asura Karma Flame. Just as cultivating the 6 divisions of heavenly thunder requires the power of lightning, the Azure True Fire Art demands a primal flame born of heaven and earth. Take this cluster of Asura karmic fire, but be warned, this fire is incredibly volatile. Even a cultivator in the Nascent Soul realm would struggle to withstand it. Fang Chen's face lit up with absolute thrill. Thank you, Pavilion Master. The Pavilion Master chuckled. Fang Chen tucked away the flame and the cultivation method, then jogged over to Manager Yun Yong with a beaming smile. Master, don't call me Master. Manager Yun Yong's face flushed crimson. I can't take this kind of humiliation. It suddenly clicked for Fang Chen. His battle with Luo Yingxuang had showcased a dominating power that completely crushed a peak 9-level Golden Core expert. Now everyone knew that during his earlier spar with Manager Yun Yong, he had been massively holding back just to save her face. A master weaker than her own disciple, I must be the only one in the entire heavenly secret pavilion. The more Manager Yun Yong spoke, the more humiliated and wronged she felt. Her eyes welling with tears. Who could have predicted this? Jumping from the 6th to the 9th level of the Golden Core realm in a single month. Are you trying to make me look bad? I can't even show my face anymore. Fang Chen let out an awkward laugh and pulled out a piece of spirit meat wrapped in a lotus leaf. Please don't cry. Consider this a gift from your disciple. As long as your foundation at the 9th level is solid enough, eating this will easily push you to the peak of the Golden Core realm. Manager Yun Yong sniffed the air, her eyes widening as she realized just how extraordinary the meat was. 100 years, no, this is 1,000-year spirit meat. But how can I accept something so valuable from you? She was torn between deep desire and hesitation. This spirit meat could absolutely give her the breakthrough she desperately needed. Yet, she hadn't given Fang Chen anything of value, and now she was on the receiving end of his generosity. After a moment of thought, her eyes lit up. Reaching into her robes, she solemnly withdrew a highly treasured jade box she always kept close. Inside lay a tattered talisman, radiating an intense, overwhelming aura. At first glance, it looked similar to a mid-grade clear dust talisman, but its spiritual pressure was magnitudes stronger. Fang Chen's heart skipped a beat. Don't tell me, is this a high-grade clear dust talisman? Seeing no one around, Manager Yun Yong quickly shoved it into Fang Chen's sleeve and whispered, I found this exploring the underground world years ago. It's a high-grade clear dust talisman, albeit it's slightly damaged. A flawless high-grade talisman could completely mask one's presence from a soul formation realm expert. Even with the damage, slipping past a late-stage Nascent Soul realm cultivator would be a walk in the park. Late-stage Nascent Soul, Fang Chen's eyes practically sparkled. This is an absolute treasure. But why not keep it for yourself? This is way too precious. Manager Yun Yong raised a hand, stopping him from giving it back. There aren't many threats left on the 9th floor that would force me to use this. You, on the other hand, are a different story. I heard you've made an enemy out of a hellish, desolate beast. Take this for protection. Consider it my payment for all the times you've respectfully called me master. She patted his shoulder, a hint of regret in her voice. It's my own fault for being too weak. I finally found a disciple I truly like, but I don't have the strength to actually be your master. I'm going into secluded cultivation now. If you run into Giant Linuan and the others in the underground world, please, for the sake of your time together in the sect, lend them a hand if they get into trouble. Deeply moved, Fang Chen gave a firm nod. Understood, Manager Yun Yong. To keep calling her master now would only make her feel worse. As he watched her walk away, a sweet fragrance drifted up from behind him. Liu Ruxu approached, her eyes dancing with unconcealed joy. Little Chen, you've become so incredibly strong. Chen Xiling offered a wry smile. My sister and I both broke through to the 4th level of the Golden Core realm. We thought we had finally closed the gap between us, but you're still leagues ahead. Before arriving at the heavenly secret pavilion, the two girls hadn't even formed their cores yet. In just 1 month, they had rocketed to the 4th level of the Golden Core realm. Consuming the pure void medicinal pills had instantly pushed them to the 2nd level. Then, using the lotus seeds of the Dragonheart Snow Lotus, boosted them up another level. Top it off with the special care and resources from Yu Yunzi and Gu Huaxi, and they climbed yet another stage. Their progression was almost more ridiculous than Fang Chen's own oceanic expedition. It was a sheer testament to the overwhelming power of top-tier resources. Fang Chen wrapped his arms around both girls, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Since when did you two start comparing yourselves to me? Liu Ruxu hesitated, swallowing her words. Chen Xiling paused as well before softly admitting, we just don't want to hold you back or be a burden. Fang Chen's eyes narrowed. He caught the underlying implication instantly. What happened? Did something go down while I was gone? A flash of panic crossed Liu Ruxu's eyes. No, nothing at all. But Chen Xiling gritted her teeth and spoke up. That creep Yu Tiandu has been harassing my sister again. When you went missing for a month, he assumed you were dead and started aggressively hitting on her. When she rejected him, he said some seriously filthy things. Thank God, Vice Pavilion Master, you showed up and chased him off. Otherwise, who knows if he would have tried to force himself on her. A bone-chilling glint flashed in Fang Chen's eyes. Back when that trash had first harassed his women, Fang Chen had taught him a brutal lesson. The moment Yu Tiandu realized he was outmatched, he instantly dropped his arrogant act and begged for mercy. Fang Chen had known right then that a manipulative snake who could swallow his pride so easily was too dangerous to be left alive. Now his suspicions were completely validated. All it took was a 1-month disappearance for that bastard to show his true colors and target Liu Ruxu again. Little Chen, Vice Pavilion Master, you already dealt with him. It's in the past, Liu Ruxu urged, desperate to avoid causing him any more trouble. Fang Chen swept a cold, calculating gaze over their surroundings. Let alone Yu Tiandu, there wasn't a single member of the expedition team in sight. They had probably seen him return and scuttled into hiding like rats. But they could run, they couldn't hide forever. The Reaper was coming. Fang Chen concealed the icy glare in his eyes, but a torrential killing intent surged within his heart. Yu Tiandu was a dead man walking. If anyone dared to tell him to be the bigger person, to forgive and forget, or called him too bloodthirsty, those brain-dead hypocrites could die right alongside him. His expression returning to normal, he gently squeezed Liu Ruxu's hand. Nothing like this will ever happen again, don't worry. Liu Ruxu fell silent. Having spent so much time with him, she knew exactly what that calm exterior meant. Fang Chen was absolutely ready to commit murder. She bit her lower lip, a wave of self-loathing washing over her. What good was she if she only ever caused him trouble? Gritting her teeth, she silently made a firm resolution. Junior brother Fang, Liang Feiyan completely failed to read the room, bursting onto the scene with her usual reckless energy. Liu Ruxu and Chen Xiling quickly pulled away from his embrace, smoothing their robes and standing poised by his side. What is it? Fang Chen asked, an edge of annoyance in his voice. Liang Feiyan rubbed the back of her neck awkwardly. Don't look at me like that. Someone who claims you abandoned them at the East Sea told me to pass on a message. He's waiting for you at the coast for an important deal. Abandoned at the East Sea. Fang Chen frowned. Could it be Associate Master Gu? But what kind of business would they have? He thought they had finally settled their scores. After a moment's thought, he decided to go. He pulled out the last of the resources gifted by the North Sea Demon Emperor. Ruxu, sighing, these are for you. He handed a generous share to both women and another stack to Liang Feiyan. By the way, where are Xia Keoj, Liu Qingxian, and Gu Zinner? Liang Feiyan grinned as she cradled the rare ocean treasures. Liu is still in seclusion, and I haven't seen Xia all day. As for Gu Zinner, she's turned into a total workaholic. She's been grinding through missions day and night, looking like a zombie with those dark circles under her eyes. Honestly, she's making me feel so guilty that I've actually started taking on missions too. Why is Gu Zinner working so hard? Fang Chen wondered aloud. Well, get back to your cultivation. I'm heading out for a bit. Fang Chen knew exactly where the meeting spot was. It was the same beach where she had once disguised herself as Liu Qingxian to trick him, only for the encounter to end with him taking full advantage of the situation. When he arrived, he found a petite, charming figure waiting. She wore a pink shorts, sleeved top, and a beige skirt, her hair styled in elegant, high-swept loops. She turned around, and from beneath her unique opera mask, a pair of bloodshot eyes glared back at him. Wow, you've got some nerve, Fang Chen teased, dumping me at the East Sea and making a run for it. And if I'd stayed, would your wounds have magically healed faster? She snapped. Gu Zinner didn't want to waste her breath. Fine, let him talk. Once she reached the Moon Realm, she was going to beat him senseless and finally settle the score. The Tower Master found the item he promised you. He asked me to deliver it. The Master? Fang Chen's heart skipped a beat. It was the Jade Scripture. The Tower Master of the Junction Guild was giving it to him as a reward for saving his life. Gu Zinner pulled out a shimmering, translucent jade page, her face tight with reluctance. The Master had mobilized the entire guild's resources, spending a full month to track this down. The cost had been staggering. The Junction Guild's business empire spanned the entire Great Takang province. To pause everything just to find this one scripture meant losing an astronomical fortune. Even Fang Chen was stunned. It seemed the Tower Master truly valued his integrity. A promise from him was worth more than 1 billion gold. He took the Jade Scripture. Many of its inscriptions were damaged, but it was in far better condition than the one he already possessed. If he studied both together, he could definitely push his soul to the Nascent Soul realm, a shadow Nascent Soul that would defy convention. His combat power was about to skyrocket. After a pause, Fang Chen asked, interested in making another deal. Gu Zinner crossed her arms over her chest. Depends on what you're selling. Fang Chen always carried treasures that made her heart race. She was definitely intrigued. Fang Chen produced an iron figurine radiating a thick, ghostly chill. The moment it appeared, Gu Zinner recognized it. A secret cultivation technique from the Great Yin sect, she gasped. How do you have everything? First, the Myriad Tribulation Temple, now the Great Yin sect. Do you actually want to be a wanted man? Neither of those foreign sects are the kind of heavy hitters you want to mess with. Fang Chen shrugged. Just tell me if you want it or not. Gu Zinner's eyes gleamed with greed. Of course I do. Great Yin techniques are pure gold. What do you want for it? Fang Chen's gaze sharpened. I need you to act as a guardian for someone's ascension tribulation. If anyone tries to sabotage the breakthrough, stop them. If she fails, pull her out before the lightning finishes her off. Gu Zinner thought it over for a moment. When? 5 days from now, Fang Chen replied. Her brow furrowed instantly. Can we push it back? In 5 days, I have to be back at the Junction Guild for something critical. Fang Chen shook his head. Gu Zinner sighed, clearly loath to let the manual go. How about this? I have a spare cluster of purple flame. Give it to your friend. If anyone interferes, tell them to release it. Unless the attacker has reached the 3rd level of the Nascent Soul realm, they won't dare touch it. Fang Chen considered it. He had seen the terrifying power of her purple flame firsthand. It had melted the dragon, binding chains like butter. He suspected it could even burn through the seals in the Soul Formation ruins. Fine, he agreed. Deal. Gu Zinner took the iron figurine with a grin, and Fang Chen secured the purple flame. All right, catch you later. Having gotten what she wanted, she took off immediately. Fang Chen didn't head back to the pavilion yet. He looked toward the site of the Master's upcoming tribulation and whispered, time to master the Eternal Blade. The lightning pool, Xia Keoj was drenched in arcs of electricity, her skin glowing with a crystalline radiance as she swallowed the lightning whole. Over her heart, the energy coalesced into a swirling black and white Teiji diagram pulsing with lethal power. Her eyes fluttered open, sparkling with anticipation. I can't wait to see the look on my senior's face when he sees I've mastered the 6 parts of heavenly thunder, she whispered. Will he be totally speechless? The thought made her burst into a soft giggle. Suddenly, a noise echoed from the valley entrance. Her expression shifted instantly. Someone's here. She glanced toward her clothes on the bank. There was no time to get dressed. She almost shouted for them to stay back, but stopped herself. If she spoke, her secret training would be out. She was determined to give Fang Chen a proper surprise. Quickly, she swept her clothes into the gemstone storage ring hanging from her neck. She popped a strange, iridescent pearl into her mouth and vanished into thin air. Just a second later, a figure emerged. From her invisible vantage point, she saw Fang Chen and couldn't help but smile. Sen, she started, catching herself just in time. So, it's just my senior, she thought. A soft smile played on her lips. Her panic faded as she watched Fang Chen approach the water's edge. Was that just my imagination? Fang Chen muttered, looking around. I could have sworn I heard Xia Keoj's voice. He scanned the area, but saw no one. Maybe I've just been away from her for too long. Keoj felt a pang of jealousy. Oh, so you actually remember me. Between Liu Ruxu, Chen Xiling, and Liu Qingxian, I'm practically invisible to you even when I'm standing right here. They hadn't shared a real conversation since the mission for Consort Yunxia. Since then, they'd barely even crossed paths. Fang Chen glanced around once more, then squinted at the clouds above. I wonder if 2 more women are about to fall from the sky today. Keoj puffed out her cheeks in annoyance. So that's how it is. Last time he was here, he had heaven. And women to keep him company. What a player. I'm staying right here to see exactly who tries to drop in and seduce him today. Her resolve crumbled almost immediately as Fang Chen began to shed his robes. Her face turned a deep crimson, and she spun around as fast as she could. Fang Chen finished undressing and stepped into the pool, his brow furrowing in confusion. That's strange. Why is the lightning energy so weak? There's not even half as much as last time. The discovery left him feeling frustrated. He had planned to save this spot for later, once he'd acquired the rest of the 6 parts of heavenly thunder. It seemed another lightning cultivator had been here. Their technique must have been incredibly powerful to drain this much energy. Keoj stifled a giggle. You dummy, I'm the one who took it. Don't worry, senior. I'll share my parts of the technique with you soon. I want to see you master all 6 parts. She watched him intently as he began his cultivation. Waves of lightning were drawn into his body, merging into his lightning core. An hour later, the pool was nearly dry. Only a thin, barely visible shimmer of electricity remained. Between the 2 of them, they had completely exhausted a lightning source that had existed for 20 years. Fortunately, the energy he'd absorbed was just enough to push his indestructible blade technique to the point of mastery. He raised his arm and slashed at a clear patch of sky, intentionally avoiding the clouds. Crack! A massive lightning blade, stretching over 2,000 yards, tore through the sky with world-shaking power. This single strike was even more devastating than the attack from the Sage of the Green Crane. It carried the weight of a Nascent Soul expert with 2 opened apertures. Even Fang Chen was stunned by the sheer destruction. His eyes lit up with excitement. Now this is a trump card. Who would have guessed the indestructible blade would be twice as powerful as the sacred scripture of 10,000 tribulations? Keoj covered her mouth with both hands, her eyes wide with shock. Amazing as always, senior. With a strike like that, you could actually challenge a 2-aperture Nascent Soul expert. But Fang Chen's next words made her scowl. That ghost woman in the underworld dared to take my spirit pet, he muttered. I'll give her a taste of this long, powerful blade. Keoj's face burned. She shot him a glare, her heart racing at his suggestive wording. That ghost must be quite the beauty if he's this obsessed with her, she thought bitterly. Speaking of the ghost, Fang Chen remembered something. He flipped his palm, revealing several shards of glowing green crystal he'd acquired earlier. One reward had been the moon, gazing wine, the other was this soul, trapping crystal. According to the Pavilion master, the crystal was designed to imprison the souls of Nascent Soul experts. It was currently shattered, but Fang Chen had kept it to see if he could refine and restore it. He looked around once more to ensure he was alone, then summoned the mountain river cauldron. He poured the shattered phantom crystal fragments inside and channeled his spiritual energy to activate it. A few minutes later, the fractured shards flawlessly fused back together, reforming into a palm-sized, cube-shaped crystal that looked exactly like a miniature prison. If you behave, little ghost, I'll just lock you in here, he muttered, but try anything funny, and one sword strike will scatter your soul to the winds. Ziyajayaj pouted slightly. Martial Uncle is really holding a grudge against that ghost girl. He's actually planning to play warden and lock her up. Still, he really does have an insane stash of loot. I swear I've seen that little cauldron somewhere in my memories. Stowing the crystal away, Fang Chen didn't stop his cultivation. Instead, he summoned the 5, Magnet Primal Mountain. Catching sight of the artifact, Ziyajayaj recoiled in fear. If the 5, Magnet Divine Light suddenly flared, it would instantly expose her true form. And considering she was completely naked right now, that would be a disaster. Luckily, Fang Chen simply pulled out a pile of stones identical to the mountain's material, followed by a jade bucket brimming with a mysterious, iridescent 5, color spirit liquid. It's been a while since I used the 5, Magnet Primal Mountain, Fang Chen mused. It hardly has any suppressive effect on someone at the peak of the 9th level Golden Core realm anymore. Let's hope this 5, color spirit liquid can breathe some life back into it. To Fang Chen's growing excitement, Ren Guhong had been right. There was a definitive resonance between the 5, color spirit liquid and the mountain. The moment the liquid neared the artifact, the miniature mountain began to tremble with anticipation. Curious, he took one of the multi-colored stones, dipped it into the glowing liquid, and pressed it against the mountain's surface. Like magic, the stone sank seamlessly into the 5, Magnet Primal Mountain. Not a single crack or seam remained. It actually works. Fang Chen's eyes lit up with ecstatic delight. Wasting no time, he repeated the process, slathering the stones in the radiant liquid and slapping them onto the mountain one by one. A couple of hours later, the entire bucket of 5, color spirit liquid was bone dry, yet more than half of his stone stockpile was left unfused. Even so, the 5, Magnet Primal Mountain had already doubled in size. The crushing, suppressive aura radiating from it was absolute. Forget peak 9th level Golden Core realm cultivators. Even a Nascent Soul realm expert would be severely crippled by a hit from this thing. Haha, welcome back to the front lines, old friend, Fang Chen chuckled. He cradled the artifact, now the size of 2 large palms, tracing its surface affectionately. Then, glancing at the leftover stones, he sighed. What a shame I'm out of the liquid. If I could merge the rest of these, the mountain's weight alone would be enough to permanently pin down the Kankyong Demon Emperor. That bastard would never hurt anyone again. Ziyajayaj crossed her arms, deep in thought. That liquid, it has to be spring water from some divine mountain, right? It seems super important to him. I should figure out a way to snatch some more for Martial Uncle. Stashing the mountain away, Fang Chen drew out the original manuscript of the Azure True Fire incantation alongside the eerie Bloods, no hue of the Asura karmic fire. A fire element cultivation method like this would be an absolute game changer in the underground world. But the best part, I can use this to forge something entirely new, the void, flow fire energy. Thanks to the bounty on his head, manifesting his void, flow lightning energy out in the open, was basically asking for a death sentence. Consequently, the devastating potential of his 5, Magnet Divine Light, had been severely bottlenecked. To navigate the blinding rays of the 5, Magnet Divine Light, one needed the void, flow 5 energies. Up until now, that meant relying on his lightning. But if he could master the void, flow fire energy, all his problems would go up in smoke. He settled into a lotus position and meticulously studied the Azure True Fire incantation. Its core principles actually shared a striking resemblance to the 6 divisions of Heavenly Thunder. The goal was to forge a fiery core within his own body, a vessel meant to gorge on the world's most exotic and lethal flames. The more unique flames he devoured, the deadlier the Azure True Fire incantation would become. According to the ancient text, reaching the high Earth grade was merely its baseline. It guaranteed a massive surge in power for anyone who practiced it, but its true ceiling was dictated entirely by the quality of the flames absorbed. In theory, its potential was completely limitless. A few hours later, Fang Chen unlocked the technique's secrets. He flared his meridians to life, slowly siphoning the cluster of Asura karmic fire into his body. Nearly half a day passed before he finally formed a hand seal. A delicate lotus bloomed into existence above his palm, perfectly mimicking the one martial Aunt Luo Yingxu had summoned. The only difference, his lotus blazed a brilliant bloods, no hue, radiating a heat that was infinitely more scorching. If Martial Aunt saw that I hit the minor mastery stage in less than 24 hours, she'd probably have a stroke. He joked. Fang Chen couldn't help but chuckle at the thought. Clenching his fist, a vicious red vein pulsed beneath the skin of his arm. It was the distinct meridian pathway carved out by the void, flow fire energy. The void, flow fire energy, had achieved grand mastery. Checking the time, he realized there was still half a day before the underground realm opened. Not one to waste a second, he pulled out 2 slips of jade paper. Hovering behind him, Xiaojia's spectral eyes widened in shock. Pages of the jade paper heavenly tome, 2 of them. How did Martial Uncle get his hands on something so legendary? A sly grin spread across her lips. I'm sure Martial Uncle won't mind if I take a little peek too. Whatever, he's the elder and I'm the junior. Is it really stealing if a junior just borrows some knowledge from their martial uncle? She crept up behind Fang Chen and peered over his shoulder. Reciting the inscriptions along with him, she felt a mysterious power take hold. As he chanted, her soul was nourished, growing stronger by the moment. The gap between her soul and the Nascent Soul realm was closing at breakneck speed. Lost in the mantra, his consciousness drifted deeper into a trance, becoming oblivious to his surroundings. It wasn't until the assembly bell from Heaven's secret pavilion rang out that he was jolted awake. Startled, he gasped, "How many hours was I out?" Behind him, Xiaojiao snapped out of it as well, her heart racing with shock. The Jade Book of Heaven was terrifyingly powerful. Their souls had been completely pulled into its depths. Wait, her soul had reached the peak of the 9th level of the Golden Core realm. She had truly hit the jackpot, thanks to her senior uncle this time. She was feeling incredibly smug. Fang Chen suddenly stood up to get dressed and, caught off guard, backed straight into her. The unexpected contact sent a shock through him. There was someone behind him. Without thinking, he whipped around and threw a palm strike, infused with the lethal heat of Asura karmic fire. His palm slammed into her chest, the impact feeling unmistakably solid. He tried to grab hold of the intruder, but his grip slipped, leaving only sharp scratches behind. "Who's there?" Fang Chen barked coldly. Xiaojiao stumbled back, looking down to see a glowing red handprint burned into her chest. It stung with a searing pain, and 5 bloody claw marks marred her skin. Her face turned bright red. Biting her lip in mortification, she stomped her foot in frustration. She turned and bolted. Although Fang Chen couldn't see her, his soul was now powerful enough to vaguely sense her presence even without the heavy pupil crystal. Fang Chen's expression turned grim. How long had they been there? Had they seen him take out the mountains and rivers, cauldron, or the jade paper? At that thought, he didn't hesitate to attack. Sovereign of the Boundless, an idol materialized instantly, striking out with 6 massive arms. The figure spun around, conjuring a massive black and white Teiji lightning diagram. The 6 arms crashed against it, but couldn't budge it an inch. Lightning techniques, Fang Chen muttered in surprise. As he moved to give chase, the intruder used a bizarre technique, splitting into 3 blurred shadows that fled in different directions. Clones. He quickly pulled out the heavy pupil crystal to see who it was, but the 3 shadows had already vanished. Fang Chen's face darkened. Was this lightning pool cursed? Every time he came here, someone was spying on him. They'd seen his most important treasures this time. "When I find out who you are, I'm not letting you off easy." With the bell ringing more urgently, he threw on his clothes and rushed back to Heaven's secret pavilion. Almost all the disciples had arrived, including his own team members. Not only was Liu Qingxian back from her seclusion, but even the missing Xiaojiao was there. "Xiaojiao, what's wrong? You're so pale. Are you hurt?" Fang Chen noticed her distress immediately. Xiaojiao was clutching her searing chest. The physical pain was bad enough, but hearing his voice made her heart ache too. She bit her lip and glared at him with pure resentment. Fang Chen was totally lost. "I was just worried. Why the look?" Liu Qingxian pulled Xiaojiao into a protective embrace and shot him a dirty look. "It's that time of the month for girls." "Stop prying! You disappear for a whole month, then show up just to embarrass her in public." Fine, Fang Chen muttered sheepishly. As he turned away, a small hand was shoved into his face. It was Gu Zina. She looked like she was about to boil over. "Give it to me." Fang Chen was stunned. "Do I owe you something?" Gu Zina pulled out a list, a dense record of every mission she'd handled for the team this month. 32 missions in total, earning them 200 merit points. She had officially set the record for the highest individual performance in a decade. "Well, Captain, is my contribution enough for the team now?" Fang Chen rubbed his nose. This cute little girl was a total mission maniac. Fine. Given how hard she'd worked, he'd officially accept her. He pulled out a Moon Realm fragment. He pressed it into her palm. Gu Zina beamed with joy. "Finally, this Moon Realm piece is finally mine. Time to drop the act. The games are over, and I'm Gu Zina. Now, I'm going to beat the living daylights out of you, you bastard." Just then, he saw Fang Chen pull out a strange little bean. To further incentivize your exploration of the underground world, I've personally prepared an additional reward. This is a treasure of immense value, a delicacy coveted even by soul formation realm powerhouses. The individual who earns the most merit points for me will receive this precious item as their reward. Reaching 100,000 merit points felt like an impossible feat. He had no choice but to push his teammates, making them scramble to uncover every hidden space. Gu Zinner, who had been on the verge of revealing her true intentions, froze, her eyes fixated on the small item as if she had just seen a ghost. Master, am I seeing things? Even the remnant soul of Fa Xin, nestled in her embrace, mirrored her shock. You're not mistaken. That is indeed a dragon marrow seed, thought to have vanished a millennium ago. Heavens, even in our era, finding just one was incredibly difficult, and this kid, he actually has one. For any cultivator at or below the mid-nascent soul realm, consuming one can open a vital spiritual aperture. Her gaze shifted. Zinner, perhaps you should push yourself a little harder. Let's get our hands on that dragon marrow seed first. She felt Gu Zinner hadn't been sufficiently tempered by Fang Chen. She needed further refinement. Gu Zinner, unwilling to give up so easily, softly conceded, all right then. Since Master insists, I suppose I'll endure a little longer. I won't play my hand just yet. Zia Keoj, too, seemed to recognize the item, a flicker of surprise gracing her exquisite features. Though Liang Feiyan and Liu Qingxian didn't recognize the item, they could sense the immense power radiating from it, a power even golden core realm cultivators would struggle to withstand. They instinctively knew it was a treasure, and their determination soared. Liu Qingxian offered a mysterious smile. That little bean is destined to be mine. Fang Chen chuckled. What makes you so sure? Liu Qingxian leaned in close, whispering into his ear. Chen, I dreamed of that old man teaching me sword arts again. This time, it was an even more formidable move. Fang Chen gasped, startled. The sword arts imparted by that old man were anything but ordinary. Liu Qingxian recalled, shortly after you left a month ago to be precise, around the time the sky-piercing black pillar manifested, I was cultivating when I suddenly fainted. Then that old man appeared in my mind teaching me sword arts. The sky-piercing black pillar had actually triggered Liu Qingxian's dream enlightenment. Waves of emotion churned within Fang Chen. The mere emergence of the sky-piercing black pillar had somehow brought about such a profound transformation. He truly couldn't tell if this was a good omen or a terrible one. The time to open the underground world has arrived. Are all teams prepared? The Pavilion Master of Heavenly Secrets hovered above the plaza, Venerable Yunxia and Immortal kllin, flanked by their two disciples behind him. As eager cheers and shouts of anticipation erupted, the Pavilion Master declared, line up and enter the underground world. You have a limit of 3 days. Fang Chen's feat of earning 8,000 merit points last time had truly fired them up. Everyone was eager to replicate his glory. A bustling crowd swarmed the entrance of the teleportation hall, everyone scrambling to be the first inside. Only Fang Chen remained unhurried, bringing up the rear. Gu Zinner said anxiously, what are you waiting for? If others seize the initiative, we'll lose our chance. For the dragon marrow seed, she was now even more invested than Fang Chen. Fang Chen surveyed the bustling teams in the plaza and said coldly, no rush. They hadn't fully explored it in decades. A few extra moments wouldn't make a difference. Liu Qingxian knew Fang Chen was waiting for Yu Tiandu to show himself, intending to settle the score for his harassment of Liu Ruxu. Chen, we can't let someone like him off easily again. Last time, we spared his life, but he showed not a shred of remorse. She said with a frosty expression. While it was Liu Ruxu who had been harassed on matters like this, she stood united with her sister against any outsider. However, even after all the other teams had descended, Yu Tiandu and his expedition team were nowhere in sight. Gu Zinner scoffed. He's probably terrified by the strength you displayed earlier. He dares to harass other men's women, yet lacks the courage to face the consequences. A lustful, spineless coward. He should take a page from others, who actually have both the desire and the audacity. Fang Chen's brow furrowed. Why did that last sentence feel like it was aimed directly at him? Surely not. He and Gu Zinner had no bad blood between them. He hadn't even so much as touched her finger. As long as I stand here, he won't dare show his face. Waiting any longer is pointless. They can only pray they don't cross paths with me in the underground world. Let's move. The 5-person team stepped into the hall and were instantly teleported away. Only then did a group of expedition team disciples, who had been hiding in the shadows, emerge with complicated expressions. They were outsiders, yet had been so utterly intimidated by a mere local junior disciple that they were forced to skulk in the shadows. It was truly a disgrace. Mu Ying's face contorted with resentment. She lashed out, her fist slamming into Yu Tiandu's chest as she reprimanded, "Are you satisfied now? Fang Chen warned you last time if there was a next time, you wouldn't even get a chance to apologize. He's clearly not letting this go. You're on your own. Just don't drag us down with you." Yu Tiandu's face paled, then flushed with shame. To say he didn't regret it would be a flat-out lie. Liu Ruxu was just too stunning, and since she was alone, he'd lost his head and tried to flirt with her. Who could have guessed that Fang Chen, missing for a month, wasn't dead? Instead, he'd returned with terrifying power. Now, Yu Tiandu was in deep trouble, but as he thought about entering the underworld, a vicious glint returned to his eyes. On the surface, I might fear him, but down in the underworld, he's the one who should be afraid. Mu Ying jumped, snapping at him. "Do you have a death wish? If you expose our secret, we're never getting into the underworld. Now move." As the expedition force descended into the underworld, Gu Huaxi and Liu Ruxu arrived shortly after. "Ruxu, are you sure about this? Even I can only guide you through the 10th floor for a short while. It's too dangerous to go any deeper. Even at the peak of the Golden Core realm, I might not be able to protect you. You need to be prepared to walk away with nothing." Liu Ruxu bowed gracefully. "Master, the fact that you're willing to brave such danger for me is more than I could ever ask for." Gu Huaxi sighed. "You really don't need to risk your life. Fang Chen is a man of honor. You stood by him when he had nothing. He'll never forget that loyalty. He'll provide you with endless resources and pull you up alongside him as he grows." Liu Ruxu's gaze was calm but unyielding. But a couple should support each other, shouldn't they? Gu Huaxi understood her resolve and stopped trying to persuade her. "I hope luck is on your side, and you find a destiny-changing opportunity for Fang Chen on the 10th floor." Deep in the underworld, Fang Chen led the group to the 9th floor with practiced ease. "Get your moon mirrors out. It's time to activate them. We're going to split up to find the hidden pockets of space. We need to stay in touch." Each of the 5 produced a fragment of the moon mirror and dripped a drop of essence blood onto it. Immediately, Fang Chen felt a soul, deep connection form with the mirror. They tested it by writing on the surfaces instantly. 5 messages appeared across all the fragments. While the others marveled at it, Fang Chen frowned. "This is a mess. I can't tell who's saying what. Add a handle before you post anything." Liu Qingxian was the fastest, scribbling the main wife remember the name. Zia Keoj chuckled and wrote flower patch, "Yes, your majesty." Liang Feiyin joined in the vibe check. "Won't say a word to junior sister Liu, I promise." Gu Zina pouted and wrote death note, "I'm your adorable little junior sister." Fang Chen stared at the mirror, a vein throbbing in his temple. What kind of ridiculous names were these? The 4 of them turned to Fang Chen, eager to see what he'd choose. Fang Chen hesitated. Everyone was using code names. It would be awkward if he just used his real name. After a moment, he wrote Pick, a good. Name everyone split up and find the hidden spaces. Keep in touch. Seriously, they thought he'd come up with something clever, but that was it. Liang Feiyin rolled her eyes hard. "Pick a good. Name her. Let me help you out." "How about the harem king? With all these beauties around you, who else could it be?" Fang Chen gave him a playful kick, annoyed. "Enough. Let's move. We're on a clock." The other 4 nodded, their playful moods instantly shifting into focus as they vanished in different directions. After a month of intense cultivation, their power had soared. They were strong enough to handle the 9th floor solo now. Fang Chen's eyes flickered as he activated his cloud shadow technique, reappearing before the hidden space. But when he arrived, his heart sank. The space had been torn apart, looking like it had been ransacked by a mob. "What the hell happened here?" Fang Chen muttered, stunned. No sooner had the words faded than the space around them rippled. A woman, clad in robes as pure as fresh snow, and bearing a striking resemblance to the legendary Cloud Mist Consort, materialized from thin air, cradling the little kllin. Her 2 inkai, black eyes glared at Fang Chen. "It's all thanks to your little spirit pet." The moment Hua Xin saw Fang Chen, she erupted in fury. He'd stolen her Yin Marrow Tiger talisman, then left her a rootless, wandering spirit. Meanwhile, Fang Chen's gaze instantly found the little kllin. He noticed it wasn't just unharmed, but actually looked chubbier, and a smile instantly spread across his face. little kllin. The little kllin was equally delighted, bouncing on its short legs, ready to leap into Fang Chen's arms. Hua Xin clamped a hand down on its head. You ungrateful little beast, you'll never be loyal to anyone. Tell your master to return my property first. Fang Chen pulled out the Yin Marrow Tiger Talisman. First, tell me, what exactly is this thing for? And why was that two-headed hellhound so terrified of it? Hua Xin scoffed. Why should I tell you anything? Toss me the Yin Marrow Tiger Talisman first. Then I'll release your little spirit pet. And furthermore, you owe me compensation for my spatial cavern, fright, soul nourishment, emotional distress, lost wages, and the little killin's upbringing. Don't even think about cheating me, no memory silver sand, and no bargaining. As she ranted, Fang Chen simply slipped the Yin Marrow Tiger Talisman back into his spatial pouch. The little kllin seems to have gotten even fatter while it was with you, so you can keep raising it for me. I'll come back to claim it when it turns 18. With that, he turned and walked away. Hua Xin was utterly flummoxed. You at least try to bargain, you're just leaving, and you don't even want your little spirit pet. Wait, no, he wants me to raise it until it's 18 before he takes it back. He wants me to raise his son and come back to claim him in 18 years. Hua Xin was so furious her vision blurred. Only that scoundrel could conjure such a despicable scheme. Get back here. Just give me back the Yin Marrow Tiger Talisman. That's all I want. Fang Chen paid her no mind. Are you actually leaving? Don't go. How about I compensate you with something instead? Still, Fang Chen ignored her. Hua Xin's panic mounted. Please, just have some decency. Ever since you took the Yin Marrow Tiger Talisman, my power has plummeted. I'm constantly being hunted by the other 3 ghost kings. Seeing Fang Chen still offered no response, Hua Xin finally caved. All right, fine, I'll tell you. The Yin Marrow Tiger Talisman is a warrant to command the armies of hell, but you need to possess the power of an Asura king or higher to wield it. Fang Chen pulled out the Yin Marrow Tiger Talisman, a flicker of shock in his eyes. Command the armies of hell, even that incredibly formidable two-headed hellhound. What level of power does an Asura king possess? Hua Xin replied, it's equivalent to your human soul formation realm. A sharp intake of breath. Such a powerful being, truly. A thought struck Fang Chen, and he eyed Hua Xin suspiciously, scanning her up and down. He remembered the North Sea Prince's conjecture that Hua Xin might be the remnant soul of some ancient, powerful entity, rather than just a manifestation of malevolent yin energy. Sister Hua Xin, he purred, how about a fun little test? The word sister sent a shiver through Hua Xin, an immediate sense of dread washed over her. The last time Fang Chen called her sister, that scoundrel conned her out of the Yin Marrow Tiger Talisman. Now the word sister gave her deep-seated trauma. No, don't you dare come closer. Stay away from me. If you take one more step, I'll scatter my essence right before your eyes. Fang Chen just smiled, taking out his soul, suppressing Buddhist beads. Don't worry, sister, he chuckled. It'll just bind you for a moment, nothing serious. He abruptly hurled the soul, suppressing Buddhist beads, and they instantly locked onto Hua Xin. Fang Chen mused to himself with surprise. She truly is just a remnant soul. Yet both were remnant souls. The 6 Bats Venerable was reduced to a mere wisp of mist, but Hua Xin remained remarkably intact. She must have endured for at least 1,000 years. It was terrifying to imagine what her true form must have been. The soul-suppressing Buddhist beads wrapped themselves around Hua Xin. Hua Xin's soul was remarkably robust. Unlike the previous Nascent Soul souls that snapped like twigs, the binding only managed to snare her upper half. She thrashed against it, on the verge of tearing right through. His Hua Xin's soul was undeniably formidable. Fang Chen wasn't about to let an unknown remnant soul break free. When you strike to kill. Leaving her alive would only invite endless trouble. 5 Magnetic Divine Light. He summoned the 5 magnetic Yuan mountain, flashing hand seals before slamming his palm against it. Instantly, a 60-foot radius of divine light flared out, swallowing her whole. Divine light countered all things, and soul power was no exception. Hua Xin, who had been thrashing wildly a second ago, let out a miserable shriek and crumpled limply to the ground. Void flow fire energy instantly flared in Fang Chen's palm as he stared down at her, weighing his options. Should I just kill her? They didn't exactly have a bitter blood feud, but letting her live was a ticking time bomb. Just then, the newly freed little kllin darted between them. It threw its tiny arms wide, shielding Hua Xin from him. Master, please, don't kill the nice lady. She was really good to me. Fang Chen already knew that. If she hadn't been sneaking at snacks, how did the little guy get so chubby? I'll spare your life, Fang Chen decided, but you'll have to put up with a little confinement. Once my cultivation is high enough that you're no longer a threat, I'll let you go. He pulled out the phantom crystal. Bound tight and entirely helpless, Hua Xin knew she was out of options and didn't bother resisting. She looked down at the tiny kllin standing bravely in front of her, her eyes softening. At least I didn't pamper you for nothing, you little furball. Fine, I was getting sick of this underground world anyway. It'll be nice to see the outside, plus I can teach you how to be an upright, kind-hearted spirit beast. Don't go learning any nasty tricks from your master. She put a heavy, sarcastic emphasis on upright and kind-hearted, the dig at Fang Chen painfully obvious. Fang Chen's face darkened. Cut the chatter. You should be thanking your lucky stars. I'm letting you live. Before I got here, I was fully prepared to give you my sword. Hua Xin's face flushed bright red. Watch your mouth. Don't be so vulgar in front of the kid. The little kllin blinked its big, innocent eyes, scratching its head in pure confusion. Fang Chen also blinked his big, innocent eyes. It took him a solid moment to realize how that sounded, and he nearly choked on his own spit. You shameless ghost, you're polluting my pure Dao heart. Get in the crystal. He chucked the phantom crystal at her. Pulses of dark, shimmering light spilled from the gem, washing over Hua Xin. In a blink, she vanished from the cave, reappearing inside the crystal as a hazy, miniature version of herself. She adapted with surprising speed. Almost instantly, she started unpacking her everyday belongings, casually decorating her pocket-sized home. To her, the phantom crystal was just a cage, but wasn't the 9th underground floor a cage too? Just a slightly bigger one. Beep beep, right as he dealt with Hua Xin, a chime rang from his chest. He pulled out the moon mirror. A new message flashed across the glass death diary, hidden space, discovered in the southwest corner. Yi Bangxia, Wang Chongling, and Lai Shengqiu are currently battling for exploration rights. Get over here ASAP. Fang Chen's eyes lit up. This Gu Zinner isn't messing around. She gathered intel fast. He had to admit the moon mirror was incredibly clutch. Instant mass communication was a total game changer. He was just about to head out when the little kllin bounded onto his shoulder, a crumpled piece of paper clamped in its jaws. Fang Chen took it. It was a crude map with little doodles marking the north, south, east, and west. He couldn't decipher most of the scribbles, but the drawing at the bottom made instant sense. It was a doodle of Hua Xin. That meant the other 3 directions held boss, level entities just as terrifying as her. Inside the crystal, Hua Xin, who had been busy arranging her tiny furniture, whirled around, her eyes wide with outrage. Excuse me, you actually recognize that as me. Touch your conscience and tell me I'm that ugly. Go on, say it to my face. Fang Chen rubbed his ringing ear, swiped a finger over the phantom crystal, and muted her shrieks. A wide grin spread across his face as he studied the map. So, there are 3 more massive hidden spaces out there. Little kllin, you are an absolute lifesaver. The tiny beast let out a happy little giggle, nuzzled its way into the crook of Fang Chen's jacket, wiggled its butt, and settled in for a cozy nap. Beep beep, Death Diary Yi Bangxia 1. She's entered the hidden space. Fang Chen stared at the mirror in shock. Damn, this woman is built different. She soloed both Lai Shengqiu and Wang Chongling. Both of those guys are at the absolute peak of the Golden Core realm, and they had their whole squads backing them up. She suppressed 2 entire teams by herself. That's utterly terrifying. Fang Chen immediately shot back a message under the alias pic. A good name, ignore them. Everyone, head straight north. There's a hidden space over there. Death Diary, the main lady, the whole entourage. They'll be here in a flash, and they never spoil the mood. Not long after, guided by the little kllin, Fang Chen arrived before a vast land shrouded in swirling snow mist. Gu Zinner and the others arrived shortly after. How did you know there would be a hidden space here? Are you sure? Gu Zinner asked, her face etched with doubt. Liang Feiyan exclaimed excitedly, when junior brother Fang speaks seriously, you can trust him 100%. If he says it's there, then it absolutely is. Is that so? Gu Zinner closed her eyes, extending her nascent soul realm soul perception. She genuinely detected something amiss within the snow mist. Her soul power was being blocked by something, confirming there was indeed an anomaly here. Fang Chen also noticed it. Having recited the Jade Scroll of the Heavenly Book, his soul power had successfully broken through its bottleneck, now fully reaching the Nascent Soul level. For such formidable soul power to be blocked, it truly indicated something significant hidden within the snow mist. Pondering for a moment, he pressed his palms together. As they parted, a blood red lotus bloomed between them. The lotus petals immediately scattered, transforming into countless sparks that rained down into the snow mist. As the snow mist met the sparks, it vanished before their eyes, truly like snow melting against a raging fire. You're all courting death. Suddenly, a surge of malevolent energy erupted from the snow mist, and a sinister entity, formed entirely of condensed snow mist, lunged forth. But before it could even unleash its power, a colossal shadow of a lightning sword slashed down. Poof, the snow mist entity didn't even put up a semblance of resistance, bursting into wisps of mist and dissipating instantly. Inside the ghost crystal, Hua Xin watched the scene unfold, her face paling. That bastard, his strength has grown by leaps and bounds since last time. Good thing I appeased the little kllin, and it pleaded on my behalf, otherwise I would have died a far more miserable death than the Snowbone Ghost King. Liu Qingxian and Liang Feiyan were also stunned by Fang Chen's power. For him, slaying a perfected ninth-layer golden core cultivator was truly effortless. Waving his sleeve, Fang Chen dispelled the lingering yin energy of the Snowbone Ghost King, then turned his gaze towards the cave dwelling hidden within the snow mist. He thought for a moment, then said to the others behind him, "How about this deal? The exploration merits for this cave dwelling are mine, but everything found inside goes to you all. I urgently need a large amount of merits to exchange for something important." How could any of them disagree? Fang Chen discovered the cave dwelling and slew the malevolent ghost within. They were simply getting a massive windfall. How could they possibly refuse? Fang Chen was the first to step into the cave dwelling. It wasn't large, roughly similar in size to Hua Xin's. Inside, various heavenly and earthly spiritual treasures were scattered, but for Fang Chen's current cultivation, they were no longer of much use. "All right, you can come in now," he instructed, then casually began to look around. Suddenly, he noticed a black crystal growing out of the ground in a corner of the cave dwelling. It emitted an intensely potent yin energy and subtly contained a trace of spatial power. "What is this?" Fang Chen exclaimed in surprise. He unmuted Hua Xin. "How did this thing grow out of the ground?" Hua Xin could finally speak, fuming. "You brat, try muting me again. You won't even know what killed you." "Take this black crystal right in front of you, for instance. Touch it, and you'll be torn apart instantly." Fang Chen's eyes widened in alarm. This black crystal was that dangerous. "This is something that grew out of the 10th layer. About a month ago, for some unknown reason, the 9th layer suddenly sprouted dense clusters of these black crystals. I speculate that some anomaly occurred in the 10th layer, causing these black crystals to pierce through the barrier between the two layers and appear in the 9th. If it shatters, the spatial power within will erupt, tearing apart every living being nearby. It could even blast open a direct passage to the 10th layer. You know how many dangerous things lurk in the 10th layer, right? If even one of them gets out, you'll all die." Without a word, Fang Chen immediately retreated, instructing everyone to stay away from the black crystal. A chilling thought struck him. This was another incident from roughly a month ago, perfectly coinciding with the appearance of the heaven connecting black pillar. Liu Qingxian and the others immediately began searching the cave dwelling, and indeed uncovered many astonishingly valuable resources. Even Gu Zinner couldn't help but crack a delighted smile. Was there anything in the world more joyous than stumbling upon such a treasure? All right, let's move on to the next location. Following the map, Fang Chen headed west. Not long after they left, a group of breathless people arrived at the Snow Mist's location. They were none other than the expedition team. They had arrived, faces brimming with excitement, but upon reaching the spot, their expressions collectively froze. The snow mist had dispersed, and the hidden cave dwelling lay thoroughly ransacked, clearly having been explored by someone else. Yu Tiandu was reeling. He had arrived with such high expectations, and he simply couldn't accept this outcome. What the hell happened? Wasn't there supposed to be a hidden grotto here? Right then, a bamboo tube, tucked inside Mu Ying's robes, shot out into the air on its own. Mu Ying and his men turned pale. They dropped to their knees as one, faces pressed against the earth in total submission. The lid of the bamboo tube snapped open, and a sinister, terrifying claw reached out from within. The tube wasn't just wood, it was a powerful spatial artifact. A second claw reached out, followed by a head crowned with two sharp horns and a face that was hauntingly human. Finally, his massive, muscular frame emerged in full. He hovered in midair, radiating a suffocating, dominating energy that demanded absolute obedience. His presence was overwhelming, far surpassing even Master Kllin. He was, without a doubt, a powerhouse of the three, Aperture Nascent Soul realm. If Fang Chen were here, he would have recognized this tall, horned figure instantly. It was exactly like the alien corpse he'd seen back in the cave, a creature from the underworld. Greetings, Master Qi. Mu Ying and Yu Tiandu were shaking uncontrollably, their eyes wide with a mix of reverence and pure terror. Qi crossed his arms, staring down at the ruins of the Snowbone Grotto. A cold smirk played across his lips. Interesting. It seems someone has a death wish, trying to steal what belongs to me. Absolute cinema. Fang Chen is playing GTA Taking with 5 stars on his head, but somehow he just bribed the FBI. Lord Sixpaths is out there speed, running war crimes and signing them. Fang Chen was here like a toxic fanboy, yet instead of getting clipped by the celestial oversight, our boy finessed a government badge and a legendary 7-star sword. Bro really got estates, sponsored promotion for being framed by his own robbery victim. Meanwhile, the Sky Demon Emperor is out here calling Fang Chen a decent guy while his consort is still recovering from that dragon, pal, in Quinn session. But as Qi crawls out of that bamboo tube to claim the 9th layer, we have to face the cold truth in a world where the hero is a professional identity thief and the law hands weapons to the most dangerous man alive. Is the underworld really the villain? Are you still rooting for this fraudulent king of finesse? Or is it time for a total systemic reset of this corrupted Tao?